Hello and welcome to the India Bike Road Trip 2023 podcast. You're listening to me, Isaac.
And me, Charlie.
And me, Matt.
I hope you enjoy the podcast.
That was off the cuff. That was good.
Quick note about our sponsors. Kingfisher Strong, the king of good
We
times.
got 5 of them.
Yeah.
Chilling in the sink.
Chilling in the sink with
We'll
some
get a
ice.
half-time sponsor from them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Some background for the India trip. Planned in 2020, probably. Booked in 2021. Didn't happen. Finally happened 3 years later.
Because that's how long it takes for Get a Flight to sort this
Yeah.
shit out.
Get a flight, it was terrible. Indian visas are terrible.
Yeah, oh my god.
Priti Patel, was it?
It was Priti Patel,
Priti
yeah.
Patel's a cunt. Rishi Sunak is a cunt. Irrelevant, but is a cunt. And yes, we flew from Heathrow.
We had very nice flights.
Virgin
nice
Direct,
flights.
no
Virgin
less.
Direct.
Yeah.
Fucking
yeah.
hell, yeah. Virgin Direct.
We did pay a fucking fortune.
Yeah, probably like, what, 900 quid in the end?
Probably more than that.
Yeah, I think the originals was 600 and then the top up. Well, we were playing the game with the
The
Get
top
a
up was
Flight
600
guy.
again, I swear.
Yeah, but every
It
guy
wasn't
we
600
spoke to
originally,
had
it was really cheap
It's
originally.
like 400 originally.
yeah. But then we kept chatting to a different agent who would change the
Yeah.
price of.
Yeah, get a flight, word of warning, steer clear.
But then we found a guy that just wanted like 100 quid or something, so we just pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, that was the background. Thank you, Isaac.
we made it here
We
in
arrived
one piece.
at 9-ish a.m. on
Saturday, 2nd of September.
Saturday the 2nd of September. Now, set the scene, Matt. What happened? What do we do?
Oh,
Get
we
off the plane.
landed- Yeah, landed after a great night's sleep, if I may say so. Don't think the same for you two.
Yeah, so I think Isaac and I managed to get 3 hours on and off max.
Yeah, I was too busy drinking 3 cans of wine, so didn't get to sleep until like 4 hours before we were due to land.
And I just can't sleep on a plane.
I did have 3 seats to myself though.
You did.
That was
You've got
fucking
to
amazing.
Fucking lie down and everything.
I was. Most people didn't have any spare seats. For some reason, I had 3 seats all to myself. The air host man was trying to hit on me, so gave me 3 cans of wine.
And it worked. You shagged him later.
And yeah, I
Yeah.
did see him. Gave him a quick blowjob in the airport toilets.
Club.
Anything else?
I was so knocked out I slept through breakfast. That was great.
You did. Anyway, we
I slept
landed.
through
It
breakfast.
Anyway,
actually
we
starts.
landed.
Right.
We landed at what, 9 a.m? And
Yes.
the first thing we did was try and get money out.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
ATM in the airport, and we couldn't get any fucking money out. So we tried another ATM in the airport. And we tried another ATM in the airport.
One of you said that the banks just place it there to look good, but none of them had any money in
None
them.
of any fu- But we didn't know it was that they didn't have money, and we started
Yeah.
panicking big time.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to bring rupees into the country.
Yeah.
So we had no money, and we were relying entirely on our cards, and the cards
It's-
weren't working.
Are you supposed to bring pounds into the country or something? I don't really understand that
Maybe.
rule.
Anyway,
Don't know.
that was the first of many panics of the trip.
But
We-
we did find one. in
we
the
did
end.
get
We did
one.
find one. We got out, what, 10,000 rupees, which was 100 quid
Each,
each.
Yeah.
which filled up our wallets.
Yeah,
Our
fat
wallets.
stacks.
Yeah.
Our wallets then had to sit flat in our pockets for the rest of the trip because so much paper in there.
Yeah.
And
And then we went to get a taxi,
went to get a taxi.
and we booked the Uber. But Uber doesn't work in India, despite the fact that everyone's saying it does.
Waited 10 minutes for an Uber and then
And then
got
what were they called? Like police taxis or something?
police, yeah, road traffic warden taxi, something like that.
Yeah,
it was in
like
the,
the official one.
And it
It's
was
in the Lonely Planet book.
It was 500 for non-AC or 600 for AC. So we went with AC and then had the AC treatment of the windows being down.
Fucking AC.
I bet they didn't even have windows in that car. Maybe that's what
Yeah.
means AC.
And at that point, we had a
windows.
hotel booked in Agra.
We did. It was £2
Oh
for
my
everyone.
god, that night.
We had £2 hotel booked, and the first thing the taxi said was, "Where are you staying?" We showed him the hotel. He goes, my friend, this is not a good hotel. But luckily for us, that hotel cancelled the same day because we were foreign tourists.
Yeah. So we then arrived with nowhere to go, nowhere booked.
So, yeah.
Thank fuck, because we would not have made it. So we then rock up.
Did we book another one in Aqua?
Did we?
Yeah,
we
I
booked
think we
another
did,
one.
yeah, we booked
I think it was an
Family
Agra, wasn't it?
White hotels.
Yeah, booked another one in Agra
Still, because
promptly.
yeah, we left the airport at like 10, and we were like, okay, so we'll get bikes at 11. We'll be out of Delhi by 12.
Yeah.
We'll be in Agra by 4.
Yeah. No.
No.
So we're dropped off in the bike rental district. We find one pretty quick. Takes us fucking.
It wasn't
like,
that quick.
At least an hour to pick bikes, if not more.
The bike district was cool as well. That was my first like, oh my god, we're in Delhi. Oh, before
Yeah.
that, we went for dosas.
Oh yeah, we did.
We
do
went
that
for our
before.
first meal, and the guy spoke no English. And we ordered 3 dosas, and
Did we?
yeah,
Mhm.
and then at great length, we ordered 3 black coffees, and there was a guy sat at the other end of the restaurant
You could just speak English.
who could speak English. He was trying to explain it. Do you remember?
No, I don't remember the doses.
So we went like upstairs,
That's not
and
the
the,
only
and the
doses
security
I've
guard
had.
was like, "No, go through the metal detector." So we went through the metal detector. It bleeped 3 times.
Oh yeah,
and
of
then,
course, on that corner. Yeah.
Yeah, we carried on.
Which was
Like
in the
the
bike
hotel
district.
lobby
That was
thing.
right where he dropped us off.
Yeah, and we had doses.
And the doses were very good.
Yeah, in an empty restaurant, which we had said.
Which we know we should go in, and yet the first fucking place we went was empty.
Yeah. And then we put all our gear on, and we were walking around the bike district in our gear,
Yeah,
and it was like 40 degrees. That was another first taste of India.
yeah. But yeah, the bike district was the first time I was like, "Oh my god, this is busy." We went through one of those mini roundabouts, and there was traffic going in every direction.
Yeah. Yeah, and all the wires hanging out the windows and on the streets. And there is that cool like roundabout with the white flags along the top. Do you remember?
Mhm.
Had like a pole in the middle, and then it had like white string going all the way around it near where we got the helmets.
Yeah.
Vaguely, yeah.
That's quite Indian. It's just like a random thing in the middle of the street, but it's just nice.
So we pick a bike rental shop.
Yeah, go around down this shafty alley
Yeah.
to Hema
Bikes
Motors.
fucking everywhere.
Yeah,
Rammed
you
in.
could not move.
In order to get one out the back, you need to move 100 other bikes out the way.
Yeah. And no sign of like whether they were on rental or for purchase. You just had to be like, that one? You'd be
Yeah.
like, no, sir.
That one doesn't have handlebars.
And this was where it was love at first sight with you.
Yeah,
and your
Isaac
Himalayan.
immediately saw a Himalayan, which he had said many times before he would get a Himalayan if he could.
Yeah.
We see one, it's beautiful.
I
He goes, I
would have
want that
bought
one.
yeah. Like just bought it outright if possible.
Just to clarify, this is a Royal Enfield Himalaya. You'll become very familiar with the term Royal Enfield.
Yeah. And I, at this point, I then say, you know, Isaac, Royal Enfield have a reputation for being unreliable
Well,
as shit.
In my defence, I watched a whole YouTube series about some woman who travels around
Yeah,
India
fair
on a
enough.
Royal Enfield.
I mean, I
Himalayan.
can't say anything because you then said, yeah, but look at it, it looks cool. And I said, yeah, it does look quite cool. And proceeded to get myself a
Yeah.
Himalayan.
The words you said to me were, Himalayans are notoriously unreliable, but
Yes.
they're a status symbol here.
That's pretty much exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Um,
So I went for a Yamaha.
yeah. Which is good choice. After we decided what bikes we want, the guy had fucked off and we just stood around for an hour whilst
Yeah.
they plied us with Coke,
Yeah.
Coca-Cola.
Oh, we
Just
took
want
it.
to
We took it in
clarify.
turns to go and get helmets.
Yeah, went and got
Yeah.
helmets. And then we realised he wanted a fortune for the deposit, and we went to get some more money out. And
I think
Couldn't.
I think he wanted 90,000 rupees, like £900, because he wanted.
per person, yeah.
Yeah, I think he wanted a
300 per.
300 per bike, including the deposit.
Oh, was it? Okay.
But yeah,
And at the time, everyone was saying to us the max you get out on a car was 10,000.
yeah. And also, yeah. But,
So when he eventually comes
bearing
back,
in mind, we'd had an hour of them dicking about with the bikes and getting a new bike.
yeah,
And then after the hour, they gave us some paperwork, which took an hour, and we were doing something else for an hour. There was no synchronized,
No.
things doing. We could have been out of there in an hour if they did everything at the same time. There was enough fucking people stood around.
But then I
Only
spent
one
a
was
long
fucking
time walking around with the guy.
Yeah.
He was like taking me from bank to bank, which from the outside looked very dodgy. This
Yeah.
man like walked me to ATMs and I got wallets of cash out. But I'd have to try all these combinations. I had like Charlie's card in one pocket and my card in another pocket and the wads of cash from each in both pockets. And I'd have to keep trying, and like sometimes I could click one account and I could get 4,000 out on Charlie's card, but then it wouldn't work on mine. And I think I came back with about another 30k. So we were still 60k off.
Yeah, we were so short.
Because at this point I was like, okay, we're going to have to spend 3 days in Delhi
Yeah.
so we can just
Get out enough
feed
money.
the
Well,
ATMs.
we had, yeah, we also had to pay for the bikes as well, so we needed like
Yeah,
900 plus what
Yeah.
we would pay for them. How much did we pay?
Yeah.
we paid
200 each.
about 200 each. Yeah.
So that's 600 plus 900. That's $1,500 we needed.
Yeah. But eventually, like,
Rupees.
we chatted to him, built up some rapport, chatted about his son in Chicago. Eventually, he let up a bit on the deposit, didn't
Big
Yeah.
time on the deposit. We paid one deposit for all 3 bikes.
Yeah. And
he? Which, to be fair, is like, what the hell are we going to do with them?
Yeah.
Can't take them home.
so we probably spent like $1,000 between us that day. And I managed to get enough money out for the deposit anyway, so I then had
But then
£400
we
worth of
we didn't tell them
rupees.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
40k in your pocket.
Yeah.
And we set off about 4 p.m. Oh, we went to buy helmets. Each of us went to
It's supposed to
look
be
in the helmet shop.
£12 helmets.
Mine was £12.50. I smashed that.
Yeah, me too. On the black one.
That helmet shop was another introduction to Indian chaos. He's like, how about this one? And pulls a helmet
It's-
from beneath a stack of 6 and the
What's
whole
that?
thing wobbles above you.
What's that Harry Potter one shop?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that, wasn't it? So many boxes.
It's like,
I think it was
what's
even
this-
more
what's it called?
chaotic than that.
The one shop in Harry Potter. Anyway,
Can't remember.
it was like that. It was just like a whole wall of fucking boxes. It's an Indian version of that.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts, wasn't it?
Um,
So yeah,
but we all had a helmet selected.
And then we bought bungees for £1 each. So I think it was about 4 o'clock by the time we actually pulled out of
yeah,
Delhi.
we did. And it was fucking chaos immediately.
Yeah.
Set the scene of what it was like the first time riding through Delhi.
We came out into the alleyway. Oh no, we were out the alleyway, but we were on the end of the alleyway, which is still like sort of a bizarre district.
Yeah. It's
Right.
probably a good time to clarify that 2 of us had comms on, which was me and you,
Yep.
Charlie.
Yep.
2 of us had comms. The other person who had no communication was sandwiched in the middle.
Yeah.
And the idea was like 2 people had navigation and could communicate, and we'd always try and keep
Yeah.
together.
Say like, oh, we're losing you, slow down, or
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
That lasted
Yep.
5 minutes.
Yeah. Worked quite well. We got the hang of it at least.
I completely lost you at one point, and then just decided to take a left. Drove completely around the block, and
Oh
then
my
stumbled
God,
across
yeah.
Isaac, who had stalled at a traffic light and couldn't start his bike again. Wait, so did you have problems from day one?
I think it was just shit riding it from day one. No offense.
Why was I stopped there?
I swear this is another day because I remember that.
No,
happening.
first day, because this was in Delhi. I hadn't had time to put my GoPro on, and we were driving through that absolute hell roundabout where cars were squashing me, and
Yeah, because you left. And we very soon after that made it so that we just sit and wait. I don't know.
I was at the back though. Matt led immediately. Matt led.
yeah. Oh yeah, because you 2 had overtaken me at one point. I'd been going really slow, realised you'd overtaken me, and then I thought it had happened again, but what had actually happened was Isaac had broken down way back, and I had zoomed ahead. And I just happened to find him. I mean, that was pure luck, because at this point we didn't have any SIM cards or
It was
anything.
fucking chaos.
But that was chaos.
Absolutely.
I loved it though. I was like, this unadulterated chaos is my
Yeah.
vibe.
It was too hot. I did not love it.
I was having a great time.
Fucking wearing full bike gear in 45-degree heat in the traffic. Bikes on fire, losing each other. Very tired.
Yeah.
Planning to go to Agra as
yeah,
well.
we were still heading for Agra. Yeah.
Fucking so far away.
Which I think on Google Maps was 4.5 hours.
Something like that, yeah. At what point did we realise we weren't going to make it to Agra? We'd already left. We were out of Delhi at that point, right? We pulled
Yeah.
over.
I think by the time we were out of Delhi, we pulled over and we were like, because we were judging the sunset time, weren't we?
Yeah.
And we were saying we've got
6:40.
like 3 hours of daylight left.
Yeah.
So at some point we decided to go to Mathura instead, which is like an hour closer.
Yeah.
But that was
Still
quite
a
late
long
into
way.
our drive.
Yeah, yeah. It's still a long way to go.
It got dark.
I think that was after a couple of jump starts. Every time I went into a toll booth,
Was that already or day one?
I'd stall and we'd have to do like some pushing, jump starting.
Christ, didn't realise that was day one.
Mm.
Oh, jump starting that bike was a fucking nightmare. Matt or I, or both of us, in our full biking gear, running, pushing this
Yeah.
fucking heavy bike.
Yeah,
So
was-
difficult.
that was hard.
Yeah.
I don't think I got one successful. We obviously did it loads of times, but I don't think I got one on camera because I'd had like 4 attempts and then I just stopped filming.
Yeah,
But it was quite late into that we decided to go to Mathura because we were still umming and ahhing about with it. By that point, it was pitch black, so we were driving in the dark anyway.
Yeah.
And at that point, we were like, should we just go to
Yeah, I think we
Agra?
pulled over on the motorway when it was dusk.
We-
And we were like, we are not making another 2 hours of riding. Or 2.5, whatever.
And then
it
I
was.
missed the junction.
You did.
I missed
Which
the
was
left.
very annoying because it's
filter.
so obvious. And I
Yeah.
was like, turn left here, Matt.
It wasn't
Turn
obvious.
left here.
We'd gone past the signs
This is
and
the
we'd made
left.
the exit. But
This
you
is
had
the
to,
left. I
had
was
to
like, no,
keep
it's not. So we then missed the
noticed it was
exit.
the left.
Yeah. We then missed the exit.
I'm notoriously bad at navigating.
And because everyone so far just drives on whatever fucking side of the road they want, we pulled over and we were like, let's just go down the motorway the wrong way
Yeah.
whilst it's dark.
Drive down the
This is a
hard
good
shoulder,
idea.
which in India is another 4th lane.
Exactly. So we weren't doing anything wrong by Indian rules, and we're very promptly found by the police who make us
We
stop.
ran into the police.
We
The police
did.
just stood at the
Yeah.
side of the
Just
road.
stood-
We were driving at the
Yeah.
police.
They stopped us like, what the fuck are you doing? Didn't speak a word of English.
We did try and explain.
Very
we were
grumpy
just.
to us.
We were literally. We must have been
They were
about
at the
100
jun-
meters
yeah, they were
from the
at
junction.
So we were just going to quickly nip down the junction.
And they were like, "No,
No,
you're not."
not allowed. I was then very apologetic and trying to be like, please, no, just a tourist, please. Which worked, because he seemed very grumpy, and then he kind of calmed down. And then he told us there was a place to do a Yui in the middle of a motorway, which in my opinion is even more dangerous.
Yeah, I think what you got to understand about the Indian motorways is there's 3 lanes, right? Which means you have 12 lanes of traffic,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
2 of them are coming towards you.
Yeah. Oh man.
But we did find that we found the U-turn spot, which was just a gap in the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A gap in the
Took a
central
U-turn.
reservation.
I don't even think it was like a left-right turn. I think it was just a space to do a U-turn.
Yeah, absolutely was. Yeah.
And then
Crazy.
we got off at Mathura, and we arrived, and Isaac was
Well-
hangry.
Riding into Mathura, it was then pitch black, and it was
Oh yeah.
quite a stressful ride. That one, I'd say.
I was just so grumpy, actually. There were points in that ride where I was like really zoned out and probably shouldn't have been riding. I
We
wasn't
absolutely
paying too
shouldn't have
much.
been riding. Yeah, we were knackered,
Wasn't paying
We've had a
enough
long day.
attention.
jet lagged. Yeah,
I wasn't stressed about it though. I think Vietnam was different because we were in the dark. I'd run out of fuel. We had no road, and we had the dynamo light that didn't
I think it was the
work.
road and the shit bike. Well,
Yeah.
shit in a
That's the
different way.
chaos of Indian roads as well. Fucking
Mm.
tractors driving towards you, everyone
Yeah.
beeping. Pitch black, loads of vehicles without lights on, so suddenly just appear in front of
Yeah.
you. Fuck! Slam on the brakes. Yeah, it was very stressful.
I didn't find that stressful. We just had to get through it and we had the destination. We had the
Yeah.
map.
We got there, and it was a king-size bed for all 3 of us to sleep in.
Yeah, that was cozy.
And it was covered in shit, and it was gross.
Oh yeah, because we didn't book that, did we? We just turned up. We just turned up at the first hotel we found in that town.
Yeah, because they
Yeah.
quoted a price. Charlie came out and said, I think it was £35.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not having that. So we went in and played good cop, bad cop. And I was like, no, we're having 30. He's like, you can have 30 with no breakfast. I was like, 35 it is, sir.
Yeah, and I was so hangry at that point and grumpy
You went straight to the restaurant.
that I actually, was just like, fuck this shit, I need to eat. I put my stuff in the room, stormed out.
That was a restaurant where I tried to order something and some other customer said, no, you cannot order this. This is too spicy for you.
Really?
I don't remember this restaurant.
It was, you kind of walked up and then you walked through the back and then the hotel was on the right. And we took
Yeah.
our bikes around the back.
So we pulled up at the front of it and they were had a stall almost at the
With
front.
samosas
Samosas.
and we
A big
sat next
thing,
to the guy
and
like behind
TV.
his standing desk.
And it had that fan, it was going right across us, and we had to move the
Oh,
bowl of food out of the
yeah,
way because
I
it kept
remember.
almost like
Yep,
flipping up
yep,
onto the
yep,
guy
yep,
next
yep,
to us.
yep.
Was that our first Ali Tiki?
That was our first Ali Tiki.
And you put it in your mouth and you said, "This is the best thing I've ever eaten." But on my clip of it, the fan is just going.
That is the best thing I've ever eaten. It was the first Ali Tiki I ever had. I hadn't eaten in like a day properly. It was like a new food. It was
Yeah.
like, fuck. First proper like Indian
Yeah.
tasty food. Fried thing. It's important.
Yeah, it's
Um,
pretty good. So we then wake up the next day, and the plan is going to Agra, going to see Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
Because we were supposed to see it the day before. We were a day behind schedule. Let's go see Taj Mahal.
I was supposed to. I got up at 7 to go to the mechanic.
So your bike was
and-
definitely.
and it
already-
was Sunday.
Yeah, it was really good shit.
So
yeah.
my bike was already being shit, and it was Sunday. Went to the mechanic, and the mechanic was closed, and it wasn't going to be open until we were supposed to be at Taj Mahal. So I was just like, "Fuck it, let's just power through. We'll make it."
We had our first Indian breakfast there.
Had our first Indian breakfast, which was a buffet, and we have like sandwiches,
Yeah, you had a deep fried
samosa.
sandwich
Oh yeah, that weird battered sandwich thing.
and some coffee. That was
Some
not
water,
nice.
coffee.
And this was where we woke up and there was ants everywhere in the room.
Hmm.
The ants had formed a trail across to the bin
Yeah.
and were carrying like a dead cockroach up the wall or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that gross coffee.
Went
Oh,
downstairs.
biryani, that weird like
Oh yeah.
with rice.
And then when we packed up and left, there were monkey prints on the bike, which set off my rabies anxiety.
That's cool.
So yeah, plan, get to Agra. We set off.
And that's when Isaac broke down on the motorway.
Yeah, so we
we're
went
in
on
like an
back on
hour,
our way
right?
Yeah.
very quickly. What happened? Did the bike just stop? Did you
And
change gear and it stopped? You
Um,
must have been going quite fast. I actually lost you. I was at the front. And
Yeah, you zipped ahead.
Well, yeah, we were all going fast.
Well,
Yeah.
originally I broke down when we have photos from at the toll booth.
Yeah.
And
But we
we
managed to
waited
push
for a minute
start you.
for the bike to cool down as well.
Well, we pushed you to start then.
Yeah.
That was the first
Push
successful push start, I think.
Um,
And then we broke down later.
and then I
Broke
broke down just on the motorway. I can't remember how.
So I then lose you for a good 15
Yeah,
minutes.
you were gone. Because we had no like contingency plan of what happens if
No.
we lose each other at this point.
Well, I
You
just pulled over on the side of the motorway and waited, hoping that you'd come, and then realised you wouldn't. So I then, on day 2, on day 1 being told by the police not to go the wrong way down the motorway, went down the wrong way down the motorway to come and find you.
To set
Um,
the scene, the whole time we were waiting for you, it was just Isaac and I.
Yeah.
Get another bit. It was like, I remember saying to him, I was like, there was no shade. It was
Yeah, that was it. It was
40
fucking
degree
whole
heat.
place.
It was a proper in-betweeners movie moment when they're in the like Australian desert.
Yeah.
There was like no heat, we had
Yeah.
no water, we were geared up.
Very hot concrete as well.
I remember saying to Isaac, like, I've got one more push in me and
That's
then I'm
it.
done.
Yeah.
And I did that push and we didn't go anywhere. And then we spotted that like
Share.
Because then the rest can cool down.
Stay cool.
This is a good time to
Not
have a
really
word from
cool,
our
to be honest
sponsor,
with you.
Kingfisher.
Not cold.
The bottom is.
So we're stood by the side of the motorway and I spot these 3 guys like over the whatever that hard barrier on the motorway is, down a hill. There's 3 guys sitting in the shade drinking a glass of some dodgy looking liquor. So like I go down, I jump the ravine and go over to them and have to
I was
explain.
too scared to do previously.
Yeah. But at this point, it's like there was nothing else we could do. We were just burning on the side of the motorway with no shade.
Mhm.
So I go and stand under their tree with them, and they were like, we managed to get out of them in 500 meters. Was it?
Didn't work, did it?
Oh, the beer's not cold.
Not really. It feels cold at the bottom.
So they said in 500 meters is a slip road. If you come off the slip road, you can go to a temple, and then next to the temple there's a mechanic.
Yeah.
But we couldn't pull that bike 500 meters.
No.
And then So
I'll turn up.
I said to them, I'm going to go up. I'm going to ride my bike down the slip road, find the mechanic, get him to come here, and my friend is going to come and stand in the shade with you. And it was when I went back up that you arrived.
Hmm.
And then we were just chatting.
Yeah, and
about
then
what we were gonna
the
do.
3 guys came up.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys had a sweat scarf on,
Yeah.
which he was just like, oh, let me just jump on the back of my bike and I'll pull him.
Yeah.
So we then take the luggage off my bike, put that on Matt's bike. Matt then goes down to the garage with all the luggage,
Yeah.
This
looking
bike
for
then
the mechanic.
sits on the back of my bike backwards.
He's not a small dude
He's
either.
a big dude. He then,
Some cool glasses on.
yeah, he did. He then is holding tight one side of the sweat scarf, and he gives the other side of the sweat scarf to Isaac.
And proceeds to pull Isaac on a Royal Enfield bike using
Yeah.
like £1 scarf.
So I'm then needing to go very fucking slowly. Isaac, obviously, it's difficult to like go forward whilst one hand is on
And
this
holding,
sweat scarf.
yeah.
But we do it. I'm revving the fucking nuts off my bike. But we do it.
And I'm down. I found a mechanic just off the slip road,
Yeah. So we
and
pull
he's
up.
phoning his friend. By the way, when we say mechanic, there was 2 rooms to this shop. One of them was an empty workshop. The other one had a gold and blue wallpaper
It was
with
an office.
pictures of Krishna still in there rapping on the wall. It was very weird. Like,
Some plastic garden
and
chairs that we
4
sat
guys fixing a chain.
on.
And he's rung his friend, and he said to me 1,000 rupees, and my friend will come get them. So I said, okay. And then just as I said that, you guys, you roll down the ramp in your scarf procession.
Oh, it was a fucking nightmare. It's so difficult to do.
Yeah.
So we pull up. They then have a fanny around. And then
They
go,
work out that it's a fuel pump
Yeah.
straight away.
And then they go, we can't fix this. We don't have the parts.
Meanwhile, we're sat in the blue and gold room. The guy's giving us that Hindi tour of all the tourist destinations from that map on
Yeah.
the wall
Oh yeah. In
in Hindi.
Oh yeah, in Hindi.
And then they say there's a Royal Enfield garage down the road. 2 kilometres, I think they said, down the road. And they're on one side of the road with a big thing in the middle, which means you can't cross over to the correct side of the road to get there.
This was another motorway. This was like another 3-lane
Basically,
motorway.
yeah.
Was it 3 lane?
So then we need to pull it again, much further this time, down the wrong way on a much busier road
By this point, we're
And
desensitized.
and cross over to the other side. So
Yeah.
I have to go straight into the middle of it, which we do because we have to.
Yeah.
So we then do this, all very intense.
And this is the first of many Royal Enfield garages.
Yeah, and we rock up at Royal
If
Enfield.
I
garage.
never set another
I'm going to
fucking
say the
foot in
worst
the Royal
Royal Enfield garage.
Probably the
Royal
worst.
Yeah.
Nice people, to be
How
fair.
many people? About 10 of them.
None of them can speak a word of English, so I'm using my phone, Google Translate.
Hindi.
Big up Google Translate.
At
You
this
fucking
point-
saved us.
We're not used to Indian people.
No.
So we're having quite a lot of fun just chatting and being like, oh, this is a shit bike, isn't it? Can you fix it? We're just talking in there for like a couple of hours, it feels like.
A long time
Well, they were
passes.
tinkering the whole time. No, when they turned up, they started your bike immediately.
Yeah.
And
Bike
we
rocked
looked
up.
like
that's-
absolute morons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we convinced them that there was still something wrong. So they took it around the back. And I think that was when we went for lunch.
Well, before lunch, I just need to say the prime memory of this trip for me is one of the guys. Fucking, what's he eating?
Betel nut.
Betel nuts. He's eating betel nuts, and he's taken my phone off me to just speak random shit into my phone because this conversation was useless in every way. But he's being friendly, but he's just talking shit into my phone, and these fucking betel nuts are spitting out all over my phone. His gammy little hands are all over, like holding it. He keeps pulling it out of my hand, and it's oh god.
I'm wearing a really sweaty, oily,
Really
shitty,
sweaty,
t-shirt.
short little guy.
about 5 foot tall.
Spitting all over my phone. It's just like, oh my god. Then we go for lunch, yeah.
Yeah. You're right, that was the first introduction to like conversation with Indian people where there's 10 of them standing around and they're all saying a different thing.
Yeah,
They're
all
all
grabbing
your
my phone.
to translate, and Google Translate spits out some dog shit English
Brand-
that doesn't
and
make sense.
Yeah.
all of it, nonsense anyway. Like what they're trying to say, they repeat the same thing 10 times.
But
And then,
before we went for lunch, we got to the point where they said a man from the bigger Royal Enfield garage is
Yeah.
coming with a part.
yeah.
And we said, right, we're going,
Well, they suggested we go to lunch. Yeah.
which we did. We sat and
So we go off to lunch. At this point, what did we have? It was chickpeas.
it was the
Very
first chana masala, yeah.
I don't think it was the first. First was on the first day. It was the second,
Chana masala.
definitely. Because on the first day for lunch we had one.
Yeah, that was spicy actually.
And it was very spicy, and it's at this moment
That
where I
was probably
start.
the spiciest food we ate.
It probably was, but I didn't know it was going to be spiciest food, and I start thinking, what the fuck have I done? Because I can't eat chickpeas. This is far too spicy. They've given us bread with it, which I can't eat. And I was like, why am I in India? I can't eat anything. This
Yeah.
is shit.
And that was the first time we'd been given the peeled cucumber and the onions, and we were like, is this a starter, or are we meant to wait? And we were looking at the table over next to us, and they were eating it, and then we were like, but is this like they've cut this with their hands and it's not been cooked?
It was
Just
all
fucking ate
really
it anyway.
slimy.
I think I ate it anyway.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, that was when we had was that our first chai?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
got out the chai and
They
the
were like-
clay pot.
Milky chai, yeah.
Clay cups, but they were like not nicely finished. All the other ones been like quite a nice pattern on the outside.
I don't know if I told you this bit, but I went to them and I said, "Where's the toilet?" And they both simultaneously pointed in the opposite direction. And I was like, "Which way?" And they went, "All over, anywhere." So I was like, "Oh, okay, you just pee anywhere." Yeah. So I like took 2 steps to the right of their kitchen and trod, and all this like brown
Oh,
mud came over my boot, and I was like, "Have I just stood in the toilet?" But I think all of it was the toilet, and it was all just a bit muddy.
oh, it's grim.
Yeah,
But anyway, then off we go, and we realise we need to fuel.
yeah.
So Isaac's on the back of my bike. Isaac then starts filming, because we've not filmed
Oh,
anything
yeah, he
yet.
has the GoPro on,
Um,
and I'm leading.
That was our only
Yeah.
real opportunity to film that in that sort of like
Yeah.
someone on the back way.
Again, I wish I'd got footage of them pulling you with a scarf, but we've been
so
dealing with so much
busy,
else. I
yeah.
just hadn't had time to put the
yeah,
GoPro
we
on.
couldn't.
Yeah.
Too stressed for the time.
So anyway, we're on the way back, literally like less than a kilometre to the Royal Enfield station,
Mm.
and I pull into the gas station,
And I follow.
and I
I'd
turn
follow
around.
on the back.
I turn around to look just as you're pulling over the threshold of the gas station.
And there's a man going the wrong way down the road
I'm shouting at him.
with no brakes.
Stop.
He goes straight into my fucking foot,
Bang!
which hurts a lot.
And me and
yeah.
the collective Indian audience will go, ooh.
All of the people from the petrol station then run out because this guy then starts trying to get money off
Were
me.
you by the Indians at that point?
Yeah,
Probably,
I'd kind
yeah.
of pulled up next to the billboard
Yeah.
where they all just sat chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw the crash.
Yeah, this kid starts trying to get money off me. Going, look at what you did to my leg. I'm
Yeah,
like,
he,
look at what you did to
he
my
starts
foot.
limping.
You drove into me.
Isaac goes, "You could really hurt us." And I was like, "Oh, is this going to get feisty?"
But then all the people from the petrol station ran out and told him off, and it was like, no, you were in the wrong. Go away. Leave him alone.
We showed them the footage.
Did you?
I think we showed them the footage, yeah.
Oh, man.
And they were saying something in Hindi, but they basically said wrong side.
Yeah, they were laughing at him because he was putting it on.
It was big
Yeah.
time putting it on.
Yeah, limping. I think he just wanted money. But,
Yeah, definitely.
but I don't understand why he didn't brake, because if you
Didn't
pulled
brake
the
at all.
fucking brakes, the bike would have stopped.
Yeah.
And he just went
Literally.
smack.
He had like a 1 meter stopping distance. He just like didn't. I don't know
Yeah.
what the fuck he was doing.
He didn't swerve, he didn't do anything. Straight in. Anyway, so that then hurt.
Yeah, that.
I then
Then
lie
we're, like,
there for a
trying to-
bit.
Yeah, we're trying to Google what to do, and it's like, get ice.
Yeah.
So I'm driving up and down the road trying to explain to people that I need ice because no one in India uses ice, and I'm like mimicking these like small cubes that you plonk into a glass and they're very cold, and I'm going brrr, and they're like so confused and laughing at me like, what does this kid want?
Oh, man. Yeah, I just lie there for a little bit. Isaac then fills my bike up.
You put your bike boot on really tight or something.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah, it
compressed
needed
it.
compression.
Yeah, you
so
tied your
Isaac
pants around
tied
it.
his pants around very tightly.
Oh yeah, my pants.
I
I'm
then
wearing
put my
those
shoes
pants.
on very tightly, and then got on the back of my bike with Isaac riding, and we went back
To the Royal Enfield.
to the Royal Enfield garage. One of the guys at Royal Enfield garage, his dad was a doctor, so he wanted to help. And then everyone else started just fucking poking. One guy pulled every single toe as hard as he possibly could, whilst I was screaming, "Stop, stop, stop! It's got nothing to do with the toes. This hurts. Please stop."
I was giggling so much.
We let him do it.
You
Obviously.
did let him do it.
And they were really like the medic guy. I gave you 2 paracetamol,
Yeah,
which was like a gram of paracetamol.
yeah.
And the medic guy was looking. He was like, "No, 1. Take 1."
Really,
But
I didn't give a shit.
you're fine. The Spanish take 1
And then
gram.
the doctor's son guy then immediately managed to go and get some ice because he knew the fucking word for ice. Came back with this massive block of ice.
Yeah, the
One
biggest,
single
One
block of
massive
biggest
block
block
of
of
ice.
ice I've ever
size
seen.
my head.
which then proceeded to melt all over their showroom
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
He went and crushed it up a little bit for us.
Yeah, he crushed it up, put it in a bag, put it on my foot. Isaac then heroically held it there for me. Thank you very much.
Sat there for like
And at this point,
2
we've
hours.
done half of the 1 hour journey from Mathura to Agra.
Oh no.
it's like 4 p.m. or something.
Yeah.
I think we worked out that we dosed you up on paracetamol. And we worked out that if we could get you to Agra whilst the paracetamol was working,
The ice,
Matt had
the
worked out
ice,
and told us what we
Yeah.
were doing.
the ice helped a lot as well.
yeah.
So then, yeah, Isaac then tied it up.
And luckily, it was your brake foot, not your gear changing foot.
It was, yeah, it's my right foot.
That
My
was
right
nothing
ankle,
too
really,
bad.
but it was just below the ankle. Thank fuck. It could have been much worse. 2 weeks later, it still hurts, but it's just nowhere near as bad.
But again,
That's a good
we're-
point. If it was the other foot, we would have had to go the whole way to Agman first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again,
Because
we were like racing daylight.
I thought it was just my ankle as well, because that was the bit that hurt the most. And then Isaac went to tie a knot or put my socks on or something, and he grabbed the top of my foot really hard. And that hurt even more. And that's when I realised that was actually the worst part, was on top of my foot, not my ankle.
Ow.
But yeah, he tied
I
me
got
up.
hit in the accident as well,
Barely.
and no one batted an eyelid.
You got
I
hit.
got.
You got hit as bad as
I
I got
got
hit
a
here
bruise.
on my leg. You got a little bruise
I don't know
on
if
your leg,
you've
and I
got
got a little
bruise
bruise on
anymore.
my leg. But literally, the bike went fucking right into my ankle. That is what happened.
Yeah. You did get a good ooh.
But yeah, tied me up, put my shoe on real tight, and away we go.
Drove to Agra,
And we're off to Agra.
where we had booked a beautiful 5-star.
Oh god, yes,
What's it
that
called?
one. So it was 2 bunk beds in a room.
The first thing, this was like,
It's
people had told
£10
us
a room.
that Agra was a bit of a shithole.
Mm.
And our first introduction was, we paid, I think, £13 for the room, and he was trying to get another £15 out of us because it was a 4-bed room that he had put us in.
Yeah,
And we were like, no, that's fine.
and
And
you
he
don't
was
need that.
then saying, well, I'm going to put another person in there. We were
When
like,
the hotel was almost empty.
It was empty. There
It was
wasn't a
empty.
single other person in
Yeah.
that hotel.
for good reason, as we soon
Yeah.
realised. But we called his bluff and just paid the 13.
Yeah,
And then the guy took my bag upstairs,
yeah.
which is when I started learning about Indian tipping. Because I gave him, he dropped our bag, he dropped my bag, and then hung about for a bit and was saying like, I cleaned this floor. And I was like, right, cool, thank you. And then he hung about for a bit and I was like, oh, he's obviously waiting for a tip. So I dug in my wallet and just gave him this note that I had. And he said, thank you. He went down and I think he then brought your stuff up.
Yeah, because Charlie was sat by the front desk.
Yeah, it was foot. Yeah, because we limped you to the front door.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then when he came out with
Oh,
your
that's
bags,
true.
he turned to me with the 10 rupees that I'd given him and was like, sir, 10 rupees? What the hell? I am poor. 10 rupees? Have it back.
What the hell is this? And I think we came up with him the second time, right?
Yeah.
So we were there like, Matt, what have you done? Well, how have you offended this man so much?
I mean, we soon realised he deserved less than 10 rupees.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
That,
Then the fucking blankets. Stunk.
Oh, those
Absolutely
blankets
stunk.
100% had not been washed since they've been put in that room.
And that's all there was. There were no sheets. Like, you couldn't put the sheet on top of you, then a blanket on top of you.
No.
Just the blanket.
Yeah, and my sheet had at least 3 different specimens of human hair on it.
Oh, God.
So there's like 3 people had slept in that bed.
So gross.
I mean, again, it's probably just never been changed. And the pillows.
When I shook mine out, and my hands were, like, greasy afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's when it
Jesus.
dawned on
And
me
it
that
stank.
Mine
Yeah.
stunk
Shook
the
it out
worst.
and the
yeah.
whole room just like it's
I
filled
shook-
up with this
Yeah.
yeah.
BO smell.
I shook mine and bugs fell out of it. Like actually,
No
multiple insects fell out of
It
that
was
blanket.
awful.
And that was when it dawned on me, like, oh my god, we've paid £13 for this room. The cost of replacing all my stuff, dealing with bed bugs,
Yeah.
having to shelter for 2 weeks when I get home because I've got bed bugs is not worth.
And I used everyone's grossness and pushed very hard that we now start staying in much nicer places.
Yeah,
I think at that point you're preaching to the choir
I
somewhat.
think so.
yeah. But you took a relaxing rest.
I then
with your leg
stayed
up.
with my leg raised at the hotel. Because I was already having a bad belly because of all the fucking spice and chickpeas and bread. You then bought me crisps and Oreos for dinner, which
Yeah,
I
we
was
went for a
fucking
long
thrilled
walk.
about.
Yeah, we went for a long walk around Agra.
Yeah, it disappeared.
And made
Oh,
many
yeah, by
tuk-tuk
accident.
drivers very unhappy with the fact we were walking. I don't think anyone in India expects you to walk
No,
anywhere
we're like the only people that
Yeah.
walk here.
in the
We
heat.
also walked the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I don't remember it being that hot that day. Oh,
I
why?
think it was just classic India temperatures. But honestly, one tuk-tuk driver followed us at the
Oh,
side
it's
of the
because it was
road.
later, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
10
it's in the
minutes.
evening.
Like, he did not leave us alone. He
Yeah.
said, no, we're walking, no, we're
And
walking.
he slowly like knocked his price down. In the end, he was like 30 rupees for an hour. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Would not give up.
fucking point, man.
And then we walked through this kind of industrial type complex.
I took us the wrong way.
Yeah, found a pharmacist, bought you a bandage and some spray.
Oh,
Yeah, this spray.
Oh, that spray is great. Don't spray it. Oh, dick.
Have to for the auditory.
It's all over my
Oh,
phone.
don't! I
Stop
can't
it.
breathe. Oh my god.
Oh, that's a strong God. Give me
Bloody-
flashbacks to the pain.
Oh wait, what?
We
Where's
just
it?
used it all.
What was that noise making? That it's not making the noise anymore.
When
Oh.
you shake it, it stops, doesn't it?
Nah, it's that thing underneath Matt's.
I can't see it. Oh, that.
Oh,
Oh,
be able to take the time with us.
That tastes awful. No, it's an air. Oh yeah, you can
Yeah, we
actually. You can
definitely
take
can.
an aerosol, can't
It's mine though, right? You bought it for me.
If Matt gets the tea, you get the magnet. I get the spray.
Store below 30 degrees C. We have not been doing that.
Oh, it's definitely sat at 44 for a very long time.
Yeah.
you? Did it work?
It made my foot very hot,
That
Yeah,
seems like
it's-
the opposite of what you needed.
which I
It's,
think was the
um,
opposite of what I needed.
No,
But I
it's
think
not.
it helped.
It's Voltarol, is it? No, deep heat foot spray.
oh yeah. I think that was it. Did we go for dinner that night?
You guys
We
had
went-
aloe.
We went to get Ali Tiki, maybe. Yeah, we got Ali Tiki street food. Remember, we walked up to like this really well-rated restaurant, and it wasn't. It was like a
in the middle of
cowshed or something.
yeah, a cowshed in the back alleys.
Yeah.
Didn't
We
was
walked all the
closed.
way along that gross, like
Yeah,
sort of bizarre-y
yeah. But
stalls.
yeah, but that Alu Tiki guy had like a tenth of the people on the street around his stand.
Yeah, that was great Ali Tiki. I think that might have been. I don't know if that's the best Ali Tiki.
Yeah, he put the chickpeas on it and all the
Mm.
different sauces.
The first one didn't have chickpeas on it, did it?
No. But he was great. That was my
That'd
real
be
like,
amazing.
oh my god, this street food is good
Mm.
Yeah.
realization moment.
Yeah, me too. And it came in little clay pots.
Yeah, we didn't know what to do with the clay pot. We were like, do we give it back? Do we just throw it on the
Yeah.
street? And
Put it in the bin.
we asked someone later, and they said
Yeah,
you just throw it on
chuck
the
it,
street. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good Alu Tiki.
Yeah. And then did I get two? No.
No, they just went back to the hotel.
We went back to the hotel because Charlie was on his own.
And
Oh, you weren't gone long enough. I was loving being by myself.
slept and prayed I didn't wake up with bed bites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woke up the next day. Now it's time for the Taj Mahal. Day
Yeah,
3.
Day 3. My friends have messaged me on the evening of day 2, just like, Matt, can you confirm you're alive? And I was like, yeah, we've only had one crash, one motorway breakdown.
Yeah.
And what was the other thing?
Running with the police.
One running with the police.
Yeah.
Apart from that, all Gucci.
Yeah.
I had so many people texting me that night as well, being like, "Oh, I hope you're having a great time in India," and I ignored all of them.
Yeah, day 3, we finally did Taj Mahal.
We did. What happened day 3 then?
We got tuk-tuk. What did we do for breakfast day 3?
I'm
we went-
really hungry. Yeah.
We went to that cafe that was just down the road,
Yeah.
and we
did,
had
yeah,
our
it's
first
just
black
outside.
chai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were
Pranta.
parathas.
Parathas, yeah. It was good.
And I just had toast, I think, because I was still not doing well
Butter
with my
toast,
belly. Yeah.
Oh, we had something that we dipped a brioche bun in.
Yeah,
Remember
it was a. I
Aloo
do remember
something.
that. I don't remember what it's called.
Anyway,
I don't.
we ordered a bhaji, that was it.
It was bhaji, yeah.
We ordered a
yeah.
bhaji and they gave us brioche bun and some dipping sauce.
Yeah. Yeah. Bargy does not mean what English.
No, it
Onion
doesn't.
bargy means.
No. And then we got a tuk-tuk to the Taj Mahal, who dropped us about a kilometre out from the gate.
I know. He drove us like 500 metres and then we had to walk.
Yeah.
the
Oh
last
yeah, he
kilometre.
took a detour, didn't he? He took us around the block so that it seemed like
A
decent.
long
Yeah, it took
time.
us down all these back
We
streets
came out and
going
went, hang
over.
on, I still recognise these buildings. We were
Yeah.
just down there.
Literally took us 7 sides of an octagon.
I remember we had to walk further than he drove us anyway.
Yeah.
We got there. Did we go to the East Gate, I think?
Defo Eastgate, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bought our tickets.
Saw the Taj Mahal. Was it Taj
Saw
Mahal?
the Taj Mahal.
Pretty fucking cool.
Awesome, yeah. Very cool.
Very manicured gardens.
Yeah.
There's not much to say though, is there?
No.
Spectacular.
It
You
was
know
really
what it looks
cool
like?
walking up to it. Everyone's pictures that I'd seen, they'd stopped at the, like, you go through the main gate and then they take a
That
picture
was
on that
awesome.
balcony bit
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the Taj in the distance. But then we walked right up and around it
And in it.
and in it. And I actually think some of the best like views and pictures were from sitting in one of the mosques either side.
Yeah, definitely.
And we just sat on the step looking up at it, and obviously it's symmetrical, so it looks exactly the
Yeah.
same as the other side.
Yeah, we chilled
Yeah,
there for a
that
long,
is
long
true.
time.
There's a lot to be said for the that spectacle that is, walking through that gateway
Oh, that gate was so
and
cool,
just like how
When it appears,
magnificent
yeah.
it feels and looks.
Yeah.
You can't really describe that or get that from the photo, I don't think.
No.
Yeah. But inside, it's a bit of a reverse TARDIS, isn't it?
Yeah.
It looks like this huge building, and you go inside, and it's
tiny.
essentially one
I
room.
wonder if
Yeah.
the walls are hollow because the walls are like a couple meters thick.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think a big part of it is it looks like it's got a really big footprint, but then when you actually look, a lot of the outside walls have these big kind of like
Oh, yeah,
arches that
alcove.
bend into the building, so it looks big, but actually a lot of
Yeah,
it's
the
just empty
inside
space.
bit's pretty small, isn't it?
But there was the mosque inside that was meant to be silent, and there was guys blowing fucking whistles in there, and going like, woo, 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 woo.
The tomb bit, yeah.
Yeah, but it was cool to go inside.
Really cool.
It was also like a welcome break from walking in 40-degree heat again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw like 3 white people. They were the first white people we've seen
Yeah.
since
Literally.
India.
And
being in
fucking
India.
everyone else was from India. It's so few people are here this time of year. It's
I
mad.
loved it. I loved not seeing
It
one.
was, yeah, it was good.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
we didn't
It's
come-
super
It was so
refreshing.
surprising
Yeah.
though. We really thought like that would be whitewashed almost,
Yeah.
but
But we didn't come in tourist season.
no.
Yeah.
But again, this was our first realization that like India domestic tourism is massive,
Yeah, huge.
and they charge them a tenth of the price that we do. But
Yeah.
that's okay
Yeah, that's it. But there's 10 times more than 10 times as many of them.
because this is where Isaac kept bumping into Indian people that would be like, "Hello, where are you from?" And he'd be like, "England. Where are you from?" They'd be like, "India, obviously." And that was where that guy said to us, like, we were walking, we were just like waltzing down the side of the gardens, and he was like, "You look Indian, you look like you belong, you're at
Yeah.
home."
Yeah.
Which was nice.
Yeah.
That was really relaxing, just wandering around there like perfectly
After
manicured
after
gardens.
to be frank, pretty shit days. It was very nice to just chill
Yeah.
at this beautiful place. Yeah, it was pretty spectacular.
They had like guys picking individual leaves off a patch of dirt, so the patch
Yeah.
of dirt looked clean. It was nuts.
You had to take your shoes off when you walk around the. I know you put
Yeah, you
shoe
put
funny
covers
shoe, like
on
swimming
Covers
pool
on,
shoe
yeah.
covers on.
when you had to go up to the Taj Mahal.
Just to keep
Yeah,
it clean.
it was awesome going to the Taj.
So cool. Yeah.
And looking out over the river, like you go to the back of the Taj and you look over that huge river.
Yeah.
Didn't have a single boat on
Yeah,
it.
that's true. It felt like almost Roman, where you just like everywhere you look, it's sort of like a weird ruin, and it's sort of like the city's built up around it, and like
Yeah.
it's a forest, but it's been inhabited. It sort of feels quite storytelly, just in its
It was.
setting.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And we saw Agra Fort in the distance
Yeah,
down the
Agra
river
Fort.
as well.
Yeah.
And that's when we were like, fuck it, we want to go see that.
The
Yeah,
Red Fort, yeah.
which kind of looks like a fort from Taj Mahal. But you go out close, which is the next thing we did. We went to Agra Fort.
It's fucking huge.
Oh, you bought a magnet first.
Yeah. I
Anything
did.
else? Anything else in between Taj Mahal?
We insulted that man that had been like, come to my shop, come to my shop.
Dick.
And then we went in his shop and he had shit magnets, so we went in the other shop and
Rubbish, yeah.
bought them instead.
Then we just went straight to the other fort, right?
We did, yeah. Got a tuk-tuk
We
there.
got the tuk-tuk with the man that we agreed to meet us afterwards.
Oh yeah. And then we stood under Agra Fort, and it's fucking massive. It's like
Yeah.
grand and magnificent in a different way.
I actually think the
more.
best view of the Agra Fort, though, is like standing outside it and looking up at the gateway.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I sort of meant. Like looking from Taj Mahal, it doesn't look
That big.
that big,
Yeah,
but
we'll
when
get
you're
there.
like stood under the gates,
Yeah.
like you can imagine.
Yeah. And it had like the double moat and it was a proper castle.
Yeah.
Yeah. We walked
And we
around
got a
it.
pretty cool view of the Taj Mahal from it.
Bearing in mind we haven't seen the Red Fort yet. That's on the docket for tomorrow.
Oh, the Delhi Red Fort.
Delhi Red Fort.
Like, everyone says the Agra Red Fort's better though.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone had said not to go to Agra other than Taj Mahal, and we ignored that advice, and we're glad we did. So, fuck it.
Yeah, and the best view of the Taj, one of the best views of the Taj Mahal is from the Red Fort.
Yeah. Photos don't do it justice, but it was pretty sick.
No, you can't zoom in far enough. But,
No.
yeah. Yeah, it really puts it on the landscape
Yeah.
when you look at it from Red Fort.
Yeah, exactly. But like being inside the Red Fort, you can like realise it's a cool fort. But you're right. The best view is stood outside, and you can see like the big walls.
Yeah.
When you're in it, you're sort of like on top of it, and you don't really sort of get an appreciation for the scale.
Yeah.
Also, it's also half of it seemed to be like cordoned off. They were like rebuilding
lot
of
part
it
of
rebuilding.
it.
Yeah.
I think you said there used to be like, didn't there used to be like 500 buildings in the Red Fort and then the British destroyed half
Oh
of them.
yeah, was that the Red Fort? Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds about right.
But my favourite story from there was that one of the walls used to have a golden bell on it.
Oh yeah, the string
A
of
big
bells.
bell, and yeah,
Oh yeah.
the if the residents of the town were unhappy, they could come and ring the bell. It said something like, if
Wasn't it the string of bells? It was a string,
String
of
of
bells that
bells.
went down to the river, and
Yeah.
every time someone had an issue, they put another bell on the
If
string.
someone thought they were
Or the
breaking a
chain.
law or something, or breaking
Yeah.
democracy or something like that.
yeah, it says something like, if somebody dealing with the authorities experiences undue delay or
Corruption, something like
corruption,
that.
Yeah.
come and ring the bell and notify the king, which I
Mm.
really liked.
Hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of good
Yeah.
old politics in India. It's
Well,
better than the fucking England system.
Moving
whatever it was.
on.
I don't remember where we ate
What was
after
it called?
that.
Chivalry?
Where we ate after that? You know?
No, I don't remember at all.
Aqua.
I don't
no.
matter. Wait,
Doesn't matter.
what happened after
We
that? I
drove
don't
to
remember the
Fatehpur
days all after
Sikhi,
that.
which was where that temple at the top of those huge steps was. There was like 100 steps.
Oh yeah, we drove.
Oh,
off.
lunch.
Yeah,
You have McDonald's.
I had McDonald's.
Yeah,
I was still doing
McDonald's.
bad. Yeah,
Isaac
that's
and I
right.
went and
Yeah.
found.
Those puff. They're like the size of a
Oh, they were
poppadom, but they're like
puff-up
puffed up.
poppadoms, and you open
Yeah.
them and all the steam comes out. We
Yeah.
sat at this tiny little bench at this dirty little like truck,
Yeah.
and had some great food and paid him something like 50 rupees each,
Yeah.
which on reflection was a bit. We should have tipped him. It's a bit cheeky.
Yeah.
This was peak me doing very bad belly wise though. So it was like I just
I mean,
had to
that-
have normal food.
Yeah, that could have been what got me ill. I don't know, but at this point, I was being quite cocky, just eating like locals, like ripping it with my hands, and dipping it in sauce. So we did that, and then we drove to Fasipasiki, which was where all the
Yes,
huge
we then
steps
leave
are.
Agra.
Yeah.
Massive steps. What he said was a uni student came up to us, spoke very good English. We were very nervous about leaving our bags on
We
bike.
were absolutely inundated with.
Oh my God.
everyone.
That was probably
They
the
were-
worst.
yeah.
like,
Probably
flock
was,
of
yeah.
people we've had.
Flock a bit, but that's because I don't think many tourists go there anyway.
No, we arrived late in the day. We were probably like the last tourists they were going to get.
Yeah.
And every single person was like stepping in front of our bikes, beckoning us into a parking space.
We're like,
But
no, we want to drive there.
we
We're
want
not
to-
parking here and then walking for
Yeah.
ages.
So we parked up, and then that's when he said like, 100 rupees, I watch your bike. And we were like, okay. And then he said, okay, this guy going to watch your bike. And he walked up with us.
And the other guy was much more dodge. Well,
Yeah.
so I'd rather
It was-
you'd watch the bike. We
But it was
trust
also
you.
like, if you don't pay this man his 100 rupees, they will make something happen to the bike out of spite.
Yeah, it's kind of weird though, because I've never felt like we couldn't leave our bag on anything.
Oh,
Well,
I
like-
did in the Muslim place
Okay, yeah,
yesterday.
fine.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Other than
but
that,
like in touristy places, I haven't felt like I couldn't just leave my bag on something. Not that we ever did really.
I don't think we did
But-
at all other than that.
I would have felt safe, but I never wanted to because, like, all the locals always took their helmets. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't
the
even wear
locals
helmets
never
or
left
anything.
their helmets
Yeah.
on. Like, the locals were super careful. So I wonder if
But that
I
place,
think that was a safe thing to do.
yeah, that place we had so many people hovering around our stuff that I think.
Even when we came down, it was fucking just a
steps.
horde of people around our bikes.
Anyway, what I found cool about those steps is there was goats all over them.
Yeah.
The goats had climbed up, and
And
then
there was a lady boy.
Was there?
Yeah.
You did not point that out.
No, he came up to me. Oh, sorry, they came up to me. And someone was trying to sell me bracelets, and then they got tapped on the shoulder by. When we were putting our shoes on, we all like sort of split up.
Yeah.
Someone was trying to sell me bracelets, and then the lady boy came up to the guy selling bracelets and tapped him on the shoulder, and was like, "Boyfriend, 1,000 rupees or whatever."
Oh my god.
he wanted to buy you.
No. Was
He wanted to
offering
be
his
bought.
services.
Oh, I see. That was cool though. There was the mosque. You go
That
up
was
to
very
the
cool, yeah.
stairs and then you go through a gate. We had to leave our shoes with another guy with the boot watcher.
We had to pay him as well.
Yeah.
Pay him, yeah. And then this man that spoke good English was taking us all around.
Yeah.
Took us
Yeah, it was
into
little. It was a big old Muslim mosque vault thing, wasn't it?
yeah, with a morgue. What's the word? A tomb in the
Tomb,
middle.
yeah. White tomb.
And that's where he showed us. That's where we first saw the stone marble, where you can't see in from the outside, but you can
No, they
see.
had that
from the
Taj
inside.
Mahal.
We did, yeah. But he explained
yeah.
it. He talked about it.
He was talking about their water collection system, like the pillars of that tomb.
Oh yeah.
The
Hollow.
roof collected water and it
Hollow,
ran
yeah.
down the pillars underground, through the pillars underground and into a well, which was very
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah.
And then we went to the back where the pigeon houses were, and he took us to his family shop, which was definitely just his mate.
And you fell for it.
Yeah, I bought a little elephant.
Yeah.
The bit I fell for was, like, I haggled him down to I think £4.50, and I only had the 500 change.
£4.50 for that.
Yeah. And then they had made this whole scene about, anyone have a 50 rupee? No, you don't have a 50 rupee. Oh, no 50 rupee about, which was obviously a fucking lie, but
You don't
at
have
the end I
any
just
money
gave,
here.
it was like 50p.
I'm so glad you
gave
did though,
up.
because as soon as they realised they could get you, they fucking left Isaac and I alone.
And then I did like,
there was
and
a guy
then-
talking to us about
Yeah, but he moved on and started talking about
anti-vax or whatever.
COVID. Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, COVID's not real; it's all in your head."
alright.
And we,
Well, he's saying it could be fake, couldn't it? And we were like, yeah, it could be fake, but
lots of people died.
I had
And he was
it.
like, "I didn't see anyone die." We're like,
I
"Hmm,
had it.
okay."
yeah, this is when you were happening.
Yeah. So I bought my little marble elephant carved inside a marble elephant, and
They were pretty cool, to be fair.
then we left, didn't we? We went down the stairs.
Did that survive? Did it survive so far?
I think so. It's wrapped in newspaper.
Yeah, leave it wrapped.
We'll see when we get home.
Yeah.
And we went back downstairs, collected our boots. Back down the stairs, all our stuff was still there.
Had to pay
We had to pay the tour
multiple
guide,
people. Yeah.
and then we also had to pay the watchman.
Yeah.
But our stuff was still there, so I didn't mind.
And then off we went to.
He told us to go see.
Right around the corner. No, that what we went there to see.
Yeah,
was
we went
that
there to see a
tall
spiky tower.
building with spikes in it.
Which again, we turned up to there and we had all these people beckoning us into parking spaces and just drove right past them.
Yeah, almost over a massive fucking.
We almost went downstairs
Stairs.
though. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been very bad if
But
we'd
also,
gone down
people were
there.
coming up the stairs. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, there were bikes down there. That's why we didn't really know. And the stairs were like invisible from where we
But-
were.
I
There was
chat-
someone who came up the stairs.
Yeah, we could have, but it would have been.
I chatted to
Tough.
an Indian man and said there was
Someone
no way
shouted at
through
us.
to get there.
But
someone
Max
came up
was
behind
saying
us.
that we should.
Yeah.
The tour guide said as well. The guide was like, if you go that way, you can make your way to Agra. Well, we're not going to Agra, but it was supposed to be a through road, but it was closed.
Yeah, at this point we're still in Fatehpur Sikhi.
Was it
Which is
Mathura
just-
next?
Just round the back, and we went to.
No,
Where
and
did
then
we go that
Then
night?
we left there and we went to Bharatpur, which is like
Bharatpur, that
west
was
of.
it.
We did kind of like a little V shape. We went down to Fatehpur Sikhi and then up.
Yeah. But we were doing that.
southwest
To,
back.
to get to Bharatpur, that was the route anyway. There was no detour involved, really.
What was
Yeah.
it?
We're back. Matt paused it without any notice.
Sorry,
What
I
a
needed
prick.
to pee.
So we went to Bharatpur.
And we stayed in Falcon Guest House, which is where we had those lovely hosts.
Lovely.
Yeah, great host. They lived in England before, so they were like the first proper people that spoke amazing English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We expected everyone to fucking speak English. Everyone had told us in India, people speak English. Fucking like so few people speak English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was also a fracture clinic, ironically, because Charlie was still whinging about his ankle.
Yeah.
I was literally not whinging.
Yeah, it was like a dentist and a fracture clinic.
Remind me of a time I whinged, other than immediately after it happened.
Anyway, she was really funny. She was like, all
Oh,
from
G20.
Rishi Sunak.
Yeah, the amount of times on this holiday we've had to pretend we like Rishi Sunak.
Yeah, it's really embarrassing.
Um,
But they
But
cooked us that lovely
they were
meal.
amazing, and they cooked for us because it was a homestay, and I was still not doing well. And I was like, no spice, no spice. And they gave us loads of delicious Indian food with no spice, and I was very happy.
Yeah, we had our private terrace
We
dining.
had a fucking feast.
It was really good.
It was amazing.
With a hurricane blower on
And they
us.
didn't even have like their kitchen hadn't even been built yet. They were working out some small shed at the back of the garden.
Yeah. It's
Are they?
just
They're not
delicious.
just cooking in their like house bit.
No, there was a little bit out the
Yeah,
back
they're cooking out
end
the
of the
back.
garden. But yeah, that food was great, and they were great. And we bumped into one of the
We went to
investors
get water or something. I think it was his son. The guy who ran the dentist.
Yeah.
And he was so fucking chill. He invited himself into our room, and he was like, I'll be 60 seconds. And then he just came in and fucking chatted to us for 20
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. We previously asked him about beer, and his friends were looking around at some renovations that needed to be done.
Because he'd been out on the lash because he had no wife and kids that night, despite the fact he had 3 root canals in the morning.
Yeah.
What a legend.
Yeah, he was really nice.
He was really nice.
That was a great place. And that, I think, because like I'd had a few normal meals as well, that was like the beginning of me recovering stomach-wise. That was good.
Yeah.
I'm very glad we did that.
In the morning, she made me laugh because Isaac and I went downstairs and sat in their like foyer sofa bit, and she came out to take our order for breakfast, but then sat down, closed her pad, and started talking about Rishi Sunak again. And then her husband came out and was like, "What the hell? Give me the pad!" And then took our order and marched off.
She would have literally sat there and spoken to us all day if he hadn't come out and
She was
demanded.
great. Really
She was
nice.
great. They were all great. I loved them.
They're the only place I've left like
That was-
5
yeah.
stars on everything.
That was my happiest. Well, we've stayed in nicer places, but that was the happiest place.
That
for me.
is, yeah, it really showed me at least that Indians can be amazing,
Yeah.
and I don't know why. Sometimes they are, sometimes they can be arseholes.
They really can. I've just noticed that the plastic on my glasses has melted. That's how hot it's been on this
my
trip.
God.
Melted.
You're lucky they didn't infuse to your face.
Yeah. That's actual. Like, feel that. That's
Yeah,
proper
mine are the
melted.
same, yeah.
No, not that side. Just this side. That's how fucking hot it is here. Anyway,
So this is day 4 now. We're on the 5th of September. So we went to Barratt Bird Park.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what
Suddenly
is it called?
realised there was a bird park in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, let's go
Again,
there.
walked there to great disgrace of all the tuk-tuk drivers.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was quite a hot walk, to be fair.
That's where Isaac tries to pick up that concrete slab.
I pretty much picked
Okay,
up a
it was-
concrete
you
slab.
It's like
Basically,
it was like
it
half
was
a
just
foot
about.
of concrete.
It was about
a metre
hovering
wide.
off the ground. It was like pretty much up in the
And
air.
Isaac said, "How many people do you reckon it?" No, I said, "How many people do you reckon it takes to lift that?" And you said, "One Isaac." And I said, "Fucking pick it up then." And he was nowhere fucking
Didn't
near
somebody
picking it up.
pass and say something like too heavy?
Basically picked it up.
But yeah, we got to the bird park, paid an extortionate amount for a guide and a
Gotta be good though.
what was it? What was it like?
He
an
spoke a
e-tuk-tuk?
bit of English,
Yeah.
which was good.
The e-tuk-tuk was fucking like 20 quid.
Yeah,
I'd
you
ask
took
him-
it cost too much.
Yeah, the guide would ask him questions like, "Oh, do you have owls here?" And he'd be like, "Birds? Yes, any birds." Like, good. He was good at spotting things.
we saw an owl first. That was the first thing we saw, an owl.
Yeah, saw a spotted owl. We saw a load of storks.
Fucking tons of storks.
Oh,
Some
man.
screaming
3 different
bats.
types of storks.
Huge bats.
Massive.
I didn't know bats were that big.
Yeah, they were like a foot long each, and
Yeah.
they absolutely were going for it.
They were
Fucking nuts.
really romping really hard.
What was we saw a big mammal as well. What was it called?
Antelope,
Antelope.
Yeah, male, female antelopes. We saw some little egrets.
spotted deer,
Yeah,
Saw those
a
little
monkey.
monkey,
dog-like things.
jackals.
Oh yeah, a
Jackals.
couple of jackals. Yeah, and that big iguana that was chasing something
Yeah,
up a tree.
I saw a bigger one than that.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it was like a monitor lizard, like the width of a. It like in the distance, it ran across the road, but it was like the width of the road.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And that's where we went up that watchtower and they had a picnic bench at the top, and we were like, who in their right mind is
Oh
having
my
a picnic
God,
in the
yeah.
40 degrees
It's a
sun?
barbecue, mate. It's
Yeah.
so hot.
You could have cracked an egg on that metal picnic
easy.
table and it would just fry. Yeah, our guide was quite good actually.
Yeah,
Spotted a lot
Pretty
for
good.
us.
So we went back, put all our shit away. We decided we weren't going to eat there because we realised the food was actually quite expensive. What did we do for food that day?
We stopped in Dosa to eat. Do you remember that town where it was like very not English? Everything was in Hindi.
Yeah, and you.
We pulled up on the right and there was like a mechanic working under a tree, and we went into
And we had to move the bikes.
like an Indian restaurant that smelled very.
Oh, was that day?
that was
Yeah.
Dosa, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It was really dusty, that town.
It was very dusty.
I remember.
Yeah.
That
You
was
asked
quite-
him
My
to
horn stopped working
fix
that
him
day.
your horn.
Yeah, my horn stopped. Which in India is
That was
fucking
in the crash.
petrifying.
That was in the crash. The wire got pulled out, right?
Oh, I'd never put two and two together
No, I
for that.
haven't.
Yeah,
'Cause
my horn.
it was on the side you got crashed into.
To be honest, that restaurant was pretty dodgy as well.
No, it wasn't. It was fine. There were loads of people in there.
There were a lot of people in there.
That's where I bought my sunglasses
Yeah,
because I was being blinded.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something to do with Gandhi there or something?
There was like a Gandhi
statue.
statue. It was like 4 foot tall.
Yeah. It's not very tall.
No.
Um,
Then we
Large
drove.
size.
Then we drove through Jaipur, which was
oh shit.
Did we
was
get to
that day?
Jaipur that night? We did,
Yeah.
didn't we?
that was an experience. That
Jaipur
was.
pretty nuts.
I think that was worse than Delhi.
I think that was the worst driving we had.
That was like there was 3-lane dual carriageway or whatever.
And that was the
At a
worst Google
crossroad.
Maps. The Google Maps then was just absolutely
Oh,
awful.
yeah.
Because it was all shut off for construction or
Yeah,
something.
G20 or something.
Well, the whole time there as well, she kept saying turn left, now turn right on a motorway, which is
Yeah.
going straight.
She'd be like,
And she
head
kept-
south, head northeast. And you'd
Yeah.
be like, pick a lane.
And at a complete random point, I just asked everyone to pull over because I needed some water. At the point we were actually turning left, and we pulled off, and she was like, turn left. And we'd have fucking ignored her. 'Cause we'd been
Yeah.
ignoring her all day.
She was extremely useless.
I don't know why she was so bad.
And we were going in circles. But that Jaipur driving was crazy. That was like, there was 3 lanes going one way, and then it was like under a bridge, wasn't it? Under
Yeah.
a metro. So there was 3 lanes going one way, 3 lanes going the other, and you'd get these points where you could pass, but they would also have 3 lanes going
Yeah.
in each of
The
the
service roads were 3 lanes.
perpendicular
There's
directions.
a
Yeah.
road underneath and shit. It's so fucking nuts.
It was nuts. That was nuts. But then we arrived at Fern Habitat Hotel, which was such a posh hotel. It was great. I
loved
the
it.
poshest hotel I've ever been in.
No, we stayed in posh.
I don't think that was that nice.
I reckon
At
we
the
stayed in
point,
nice.
at the point, it was quite posh.
I think what's the place? The really fancy place we had beers in?
That was
Palazzo.
a fun.
No,
Just on the roof.
not on the roof.
Oh,
It was
Palazzo.
We'll get to that later anyway. It's
Yeah.
all true.
Yeah, we'll get
Later,
there
it's
anyway.
fine.
Anyway,
But we did have.
It was
stopped at
amazing.
Fern.
Stopped at the Fern. The reason I didn't like it that much was because the pool was so gross. The rooftop bar did look pretty cool, but we got blown off it the first night.
Yeah,
anyway.
there was rain and a hurricane. It seems to be a thing in India that anytime it's about to rain, you're in like a flipping hurricane for 10 minutes before, and we had that on the rooftop terrace of the rooftop bar.
Yeah. Second tallest building in Jaipur by the looks of it.
Yeah.
as far as we could see.
And they didn't learn their lesson because they just had cutlery and napkins and menus on all the tables, and it was just being
Loads of
fucking
things smashed.
blown everywhere.
Isn't this when you started
was like-
thinking you had food poisoning?
1,000,000 degree. It was like 1,000,000 decibels.
Oh yeah, I might not have felt that great.
Yeah, I think you were
That
feeling
night.
bad because Isaac and I went and got aloo tikki.
No, that
That from the Fern, definitely that day.
No, we all sat and had.
no, we all sat and had
A
dinner.
meal
So
together.
that night we got
Oh, was it the next
escorted
day?
off the roof down to the lower roof, and then we
Yeah.
got escorted off that lower roof down to the indoor bit.
Yeah.
And this was where there was that whole like welcome home Miss India,
Supranational.
Miss Supranational 2023,
Yeah.
and we
Oh,
sat
no.
indoors and had that mushroom. I had a mushroom char,
That was I had chicken. I actually risked having chicken in India.
but yeah, I think I was already feeling a bit like iffy that day.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the next day that you felt bad.
It was that night that oh no, I felt fine the next day. No, it was the next day because the next day we got the tuk tuk into the Pink City,
Mm.
and we sat in that cafe.
Yeah, but you
opposite-
did
It was
feel
that
bad,
evening
like,
you were
yeah.
feeling bad. Yeah, we
It was
went
that
home.
evening,
Yeah.
but not the evening of
No. Yeah. Next
Got
day.
fine.
yeah. So this is day
Did
5.
we do
now.
anything in Jaipur the first day? Just literally got to.
No, we
Yeah,
literally
right,
drove
yeah.
through there,
Arrived pretty late.
Yeah, we were like, fuck this shit.
and we were well ready for a gin and
But
tonic.
we didn't arrive late. It was like sundown by the time
Yeah,
we got in.
Yeah, the sun had gone down and we were at dusk, definitely.
Yeah. Timed it pretty well.
But it was hot. And it'd
Yeah.
been a long drive.
but being on that roof was a real like, oh my god, this is the
Yeah,
life.
We've made it.
Yeah.
This is made- And it was £12 per person per night.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So
it
good.
was crazy cheap. £36 a night, and it's like you can't get a travel lodge room for that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
good. I love that place.
Drinking double gins.
Yeah, boy. Hot double gins because we wouldn't have any ice.
Oh yeah, we weren't having.
That's not how you're supposed to drink them.
So it was the next day that we went to the cafe opposite Hawa Mahal, which was that big.
Oh,
We were
yeah.
just walking, weren't we? We were just walking down
we
that.
just got off
Isn't
the
there something
tuk-tuk.
cool on this road?
Yeah. And then we looked to our
Hang on,
left,
this is one of the things.
stood next to it.
And I spotted a rooftop bar opposite it, so we went to the cafe there.
Yeah,
Had some mediocre food,
but good view.
but an amazing view.
Ooh,
And a
yeah.
coffee. I ordered something very spicy, and you two ordered something frozen.
You had a roll.
So I then swapped with you.
Yeah.
And
you
we
had a
we
roll.
ordered some vegetable thing, and it came. It was like frozen vegetable fingers.
Yeah.
That cafe was for the view, not the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys went up to the toilet, which was like a chokey on the top floor.
Yeah. And as soon as I went in, there was a group of school kids that came and sat out and proceeded to laugh the whole time, including when I opened the door and walked past them.
And then after that, we went to
Yeah.
the City Palace Museum. Or went to the City Palace, right?
Yeah. And
Oh yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
spent ages walking around
Yeah.
that, but it was like fucking lovely.
The
It was
museum
so
was
nice,
really
yeah.
cool. They had like all the polo gear.
Yeah.
They had that original version of chess and some.
Cards.
Oh yeah, the metal cards.
They had the armory, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, the armory, which
Yeah.
has more knives than I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. For no reason. They just put them into like words and shit.
Yeah, they were
They
just spelling welcome with knives because they had too many knives to put in the actual exhibit.
like a horse armor or something, right?
Yeah.
And there was some crazy loud music, which we were like, "What's this? Let's go see." And there was one corridor down to just these people playing music,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Come join us." And we just kept walking and realised the corridor ended
Yeah.
because the corridor just went to them. So we
And
had
they
to
knew
walk
it
back
was.
past.
Yeah.
They knew that was the case.
And then we went to the observatory.
There was a snake charmer as well, which we didn't record
yeah.
because we didn't want to pay him
Was
money.
there?
Yeah, and we didn't
In
want to
Jaipur, yeah, not
support
there.
that animal cruelty, but yeah, there was a real snake charmer. on
Which
the
was
street.
crazy. That it felt like we were in a TV, like in a film or something.
Yeah.
But we were like, well, we can't record this. Not paying him money.
Even just walking around the Pink City was really cool. Actually.
Pink City was amazing. I loved Jaipur so much.
Yeah.
It was my favourite town in India, I reckon.
We're only halfway through because then we went to the observatory,
Yeah.
which I think was one of the coolest places we went.
Yeah.
And we watched a video about how they
Video was good. Aircon room.
made these
Couldn't ask for more.
huge, made these huge sundials and
Yeah, and the little models of all the things that we'd seen big, but didn't really understand.
Yeah.
And they were all like little
Just like
models to
little-
me.
well, some of them were like
working out.
just so like he had two semicircle domes built into the ground,
Yeah,
and you had to do
hemispheres.
calculations on both and then overlap them, and they would make. Yeah, it was really
It's crazy.
It was,
It's like
it was
how
a
they
hemisphere
did
to
science and astronomy and
Yeah.
everything
And wasn't it
thousands of years ago.
like one guy's idea to build this huge observatory, and then he built a load others around India.
Yeah, I don't know if this was the first one or the Delhi one was the first one, but it definitely had
was
the biggest and best sundial thing that was accurate to like 2 seconds.
Yeah, when you say
Yeah.
big sundial, it was like 100 meters tall,
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
and you could walk up it, and it was pointed at exactly 27 degrees because
13
that was,
degrees, yeah.
I need a
yeah,
piss. You two keep going.
it was like the angle of the rotation of the
Far
Earth.
up.
But it also pointed to the North Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just very, very clever.
What else did I have? I had all the. I had
We walked out and Mohammed was there.
You had sundials. It had sundials for all of the star signs.
That was when I first realised what star sign was.
Yeah, star signs, for those who don't know, are what star sign you can see in the sky at certain times of the year.
Wasn't it the position of the sun on the star sign? The star signs went in like a strip around the Earth, right?
Yeah.
And
So at night time you can see. So you've got the. Doesn't matter. But in the respective times of year, you can see the constellations.
But I think it was the position of the sun within that strip. So like if the sun was over the Cancer,
No, yeah. If it's over Cancer, then you'd see the other side.
but you were a Cancer if you're born at that point.
No, I think you were. What was the opposite side of Cancer?
Oh right, so it's not where the sun was.
No, because if you've got the sun, then you've got the Earth, then you've got that constellation above you. That's the only constellation you can see at night because
Oh,
the sun's in the way.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we learned much things about science.
Yeah.
And then we met Mohammed.
Our good friend Muslim Mohammed.
He took us.
Who offered to take us around for 80 pence per hour.
Which we would later realise was shit. Absolute shit. Anyway.
So we agreed to this price because we thought, fucking hell, that's actually amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do this.
Well, that was before we went into the astrology place because he was like, "Oh,
He talked
need
to
to
us
go-
before,
yeah, I need to go pray anyways, and I'll see you afterwards."
We said,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe. And then we walked out of the astronomy place and he pounced us. And
Yeah.
I was like, you must be hungry. Do you want food? I'll take you food.
And he took us to this
And
place
we were
that
hungry, so we just said yes.
claimed to be all fresh food, very good hygiene, tourist friendly, no deli belly, for some extortionate tourist price.
Oh shit! It was,
Yeah.
It wasn't shit.
It was
It just
shit.
wasn't spicy, which is
I had cold
but-
dal.
Yeah, the tali wasn't good.
No.
my food was good. I just had dal, to be fair. I had dal and rice.
But then from
Yeah.
there he took us to Amber Palace. We drove past Waterfall, or Water
Yeah.
Palace.
Yeah.
Took us to Amber Palace. Which again I think was one of the coolest things we saw.
Yeah.
We were like exploring.
Hamburg, yeah, that was awesome.
It was so big you could lose yourself from all the other
Yeah.
tourists there.
Yeah, yeah.
And we'd be going like down some steps and then up
We had a
little.
good like 20 minutes without seeing anyone.
Yeah, getting
Just
lost
'cause
in
we were
this
so deep
labyrinth.
in it. Yeah.
Yeah, the
we were trying to
labyrinth.
get
of
up
rooms.
onto the roof.
And yeah, we kept trying to get higher.
Yeah.
Labyrinth of roofs.
But yeah, that was very good.
They
And then we
there were like 3 or 4 courtyards, and they were like completely different.
Yeah.
spectacular.
I'd highly recommend that to
Yeah.
anyone coming.
Yeah.
They go see Amber Palace.
And then we came out and we were like, change of plans, Mohammed. We would like to go to Tiger Fort now. And he shook his head and he was like, yeah, all right, fine.
He had to ask directions, didn't he? Because
He
he
asked
first
the directions and he needed to ask where petrol was.
Yeah, he needed
And then we went and got
LPG,
some petrol.
and we drove down this absolute
Random fucking
Yeah.
back alley.
back alley village slum to
Literally
some guy
one
that
level above slum. I think it's the closest to a slum we've been in.
yeah,
Was besides
some guy
yesterday.
next to his house.
That was
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was. But this LPG was like some guy next to his house had a tank in his shack, and had a meter on the wall, and he like plugged it in and
Like,
Filled
weird
up.
pub was like going.
yeah, filled up thingy with LPG.
we had to pay for that. And so he said, you got to pay for this. So we paid for that. We were like, fine, whatever. Going up a mountain. Guess that makes sense.
And then he drove us up to Tiger Fort, yeah, which was very steep hills.
Yeah.
That's
Get
where
to
they
the
did
fort.
the Top Gear hill racing.
Oh,
It
was
was, yeah.
competition,
Oh, I didn't know that.
And yeah, got to Tiger Fort. Tiger Fort was nice enough.
Yeah, it's fine.
we
Amazing
watched the
views from the
sunset.
top.
Yeah, amazing views. And then we
Views
watched
of the
the
whole of
sunset.
Jaipur, which was just bigger than anything you could imagine. It just went as far as the eye could see in every direction.
Yeah, that was eye-opening. Actually, how sprawling.
Mm.
And the density
was.
of people, yeah.
Watched the sunset. That was very nice. And then we went down. Went to the sunken temple.
Oh yeah, we stopped at the waterfall on the way back.
And then Matt was starting to feel quite peaky at this point. We were like, can we go back? And all day he'd been saying, if you want to see textiles, I'll take you textiles. And every
Yeah.
time we said, no, we don't want to see
He's
textiles.
like, if you want to see where the makers' village is, they make the textiles, and we were saying no.
No pressure, no
interest.
pressure. If you don't want to go, you don't want to go. And we said, no, we don't want to go. And then he took us to the fucking textiles place.
I think we literally said when we got back from the waterfall, we were like, let's go back to the hotel, and then we just ended up at the textile factory.
Yeah.
Ended up at the textile factory. They then really fucking forced us quite deep in.
Yeah.
At which point
They showed us a fucking block print, which you do in like year R with potatoes.
Which
It's not fucking hard.
also was not how they did any of the fabrics ever.
Yeah,
This
it
is
was
just
like, this is how you do a block print. Yeah, really
What-
interesting.
What's
like-
cool there is there was two guys making a carpet,
That was
Yeah,
pretty
that
sick.
was fun.
and they
Layer
had all
by
of the
layer,
like vertical white strings, and they were they had a knife in one hand, and they were like hand knotting the pile of the carpet and then cutting it at the exact
Yeah.
same length
That
every
was the
time.
only
With
worthwhile
the-
thing seeing.
yeah,
Yeah.
in colours making patterns, but I refused to film it because I
And
didn't
then
want
they
to pay
kept
them.
taking us in deeper and deeper, and we kept saying, we want to go. And he'd be like, just look, looking's free. And then he took us in. What did you say, Isaac? I don't remember.
He
He
said,
went-
free to look. And I said, free to leave?
And he spoke pretty good English.
Yeah.
And he was like, what did you say? And then Isaac said it again. Free to leave.
And he said, "Yes,
And
my
he
friend,
was
it
quite-
is not a prison."
Yeah. And I was like,
Then
that
we
was a
were-
stupid thing to say. We're very sorry. And then
It
promptly
wasn't a
left.
stupid thing to say.
To be honest, it
Got
was
us out
so,
of there.
yeah, they were showing us all these like, do you want duvet cover? Do you want cushion? It was like, no, we didn't want to
No,
fucking
we don't want
come
anything.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mohammed just sat watching TV in their front room.
Yeah, we left a lot quicker than Mohammed thought.
And
we
then
would.
Mohammed goes, "Now I take you to see the jewels," and I went, "No,
No.
Mohammed, I feel
We're
ill.
going home.
Take me to the hotel."
Yeah.
I was really flagging.
He
at
then
that
wouldn't
point.
take us to the hotel.
No, because it was too far
'Cause it
away.
was too far away. So he said it would take us to the metro. We then get to the metro. What happened, Matt?
Well, we'd agreed it. We'd done the £80 an hour, 80 pence an hour, 80 rupees an hour calculation, and we worked out we owed him like, what was it, 6.8 to 4.80. So we'd agreed we were going to pay him like 7 hours. We are going to pay him 5.60, so an hour's tip. But then I got the maths wrong, and I was counting out 5,600 instead of 560, and he saw how much money we had. So then he was like, "Oh no, it's 80 rupees an hour, but the trip up to Tiger Palace is extra."
Yeah.
And he
That
kept
was
saying it's
1,000.
extra, and we said, "Yeah, we know we paid your 200 fuel." And he said, "Yes, I understand, but it's extra." And then he said 1,000, so he wanted the 200
Yeah.
fuel, the
And an
6
extra
hours,
£10.
and an extra £10. At which point I was fucking done
Yeah.
with the day. And we haggled him. Well, we
You
didn't,
didn't
haggle.
haggle. You told him.
I told him we weren't
We
doing
are
it.
paying you this much.
And then I got up to like 700, and I was like, "We've been nice, let's leave on friends, but this conversation's over." And I slapped it in his hand, and we walked into the metro.
Yeah.
By this point, like, I'd already been shaking for an hour from the like sweats of the illness.
Yeah.
Mm,
And that metro ride was absolute hell.
Yeah, you were in a bad way.
I was in a bad place. This guy, his fucking stinking breath, was like screaming in my face over the metro, like, where are you from? I didn't want to have a conversation with him. I felt bad.
Yeah.
I was definitely working up a fever by this point, like I was getting hot.
Yeah.
And I remember that walk back to the... I could tell you guys were like clocking like Alu Tiki stalls and things, but we had to walk back from the metro through that. Like,
We spoke to that little girl on the train. There was a little.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. She was desperate to talk to us, but then wouldn't talk. She just stand there.
She was giving us yes no answers. We were asking her all these questions. I didn't think she was good enough. Well, she was good enough to understand. I guess
Yeah,
she
just
wasn't
not
good enough to talk.
Yeah.
Or confident enough to ask the questions, probably.
Yeah, that's also true.
yeah.
She's at a good school. I think she's at Cambridge School or something, right?
Yeah.
That was cute.
But yeah, we get there. Matt goes to bed. Isaac and I then want some food.
Just that walk back though was... I was just putting one foot in front of another. I was
Yeah.
trying really hard not to
Yeah.
collapse.
We then went back to the train station. That was the first time. Well, it's not the first time I was nearly hit because I have been hit. I was very nearly hit by a car. It would not slow down
Oh, yeah,
for me
when
when
we
I thought it
crossed,
would
yeah.
when we crossed over.
Oh.
And that was the first time I was like, oh fuck, okay. They won't just stop because you're there. They will just hit you unless you run.
Jesus.
So that was pretty scary. But then that was my first Ali Tiki and I thought that was fucking delicious. It was amazing. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Very good. We had two each.
We had two,
Because
yeah.
it was so good.
But again, that was one of the ones where there was like 10 people outside at all times. We had to wait.
absolutely. We did.
It's a good sign though.
But yeah, we didn't want to eat at the hotel again because it was overpriced and not that good.
Yeah.
So we then did that. We then went back to the hotel, I think, and had a pint. Yeah, we did, didn't we? Back to the rooftop, had a drink, and then we went to bed.
At this point, I'm already in bed with a fever, but I've like covered myself in blankets because I'm like, I'll just sweat it out and sleep through it.
Yeah.
And I was then ill on the toilet so many times that night. I think I must have got up to shit about 10 times,
Really?
and every time it was just the world falling out my ass. And I was having these really vivid fever dreams as well.
Yeah, that's
where
the
like
worst part.
my body was being like broken into pieces and this weird, and it was only about 4 or 5 a.m. where I'd got up to shit for the nth time, and I got back in bed and I started having like not normal, but I started having like more logical dreams, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm coming out of it because I'm not having this like
Okay.
nutty.
Fair enough.
That it was bad.
More lucid.
Yeah, I was up and down all night.
What happened the next day then? We woke up and we had...
While Matt was in bed, we had another beer, I think, on the rooftop.
Yeah.
That was on the night.
And there was another... Was there another party up there?
Another one.
I remember there being something interesting. During the day, we'd gone to... There was a festival.
Oh,
And
yeah.
While Matt was in bed, there was the Hindu festival, Shiva festival. That was that day. Was it?
No,
no.
that wasn't that
No,
day.
the next day.
Sorry.
Because the next day,
Because
Sorry,
we
I'm getting ahead of
were
myself.
going to leave, and then we found out there was a festival the next day, and we're like, oh, we're definitely staying in
Yeah.
Jaipur another day then.
yeah.
Because it was an evening festival. It started in the morning, and then there was a lull, but it was like mainly an evening
Yeah.
festival.
Yeah.
So
That's
that
the next
morning
day.
we went for a walk to get bananas on because I was trying to push through, but I actually wasn't better.
Yeah.
And then we went to the pool,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is where you had the
you
moment.
needed to chill out, and we didn't have much to do that during the day, so we thought we'd go to the pool at the hotel.
Yeah. But we bought the composite ticket, which has like 7 attractions in one, and you still had stuff to tick off.
Yeah. So we
See,
then went off.
We we sat until like 10 when I was stupid and popped to the gym, and then did we eat breakfast at the hotel?
No, I think we went out and got bananas. That was
Oh yeah, we got bananas. Yeah. And then we went out lunchtime to get. Do you not come for lunch with us?
No, you
No.
guys went off and you did the inside of that Harmer
Yeah.
Mahal. Yeah.
Mahal, the building we'd sat opposite in the cafe.
Yeah.
You did the inside and you did the Albert Hall or something.
Yeah.
Albert Hall.
Hall Museum. Yeah.
And something else.
Gardens.
No.
No.
The tower.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, the tower was great. It had great views, but that was like the first time that I'd been out and about and sort of actually thought I was going to shit myself. Remember being at the top of that and being like almost killed over that the stomach cramps are so bad.
Really?
Like thinking about going to some guy's shop that we've spoken to.
Oh, he was desperate to take it. And then we got to the top and some guy was wanting to take photos with us. Everywhere we went, fucking people were taking photos with us. We've not talked about that yet. We were like mini celebrities.
Yeah.
Someone called Isaac an actress, a famous actress.
Yeah.
So that was good.
That was Agra, and then the day before we'd gone. The guys that helped us with the scarf were like the first people to ask for our photos.
We talked about the video.
Yeah, because in return.
Oh my
for
god, the
them,
video!
In return for them fixing the bike and icing Charlie's foot, they wanted to reveal their new model of a shitty Royal Enfield.
Yeah. It was it's the best Royal Enfield ever made because we unveiled it.
Yeah.
They made like TikTok reel.
They made a TikTok reel.
Oh, play the music.
Oh yes.
Play the music because we
Wait,
might
why
not
you-
be able to find the
Why you
music.
do this?
again.
I'm going to the toilet.
I don't know where.
This music has become iconic during the trip.
It has always been iconic.
Because this reel is of me and Isaac unveiling the bike and then everyone clapping, which we didn't know was what we were meant to do. But
Oh, we got biscuits.
Amazing video.
this is not an endorsement for Royal Enfield. You should never buy one of the bikes because they're rubbish.
Is there any tissue?
No, you've got all the tissue.
Where's the most tissues?
We're going to have a quick pause whilst we deal with shitting.
This podcast has been brought to you by Kingfisher Strong, Tasty Indian Lager. I'm not actually sure how much percentage this is. Feels like I'm getting pretty fucked up from it.
You're speaking as if you are.
5%. Not even. No, sorry, it's 5 to 8%. They don't even know how strong this beer is. Which makes me think it is 8%. Which does explain why I'm slurring my words.
Explain.
Explain. But
It actually says 5 up to 8%.
that last
Above 5 up to 8.
that last Kingfisher break, brought to you by Kingfisher shit break. I don't think it's going to be the last one because I have some very milky sag puri things.
That's
Those
right.
little
Once you start, you can't stop as well. That's the
lots
problem.
of creamies. Yeah, it's like Pringles, isn't it?
End of ad break. Thank you very much.
Where
Where
we
were
get
we?
to?
Also, not to mention we're hiding these from the hotel after suspiciously asking for a bucket of ice to chill them.
Which didn't fucking work either. Paid £1.
These are
to
nice.
chill it. These are fucking amazing. Can you open this?
I think we're at the point where you guys have gone out. I'm still in bed.
And we've come back. We've had a drink. Next day.
Wait, no. So I met you at the
Oh,
metro.
okay.
We'd
We've gone
agreed
out
that like
during the day.
I
yeah.
would turn up at the metro station at 6 o'clock if I
Wait,
was
no,
feeling
no. This is the next day.
Yeah. We're
Oh
on
yeah,
the
we
next
do
day.
a load of shit on our own.
We do a load of shit.
And then I meet you in the metro station at 6 because we're going to go to the festival.
Yep.
And we had food at that place where I flicked a cockroach off Isaac's back.
Yeah, that was fucking
There was
horrible.
bugs everywhere.
Was that the really small ceiling?
Yeah.
Like they'd split one floor into two. So we're like crouching down on the top floor.
That was a great start to Matt's return to non-food poisoning food.
Yeah. And then
I
we
was
did
back
the
to
festival.
normal though. I was very happy. From that point on, I've been good.
Yeah.
I've been having spicy, delicious food from that point on. Just no more fucking chickpeas.
And then we did Festival of Lord Krishna.
We did. It was Krishna's birthday.
Was there?
It was. Yeah. Defo.
During the day, we'd gone to that blue restaurant, and there was that one white guy who was doing like work on his laptop. Remember?
Oh yeah.
And a little boy danced for us.
Which was, again, it was awesome. And I was like, I'm not going to film because then we got a reply. We got to pay them.
Which is not the way you do it. You film and then if they pass pay, who cares? It's like £1.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was he a good dancer?
He was a pretty
He
good
was a pretty
dancer,
good
yeah.
dancer.
Doing
He
like
was
the
like-
whole head thing, the quick
He was-
head bob.
He was in the head bob. He was
I
in-
can't even do it. Like,
He's wearing like
Twitch.
the royal outfit with like a skirt. He was like spinning around.
He was.
And the
Doing the
guy
whole-
playing the sitar.
It's pretty cool.
The guitar theme was called.
It was pretty sick.
But not worth a quid.
But not well. I'm terrible. I should have just fucking played the quid. Still the student in me though.
Yeah. So we're walking through the festival and we're like, there's piles of flip flops everywhere. Because we're being like
Well, just
shepherded in
describe,
queues.
describe the queue.
I mean,
So
we-
we see a massive fucking queue, and we're just like, let's just see where this goes. We'll walk around it.
Yeah, because we've been
Well,
told there's like a big festival.
There's a
going
big
on.
festival,
And
so
we've
like,
been
let's see what
told
they're
it's-
queuing for.
Yeah, we were told it's a festival of light, and the first thing we saw was this big lit up red archway. So we're like, let's walk through that.
Yeah.
And
So
we
then
joined
start
the
following,
queue.
and then yeah, by following this queue, we ended up in a different queue, where everyone's just moving forward, and all the guards go, just move, go, keep going, don't stop, just keep going.
There's like 1,000 volunteers at this thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and like tens of thousands of people probably fucking walking down this thing. We are then suddenly in a queue, in a different queue. We're in a queue.
And remember, at every random point, somebody would start a chant.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
they're doing that weird
especially through the
singing.
archways. Someone would like yell something, and everyone would yell back. Blah, 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 blah. What was
Yeah.
it like? Banana. They kept saying
Shabla, shabla, something like
habba dabba, habba dabba. It was something like that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Anyway, we got videos of it. Not many, but we got videos of it.
Yeah.
And then we get all the way to the front. We're walking fucking
No,
ages.
when
through
we
this queue.
first started in the queue, I was like, oh, hang on, everyone else has not got any shoes on.
Yeah, there's video footage of you saying no one's wearing shoes and us just ignoring you and walking anyway. So we then just keep walking, and then we get right to the front. We're right outside the main thing, and then we see some white people, which is the first white people we've seen in Jaipur.
The guy wouldn't let us through. He was like, no, there's white people over there. Go with the
Yeah,
white
go
people.
join the white people. We
Yeah,
go
reached a bunch
join
of
the
metal detectors. didn't
yeah.
we?
We go join the white people queue.
We're trying to go through the shoes queue,
And then,
previous shoes.
but then like we actually kind of ignored the white people. But then at some point we're like, what's going on? Do you know? And they're like, no, I think we're getting VIP. And then suddenly the white people disappear into a different queue, and we're like,
when
fuck,
we're taking our shoes off.
we better follow. So yeah, we then whisk our shoes off, and I am desperately saying, oh my god, please, can we just keep hold of the shoes?
Charlie's like, we are never seeing these
And
shoes
I'm
again.
I'm convinced we'll never, like, we are so deep, so deep in this queue. Well, if we just take them off and leave them here, we are never seeing these shoes
Yeah.
again.
It was like a labyrinth of artificially made queues through barriers, and we like
And we had no
negotiated
fucking clue
the
where we were.
labyrinth for 20 minutes, and there were just these random small cages on the floor that you put your
Yeah.
shoes in. And Charlie was like, "This is the last time
And
I'm
Matt,
seeing these."
Matt and Isaac just immediately took them off, and I disappeared. I was like, "Oh my god!"
I was back. I was like, it's fine. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like,
know
"It'll be
where we are."
fine. It's obviously a cage for shoes. There's other
Oh
shoes in
god!
here."
So I took them off anyway. We all took them off. We went and saw this thing. All it is you walk past a big Vishnu statue,
Krishna.
Krishna statue, which is clearly very important.
Yeah.
And then we're spit out the other end. The queue to get out was even fucking longer than the queue to get in,
Yeah.
because they're stopping and starting us because there are pinch points. And then we're like, "Fuck! Right, we just got to."
The whole
Do the
time
queue
Charlie
again.
is also whinging about getting crowd crushed. Because
No, I
he's
wasn't.
a pussy.
I just said I'd seen a video.
And you're like, oh my
about
god,
it.
this is we're about
And
to
I
get
was
crowd
like,
crushed.
no,
my
I
God,
never
guys,
said
guys,
that.
guys, We're going to get crowd
I
crushed.
never said that.
They were very good at stopping the crowd.
They were
That's
very
why we
good,
kept stopping on the way out, is because they let it all clear.
I just said I'd learned about it.
But again, we walked like another 20-minute queue labyrinth to get out. Found some chairs that were definitely made for the policemen, but we sat in them anyway.
There were smart people sat opposite us.
Which people then treated as like a selfie spot. They came and sat in the fourth chair to take pictures with the
Yeah.
white guys.
Yeah, people love and take photos with us. And they were like, "Fuck, right,
That
guess we
little
got
kid, what
to
was he talking about, that little
do
boy?
the queue again." Don't remember.
Oh, gang signs.
Gang signs.
Gang signs, gang signs.
Yeah, and then we finally exited. Bearing in mind, we're now back on the normal, like, shit-covered streets with no shoes on.
And
Oh,
they're all
God,
wet.
it's
for
so
some reason.
gross. There was like milk all over the floor, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, there was all the
Like
lassi.
strawberry
Lassi
milkshake or
store.
something.
Yeah, they
So
were
then our
handing out.
socks and feet are fucking so gross.
They were handing out bags of lassi, which some people just pot on the floor. So occasionally you just pop a lassi all over your
Oh,
foot.
it's so gross.
I was in bare feet as well.
And I was wearing socks, which I think is worse. So we had wet socks, and then we went back into the queue. It took way longer this time because it was much longer.
And we'd had to queue to get back to the start of the queue.
Yeah. And then we fucking found
Oh,
our
wait,
shoes
wait,
again.
no. Oh, yeah.
We then found our shoes again, and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to just put my shoes on with these wet, gross socks.
But obviously this time we're trying to jump from the queue at the very back of the temple where you're
Yeah,
allowed
the
to wear
cheap-
shoes
the
because you
cheap
don't
queue.
even enter the temple.
into the VIP queue.
We're trying to jump forward to the VIP
which is
queue
where our shoes are.
and the guards are like, absolutely not. But
We convinced them though. I just kept pointing at the shoes, being like, "Our shoes are there. We are going here. Let us through." And they eventually let us through. Put our shoes on. Went back to the stupid
yeah,
cheap.
we now had shoes so
one.
we couldn't go through the temple.
Yeah, so
bit.
we go back to the worst queue, like the cheapest queue of them all.
Thankfully, the VIP queue wasn't very hustle and bustly.
No, it was okay.
No.
And then we go back to
Yeah.
the cheap queue. We then start walking down. We're right by the threshold of the building, and then they stop everyone. Every single person has to stop, and they're just like, sit down, just sit down. Everyone stop. How long do you reckon we're there for?
We probably sat for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I think in true Indian mob fashion,
One
some
person
people-
stood up.
Some people stood up.
So everyone
Someone-
stood
I
up.
think someone stood up to ask a question or something, and then
Everyone stood
everyone
up
took that
and
as a
started
gift to
pushing
stand up.
forward. So then without being pushed into this thing,
So now
it's so hot.
your crowd
so
crash
hot.
anxiety is getting
Yeah.
real.
And we're standing up, and we're standing up for much longer than we were
Yeah.
sitting down for.
Mhm.
And we're out of. Bearing in mind, some of the places had those like misters that you get in restaurants.
We are not
Spain.
in that place.
We're not in the misters. We're not by the fans. We're in the like
Right
bright
at the
lights
front, yeah.
at the front, surrounded by people. We've run out of water at this point.
Yeah.
And
Push
I
forward.
started getting very lightheaded.
Matt basically fainted. We had to help him to the ground.
Honestly, it was like being high. All the lights were like zooming in and out, and everything was moving very slowly.
And
And I was like swaying.
it's very
and I had to hold on to
understandable.
Isaac.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Matt
was not
like
feeling good
20
either.
degrees swaying.
Yeah, it must
Yeah.
have been 40 degrees in there.
Easily.
Yeah.
If not more.
And I started seeing the black cloud coming in, and then one of you said, "Just sit down." And I was like, "Oh my god, such a good idea!" And I
Yeah.
fell to the floor,
Yeah. We then protected him from like crowd crush.
which all the Indians found hilarious. That the
Oh,
white guy had to
everyone,
say-
Everyone was
everyone
like,
was loving
Is
it.
there someone sat down there? What
Yeah.
a fucking pussy.
We had to keep pointing at him, like doing heat signals, being like, "He's just hot. He's just hot."
Bear in mind, I recovered from food poisoning.
Yeah.
If I'd even
Less than
recovered
24 hours
like
before.
6 hours prior, yeah, I'd really worked myself up to come out to this festival.
Yeah. And you come out and fucking
Eating a
roasting.
cockroach restaurant and was now standing in this massive hot
Yeah,
crowd.
That was a bad restaurant, but
And
we
then-
spent ages trying to find restaurants.
Suddenly, they just opened all the queues and everyone started moving. And you guys yanked me within like
Yeah.
half a second. I was from
Yeah.
seated,
Pulled you up.
and
yeah.
I was like standing and walking.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank
We're
goodness, 'cause I
going.
would have been trampled.
Yeah. We
And we
went
walked-
straight through.
Yeah, the back of the temple. This
And because
time.
we were pretty close, there wasn't a queue to leave, thank fuck, so we were just
Yeah.
out.
And that's
We
when
had our
sat
shoes.
on
That's
the
when we sat
chairs.
down, yeah.
Wasn't the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
We there was that like weird mini rave temple
Yeah.
on the corner that all the kids went in.
That's when you were like, is this
Here you
religion
go.
just where you make as much noise as possible?
It is. It is. By the way.
And then we got the metro home,
Yeah.
which
Did
I
we
was
do anything?
feeling a lot better.
Did
That
we do
night.
anything? We walked around a bit aimlessly, looking in Krishna temples.
We got a different metro back, yeah. I think it was 10 o'clock, and we'd been told that the next like big thing happened from 12 till 1.
Mhm.
But me and Charlie were flagging, and we weren't going to last another 2
No,
hours.
we all were. We'd all. You'd had food poisoning. We'd been on our feet all day.
Yeah, so we were ready to go, so we just got the metro home
Yeah.
to Shamnagar,
Shamnagar, correct?
walked through that kind of slummy village again. Back
Yeah.
to the Fern. Oh yeah, because we did a second night at the Fern. I think we decided that when I was like ill and we wanted to stay in Jaipur another night.
Was that not the third one?
No, I think we just renewed for a second one.
No, because it was the third, because we had the full day planned where we did Mohammed,
Oh yeah.
and then we added an extra night on because we wanted to stay for the festival. So it was a third night in the firm.
It was ideal because I had a camp bed outside the toilet, which was exactly what I needed.
Yeah. We got back. I went up to the roof. Charlie called Chaz. I looked for some fireworks. There weren't really many fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, we were up till the festival ended anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
That was the end of day 6.
Yeah. Day 7, here we go.
We had breakfast at the fair.
did we?
Yeah, we did because we paid for the final months.
Yeah.
Was it good breakfast?
It was the one where we
Good,
sat in a
okay.
really tall room and there was like pancakes and chocolate cake and
Yeah, chocolate cake.
I think I had beans on toast. This was like my recovery meal.
Yeah, and there was that really bad mural that had all the words misspelled on it.
Did it? I didn't see
I
that.
think I was the only one facing that way. And the kids that wouldn't stop screaming, and it was
Yeah.
like fucking 9 a.m.
Good breakfast though. Beans on toast was exactly what I needed.
Very sugary beans, weren't they?
Yeah.
They're alright though.
And then we drove from Jaipur to Neemrana.
Tripped on the bikes.
Rana,
To
yeah.
Neemrana.
That was just a day of
We
riding,
just
really,
drove
wasn't
there. We didn't do anything. Anything happen on the bikes?
No, we arrived quite early because we arrived at that hotel opposite the fort.
Yeah. We went to the wrong hotel.
Yeah, we thought that was our hotel.
Did the full check-in and went to...
Went to the room,
Pay.
dropped our stuff off.
We'd signed,
They were like, hang on, this isn't
And
anywhere
everything.
near the price that we
went
thought
to
it
pay,
was.
and it was twice as much as we thought it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then we're like, should we stay? Should we go? Felt really bad that this guy was like almost in tears because
Was it?
we said, oh, actually, we don't want to stay here. And then just left. Felt really
Went
bad.
to our actual reservation,
Went to
which
our
is like
actual
half an
reservation,
hour away.
which was-
Those roads were the worst roads we've driven on yet.
I
the
thought
roads,
they were
yeah.
fine.
the
They were
roads to
bumpy, that's what
Neemrana.
it was.
Oh my goodness.
Those were fine. Then we got to the hotel and we were like, okay,
Yeah,
fine,
that-
let's go out and
that
do
was
stuff.
proper off-roading right outside. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
because we had a hotel in the Japanese industrial estate, which
Yeah.
was very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we tried to sort of just go straight back out. We went to the Stepwell,
Yes.
which was interesting.
It's
That was
cool.
really
I like
cool.
the stepwell a lot. Yeah.
It was cool, but I think that was my first Indian, like, this could be really fucking amazing if someone spent a
Looked
day
after it. Yeah.
cleaning it,
Yeah.
or if anyone cared about anything, like, in like a cleanliness way.
To explain what
But
it
it
was,
was like, it was just a well. Oh, sorry, can you go?
Yeah, well, I was going to say it was like a well at the bottom of a 10-story building, but only 3 of the stories were above ground.
Yeah.
So you had steps down, but
Yeah.
steps down 4 stories, and then it just got to a hole, like a literal hole.
Yeah, and then
And the last 5 stories were like,
Deteriorating
they were
as
like,
well.
how do you describe it? It was like sort of like fire escape stairs out of a New York block of flats where the stairs sort of go along the side of the building. You know what I mean? You know, like New
No,
York block of
I know
flats.
I know what you
Yeah,
mean. I don't see how
okay.
it resembles a step.
The steps go along the side of the building as opposed to out of the building.
I got you. Don't worry. Keep going.
Yeah.
What?
Don't
But these
worry.
ones went straight down to
No,
just
no,
the
no. He's
hole.
talking about
To the
bit
hole,
below
and then
that.
at the hole they sort of go like
zigzag.
Oh, right, yeah.
perpendicular to how you've been travelling previously. For like another couple of stories. At which point we were like, fuck this, if you slip.
Yeah, I love a
It was all
little
wet and
Red Bull
gross.
Extremes challenge, but
It's not
walking
worth it.
around the side of that hole where the crumbled
Yeah.
pavement used
no,
to be, I was
absolutely
like,
no
no.
chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before
I don't
you
think
know-
anyone would. Like it was bad.
And there was like broken scaffolding, bamboo in the
Yeah.
hole.
Yeah.
It was
A
cool. It was
million
very
bottles,
cool. I liked it there a
A
lot.
beehive.
We then went back to the fucking fort, and they wouldn't let us in.
Yeah.
It was a pain in the ass to get there.
Yeah, because it was now a hotel and their viewing
Oh
hours
yeah, we
were
lost
like
Charlie
11
on the
till
way
1.
to the Stepwell
Yeah.
because there was like a big dirt road that like
Mud,
been
yeah, dirty,
churned
wet
up.
mud road.
And we went around the back that had those really scary dogs. Like, they had all these dogs on chains that were going for anyone that went past. But yeah, we'd lost you, Charlie.
Yeah. But anyway, got to the fort. They wouldn't let us in. Went back to the Japanese estate. Bit grumpy because
While
there
I
was
was
nothing to do
waiting at
there.
the stepwell for Isaac to go and find you, all these kids, well, no, adults as well, started climbing on Isaac's bike to take photos.
No way.
Really?
Yeah. So your bike had a photo shoot while I waited. Because you'd taken my
That's
bike to go
hilarious.
find Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all had a photo shoot on your bike. But again, I was like 50-50. I was like, they might try and steal this. It all felt a bit dodge, but we were fine. We went back to our industrial estate, yeah.
Went back to our industrial estate. We actually found a very big, popular restaurant very nearby, which
Yeah,
was
like a
pretty
food
delicious.
Sort of felt a bit like a service station,
It
but
was, yeah.
Indian style. There were people like with aeroplane landing lights, like stood out in the
Oh, yeah.
road, beckoning people in.
That was our first veg palau as well, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And from then we ordered veg palau almost every day.
Yeah. I think this was also the first time I felt able to eat curry again.
Yeah.
I was back normal.
That was
as
really
well.
good food in there. I don't know what we
It was
ate, but
really
it was
good.
really, really good.
The woman told the other Indian customer told you off because you weren't eating
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
she taught us how to eat
the
with
right roti.
Roti.
roti,
yeah.
which was good because from then I think we've done it right.
It was like, no, this roti you rip it and then you.
You scoop food onto it
Yeah.
as
It is
opposed to
as
dip it
food.
into food. That was the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, that food court was really good. That's where we had our tartar copper water,
Yeah.
which was not water. It was a water-based mineral enhanced beverage or something.
Right. Anyway, what happened? We got back to the hotel.
Nothing
what?
happened.
Next day.
That was a hotel where we had the 4 beds
Oh, yeah.
lined up.
Oh, they were pretty grim as well, actually. They all had hair on the pillows and shit again.
Did they?
Oh, we missed
Yeah,
the
I
didn't
point where
notice
like
that.
we had lunch at that hotel at about 4 o'clock.
Oh, God.
But they just ordered something in, I
Took
think, from the
fucking
food
forever.
court.
We were so hungry.
So all arrived
So
in tin
hungry,
foil.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I ordered an omelette because I was still recovering.
And you got it pretty quick, and then I was going to have to wait like another fucking hour for our
Yeah.
food to arrive.
Anyway, we found the food court in the end. We're
Eggless
eating
brownie.
an eggless brownie.
Eggless brownie.
I love that in India they put this green dot to show that it's
Mhm.
vegetarian. Which I'd hope it is because it's a brownie. But
It's eggless.
Hare
as well.
Krishna.
my favourite town name. Day 8, the 9th of September, we left Neemrana to drive to Muzaffarnagar.
Yeah,
Muzaffarnagar.
was pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's a great name.
That was just a day of driving, though, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Did we
Isaac-
have bike problems?
That's where we met the other Indian bikers.
Oh, yeah.
Because Isaac's bike broke down
Oh, yeah.
near Sonipat
by a pole, what's it called?
after the
Toll
toll.
road to get a toll station again.
And then those 2 other proper Indian bikers pulled up on Yamahas, obviously,
Uh-huh.
because they're proper bikers. And they were like, yeah, Royal Enfields are rubbish. They break after 2 kilometres.
Yeah.
You don't need to tell us.
Yeah. Embarrassing.
We managed
What,
to
did
push
you not
start
do
you
anything
again.
the whole day?
Well, Matt's, what have you written down, Matt?
I read that we met the other Yamaha bike drivers, and then Isaac's bike got fixed in the Beirut Royal Enfield Service Centre. So is this the service centre where they had like a dirt ramp down the right hand side?
Yeah.
This
Oh,
was,
yeah, and we met the vlogger.
we
when-
met the vlogger, yeah.
Oh, Christ.
It was like 2 p.m. We were trying
Again,
to get
on
lunch.
a Yamaha bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we could get it started at all.
No.
Yeah, that was bad.
We were wheeling it somewhere.
And that service centre was like a proper, they had, it made the other one look amateur.
Mm-hmm.
Because the showroom, they literally had an empty warehouse around the back where they just pulled your bike into the middle of this room. Whereas this place had actual stalls with Royal Enfield branded like service stalls.
What
Yeah.
did
They they spent an hour cleaning all the parts that maybe got cleaned
they do?
previously.
Fuel injector, the fuel lines and the fuel pump, they cleaned out. They then
Yeah.
brought it outside and it started, and we were like, fucking great. And then we fannied around paying. Matt and I put on all of our gear, and we were like, right, let's go. Isaac's bike wouldn't
I
start.
think I made a joke to you. I was like, oh, don't they say second time lucky? Because we
Yeah.
tried it already once.
It wouldn't fucking start. And then we're like, oh, 10 more minutes, let's just have a look. Another fucking hour went by as they took the bike down. tried
Changed.
everything again, and then they eventually got a new part. They got
Yeah, they changed
inside
the
the
fuel
fuel
pump.
I think by the time we left, I was
Motor.
making the joke like fourth time lucky.
Yeah.
Oh, because then they took your bike. We were already trying to get to Musafir Nagar because we booked the Palesa Hotel,
which is a nice hotel.
and we knew we had to leave, but they started like each of them as a reward to themselves started riding your bike up and
yeah,
down the
they're
road.
just taking it away. And I was getting grumpy. I was like, "We need to go." And I kept telling them, like, pointing at my watch, going, "We need to go. Let us go." And then they're like, "Pictures, pictures."
Yeah,
And the
and
vlogger
then
was like,
the
"Oh,
vlogger-
let's take some
Yeah,
pictures."
we
Not-
finally pulled out of the fucking.
And then he stopped us
garage.
immediately. Like,
He
let's take
stopped
some
us 100 metres
pictures.
down the road.
It's like, fuck off. Just
But he'd
leave.
spent all day out of his own time like waiting to help us.
Yeah,
so-
for no fucking reason. We didn't need him.
But he was very kind
He
and
was
very
just-
nice.
But then, like, he was a vlogger, so then we were like, "Oh, I bet you've got some great footage of the day. It's going to be a good video." And he was like, "Oh, I didn't record."
I think
Fuck.
his camera was dead or something.
Yeah.
And
And
then
he'd sent us the photos that his friends took. And they're fucking
blurry
garbage.
as shit.
They were
Ever.
so bad.
So blurry.
anyway, we did make it out of there with a allegedly working bike again, didn't we?
And we made
Yeah,
it.
that was the first time we actually got new parts on the bike.
Yeah, we made it to Musfandagar, which is a fucking nightmare to navigate. It was night and it was town centre and it was a pain. But we made it there and it was the fucking fanciest hotel I've ever stayed in. It was so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that was posh.
It was very posh.
They had a lobby to their lobby.
It was so good.
They did. They had like a courtyard and seats in the corridor for you to
So nice.
sit near plants and light and shit.
And the guy, Isaac and I then went up to the bar, and the guy serving us was like, "Thank you for this opportunity. Like, this is so good. I'm so happy to be serving."
Oh yeah,
you."
we had dinner. You went like down and out and then up onto a terrace.
Yeah.
It's like a
it's
separate
the bar.
building.
This
He
is
was
where
so
it was
knowledgeable
raining
as
as
well.
well.
And he asked us what we wanted from our food, and then he worked out what would be great for us. It was, what was it?
Yeah,
Spice,
he was
soya.
like, do you want paneer, soya, grill, saucy,
We had a tandoori
something
char
veg,
starter.
not veg, or like vegetables.
Soya.
That tandoori chaat was some of the best
It
food
was
I
so
ate
good.
here.
Yeah, and he brought out this like tandoori chaat,
So
which
fucking
was
good.
sort of almost crispy on the outside,
Yeah.
and then it sort of was a bit marshmallowy
Yeah, soft on
in
the
the
inside.
middle, maybe even creamy in the middle.
It was amazing. It was so good.
Yeah.
And then we ate our whole
Tastes
dinner there
fucking
because the food was so good.
insane.
And that was where the live guitarist was. Again, it was bloody loud because it's India.
Yeah, and they had India, Pakistan
On the
monitor,
cricket.
Yeah.
But the food was so good.
Yeah.
And we were a bit annoyed because we were like, oh, normally it's the street food that's really good, but this is fucking amazing.
That's
Yeah.
where I had those edible. They were the edible seeds. They're called fox nuts. They were like the
Fox,
edible
yeah.
seeds of prickly water lily.
Yeah.
I was like, it's quite rare that I have a vegetable I've never had, but that was good. They were like
So
Chewy.
cool. They were
Those-
they were
like chestnuts.
too chewy, I think. Yeah,
Isaac-
chestnuts is exactly right.
Isaac ordered a beer to the room, which made him feel very powerful.
Yeah, I ordered a beer. Yeah, it arrived maybe an hour later, but it was worth it.
This was also the place where Isaac started serving his rice, and one of the servers rushed over and went, "No, no, no," and started scooping the rice onto his plate for him. And we were
Yeah, I
like,
think that's
"What?"
the first time that someone served us. But since then, everyone has served us. for some
It's been
reason.
weird, isn't it? Yeah, I don't like service.
That was a level of service I've never had.
It was
like,
amazing at that hotel.
of, like you would call somebody over to scoop something from the pot that's 6 inches away from you
Like,
onto the plate that's 4
So
inches
much
away.
easier to fucking do it yourself.
Oh,
Yeah.
They were so good though. They were so happy with us as well.
Yeah.
It was some of the best service I've ever
It
received
was
in my
such
life.
a good hotel.
Yeah. And there was always like 3 people watching you, so you could just look up and catch someone's eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like he came over to ask if we were okay, but it didn't feel like in the UK where
Is everything
they come
involving
over.
you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It wasn't like that. It was like, I hope you're enjoying it. Can I get you more?
Yeah.
Basically, get
Is
you
there
more.
anything I can help with? I'm here for you.
Yeah,
Yeah. That was an amazing.
she felt genuine.
Yeah.
Did you say they'd only been reopened for like 4 weeks or something?
Yeah, so Isaac said that.
Because they were asking us
Yeah.
like, "Why are you here? This is a."
Yeah, he said, what brought you here? We're in nowhere. Why are you here? Yeah, I reckon we were the first white people in that hotel, honestly.
Yeah, and they were having like a baby shower or something. The guy said, "Come join our
Oh, babe.
Come join
Oh, yeah.
our party.
There was all the ice cream balloons and colourful balloon arches.
Yeah.
He was like,
We
"Oh,
should
you
have. It would have been fun. We would have talked to some crazy people.
Yeah. That was where we saw Judas.
Oh, yes.
Noah.
Fucking Moses, yeah.
We'd finished our meal.
What happened? We were in the lift, weren't we?
We were getting
we
we
went-
walked
went-
up to the lift and someone came down
She
the
came,
stairs.
she suddenly appeared
Or out the lift or something.
wearing a fake beard. She'd whited herself and had like a cane.
dressed as Moses.
Just
yeah.
White
as Moses.
face, yeah.
And she looked at us and froze and was like, oh, fuck. And I found it so funny because I was like, imagine if one of us had blacked up and then we walked outside and there was a black person standing there. Like, that's the equivalent of what happened. We then went in the lift.
And we were giggling about it.
We were giggling about it. The lift then opened and she was there again. And she was like, oh, fuck.
Staring at us. So bad.
It was so awkward. It was
Talking
fucking
about
hilarious.
Skin
Though.
colours. I haven't seen a single black person since we've been here.
That's true, no lie.
No,
Not in a racist way or anything. They just actually
it is
haven't.
interesting.
Yeah, so few people come to India, at least at this time of year, is what we've worked out.
Yeah. So
But
we
yeah,
were staying in
that was funny.
Muzaffarnagar because we were trying to get to Rishikesh, and it was
Yeah.
there on the route, and we were looking for a nice hotel.
Yeah, we found a very nice hotel.
So we stayed in Palesa, and
It
then the
wasn't
next
expensive
day,
either.
no,
It was £20 per person, I think, that one.
I think it was our most expensive hotel when the food came.
But
out.
like
yeah.
the quality of the hotel was
Oh, it was
worth
amazing.
magnitudes more.
Yeah.
we
What was the
paid.
room? I can't picture the room now.
Big bed on as you walk in, toilet, go in, bed on the right, and then we had the smaller bed set up past the big bed, and then there was a big window with like the step up, and we were
Oh,
doing
yes.
stupid Jesus poses. in
Yeah,
it.
the window over to the gardens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember now. Was that the first time me and you both called on the phone as well? Like we called down to reception
Yeah,
on
we did.
the hotel phone to ask for
It was
something.
amazing.
Yeah. So the next day, day 9, the 10th, we drove to Haridwar first to stop at that tall Shiva statue.
Oh, yeah. We were just on Carl Pilkington's
It was.
Idiot Abroad,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we didn't know until afterwards. But
but it wasn't painted.
no.
We'd seen
Well,
it
we saw it
finished
painted.
and
It
was
was
like, oh my
finished.
god, this is crazy. It's like a massive statue.
It was huge, yeah.
It is a massive statue. And it looks crazy painted. And then Idiot Abroad, it wasn't finished.
We didn't stay long there though. It was hot, sweaty. We had to carry our bags with us. Traffic was a
A
bit
couple
nuts.
of beggars.
Beggars, yeah. So we were just like, let's just fuck off. And off we went to Rishikesh.
But there, do you remember there was a train crossing and it was gridlocked?
Yeah.
And we were doing some
Oh,
proper gnarly
When we started
off-road.
getting to Rishikesh, it was mental.
But that wasn't the worst traffic we've seen. Jaipur, going into Jaipur, we had to wait for
Oh my god.
over
yeah.
10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 15
we
minutes.
missed it, but
It's
it was like
standstill
a
traffic.
full 15 minutes where we were like
Sat at traffic.
4 people away from the front of the queue.
Yeah.
But
we never expected
We
to last
literally
that long.
sat there for 15
So the
minutes.
bikes were on the whole fucking
whilst
time. And
All the other lanes went twice, I think,
yeah,
before
except
our
ours.
lane
Yeah,
went.
so annoying.
But it was
But
so present.
Rishikesh was gnarly though. Like the traffic into Rishikesh, I think that was worse. Because like we were doing, everyone was standstill, but the bikers could like go off road.
Yeah, so we had to
But
weave
I found that
around.
quite fun. Did you not find that
I
fun?
kept getting stuck. It was awful.
It was pretty gnarly, but it was also very hot that
And
day.
it was so,
Yeah,
that was the
that's
hottest
it.
I think I've been. It was so hot that at some point sweat was falling down my glasses, and I was like, Jesus Christ, we need to stop.
I found that quite a few times.
But then we pulled over to eat, didn't we?
Yeah,
But we
because
pulled
no
over-
one was moving.
A restaurant called something like Spicy.
Yeah, very
Like,
spicy
maybe not
food.
here. Went 2 doors down and had our first momos.
We did. In the
Yeah.
Himalayas, had some momos, delicious.
Yeah.
I had something weird, biryani or something.
By the time we were back on the road, things were moving again. It was busy, but things were moving at least. And then Rishikesh traffic was a fucking nightmare as well, because it was like 2-lane, 1 way each way traffic. But it was just carnage. It was fucking carnage. There were trucks falling
Yeah.
over. There were cows everywhere. There were people over. It was fucking insane.
Yeah, Rishikesh was
Rishikesh
pretty
was
mad.
really difficult to ride around. But eventually we got to the hotel. It took us a while to find it.
Yeah, we actually stayed in Tapavan, didn't we?
Yeah, which is just
Which is
north.
like northeast Rishikesh.
Yeah.
the busier side.
Yeah.
And
We got
there we
there.
saw
That was-
mucho white people.
Fucking pain in the ass to get to because it was like just one road off of the main road, but Google Maps was fucking shit, and we like had to go around the block and ask people and
We were so
So-
close to it as well.
down
I
a
think we
hill,
just
but it was
couldn't-
like really
yeah.
not obvious.
No,
Yeah.
but eventually we got there.
Blue Jay Smarts Day.
Blue Jay Smarts Day, which was a mediocre place.
It was absolutely mediocre, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But then we've been used to the
I
bougie
think that's
life,
probably
so-
like the closest to Agra that we got to.
Yeah. Was that where there kept being blackouts and the AC and the Wi-Fi
Yes,
was still
yeah.
working?
Oh, the Wi-Fi was a fucking nightmare. Yeah.
And the water ran out, so they had this whole water tank system on the roof.
Yeah.
And then you two showered, I went to shower, and we turned on taps and no water came
Even when
out.
I was showering, there was just dribbling on me, and I was like,
Yeah.
"This shower's shit."
Oh
And
my
then not
god.
realising it was because everything was broken.
We forgot the detail that when we stayed in the Japanese industrial estate, we had the shocky shower.
Oh my
And
god!
when you
Oh
touched
my
it,
gosh.
it electrocuted you. Anything metal in that bathroom that you touched was like wired into the mains.
They're like covered in water, touching
Yeah.
metal. Like,
That-
Yeah.
That was a bad electric shock. That was like
Yeah.
a worse electric shock than you get from those like electric shock games.
oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, of
I
that.
think that's like the worst electric shock.
I think I
I've ever
decided.
had.
Really,
I've not had like
I've had a
bad
lot worse.
electric shocks, but
I didn't find it that. I'm a Sparky though, so
I think I decided that I wasn't going to wash my face or hands or anything for the rest of that duration, so I couldn't touch the taps.
yeah.
That was actually dangerous.
No, it wasn't. It was fine.
It was
It
funny.
was
though.
just a. It was just a.
It's funny because I was having a shower and then you just hear this like fuck.
Yeah.
Ow.
Also, the shower was so close to that tap
Oh,
sticking out.
to get underneath
I
the
was
shower, your
like-
bum was like
Yeah.
touching the tap.
If I turned too fast, my knob is going to slap right into that electrified fucking tap. Who knows what's going to happen?
Oh, it was
Crazy.
funny.
But yeah, so in Rishikesh,
Oh yeah, so we had the place that had no hot water.
yeah, shit, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, went out for dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we dropped our laundry and the guy
Dropped our
counted
laundry.
it one by one.
One
We were like, we've dropped a bag and we thought it was going to
massive
weigh it or
bag.
something. And
Yeah.
he gets out the first sock and he's like, one. 68 later. And at this point, he's like 20p an item, and we're not going to get someone else to recount it. So it's just like fine.
Fine, yeah. It's 13 quid for everything.
Yeah, easy. Oh, we walked up to the secret waterfall.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was
Was
alright.
that before or
That was
after dinner?
That was before laundry, definitely.
That was before dinner.
Yeah.
So we walked up to the waterfall. We got that mango drink.
Yeah.
Oh, that was banging.
Walked up to the secret waterfall. I got in it.
Lots of Indians
Lots of Indians.
prancing around in front of it. Big fat, muscly Indian.
Every photo we took had
Instead
that
of,
big fat muscly
like-
Indian in. Because he was just there in front of the
Stood like
fucking water.
right in front of the waterfall
Posing.
for
How was he
everyone.
fat and muscly? I haven't even seen these photos.
Oh, yeah. Once you see fat and muscly, you know exactly what we mean by fat
Okay.
and muscly.
I had a nice dip in the
I dipped my
tributary of
toes.
the Ganges or whatever that was.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Food then was fucking amazing.
That was such a good restaurant.
It was such good.
We ate at this
went
restaurant
back so many
3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first night we had the chaat, didn't we? We had the like tandoor chaat and the
Masala,
masala chaat.
which was fucking so good but so milky.
Yeah, all of it was butter, beautiful butter masala sauce.
That's it. Yeah.
And
To be
also,
fair, Palasa was worse, I think.
oh, for the butter.
Palasa, yeah, was like. To be fair, Palasa was like, this is amazing. It tastes buttery. It's like everything's super rich. It's all buttery. It's all creamy, but it's all like full of flavors. They add to the flavors. Whereas I felt like that restaurant was like, it's really buttery. That's
The
what makes
flavour
it
is
so
butter,
good.
Yeah. I loved that restaurant. All the walls were black. They had posters on the wall. They were black and burnt.
Yeah.
The ceiling was made
Definitely
out
had
of
at
like
least
old
one fire
palm.
at that place.
Yeah, it was black. The
Yeah.
whole place was smoked out.
You had that fried rice, which was fucking good, but it
Oh,
was
so
fucking
spicy.
spicy.
Yeah. He put some sort of sriracha on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we sat next to like rice and momo
Boy,
Yeah.
and then they had the other
Yeah.
station around the back which had flames as high as the ceiling, and the tandoor oven which smoked out the whole street. But the food was so good.
So good.
And then Mr. Main Dad sat at his little office desk at the front, just ordering people about.
What a legend.
Really good food though.
So good. We've had so much fucking good food on this trip.
Yeah.
Sure. So, such good food that makes you.
Oh, we've been
Shit
shitting
yourself.
so much.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. So, what happened next, man?
I think that was the worst night. That night where we had the first good Rishikesh good restaurant food. I think that was the most I shat. I think I had to get up 4 times in the night because I was like so bad. But it was worth it. That was such a good food.
That was the way we realised that we didn't have enough. Like we'd given all our clothes to the laundry, we had to wait it in. We didn't have enough stuff, so we'd
That was
wash.
you. We planned ahead.
I washed my pants and was like hanging them in front of the aircon, trying to dry them, and a shirt.
It did dry though, didn't it?
Did, yeah.
Yeah. So the next day was Monday the 11th, which was our 10th day. We went back to the same burnt out tandoori restaurant for breakfast, which was good. Oh, you went off.
No, I went off on the day we left. Is that the day we left? Oh, yeah, we were leaving because we
Yeah.
were going to go.
We stayed 2 nights.
Yeah, we stayed 2 nights. This is our first night.
Yeah. So we woke up. What did we eat?
Was that the day we just had bananas
I
and
think
we had
just
the
bananas.
Oh, we had
spaghetti,
rice.
the rice thing?
We had
from
rice.
Stoke?
Oh, yeah, you-
Food.
Yeah.
Street food.
You're right, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had
Um,
bananas
Yeah. And there was a white guy with long hair and a guitar.
and a guitar sat there at the rice stand, and Isaac and I didn't
Fucking-
want to eat there.
9 a.m.
Yeah. Anyway,
You did
here's
it like a
Wonderwall.
dick.
Yeah, so we had breakfast there, and then we rode our bikes up to Kunjapuri Temple, and rode all the way to the top,
Oh, yeah.
climbed the steps, past the
So many
monkeys,
steps. Yeah.
so many steps, but really good views.
Yeah, it was nice. I liked it there.
Again, someone just making fucking noise for the sake of it.
Oh my god.
The
Those
road-
were the best views.
And the roads there were fucking sick. That was such a good ride.
Yeah.
Such a good ride.
Yeah, those
Roads
roads
were awesome.
gorgeous.
Views were awesome. Not many people on the road, so we could actually like have fun. Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah, we took an
But
adorable.
of course,
The ride up, amazing.
that was not.
And then the ride down, halfway down, we took photos, really good time.
Oh, yeah, we did a photo shoot with the bikes.
And then we
When
got
Isaac's
past like the
fucking
shrine bit,
bike
we got to the
broke
main road,
again.
and all that engine braking like heated something up to the point where my bike was like fully
Completely
broken.
dead.
Yeah.
And you couldn't jump start because the hill was steep. So we were
Couldn't
like, we don't
jump
even need to
start
push
it.
you. Great, you can jump start yourself. But it just wouldn't. Like the bike would start, but it wouldn't engage.
It was
in
like
gears.
chugging along, but
Yeah.
the
Something's really wrong.
the fuel pump wouldn't pump, I think was the problem. So you could pull as much fuel out as you wanted via the
Throttle.
wheels turning,
Oh.
pull fuel out, but it wouldn't actually inject so that it would
So did you
So-
freewheel
allow
it all the
throttle
way?
and stuff.
Did you freewheel all the way down
So
the hill
Yeah.
freewheeled the entire way down the hill
until we got to the bridge over the
till
river,
we got to the bridge,
where there was a digger just digging the riverbed for no apparent reason.
and we sat there for 10 minutes thinking, what the fuck can we do?
Had some food.
Some food.
Oh yeah, we
Bike
had
still
that,
wouldn't start.
that dodgy food, but underneath that tarp, we were sat under
That
a
was
blue
pretty
tarp.
dodgy, yeah.
That was
Flies
the most
everywhere.
dodgy food I think we've had.
Yeah,
But the only food available for like a kilometre,
yeah.
probably.
That's when we googled where Royal Enfield service centres were,
Yeah.
and we were in like 5 kilometres of 3.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Matt and I decided to go to the closest one whilst we left Isaac at the bridge and said, Isaac, don't fucking go anywhere, you stay on this bridge.
No. What you said was,
Oh, maybe it's an idea if you start pushing your bike.
And we agreed not to do that.
And
That was
then
a
Matt
stupid
was
idea.
like, "Oh, actually, don't do that. We'll it's fine. We'll come get you with someone."
And then we went all around the back alleys of this slum village, and
So you went to the first
the
one.
first Royal Enfield Centre was a patch of grass. It
Yeah.
literally didn't exist.
Yeah.
So we went to the second one. And we couldn't fucking find it. We kept
couldn't
asking
find it.
people, and they kept saying further down the road, further down the road.
This was where it started to clock on me that a lot of the people we asked only knew how to say 1 kilometre, and 1 kilometre was not 1 kilometre.
No.
Yeah.
So we then ended up very far down the road.
I found a Yamaha garage.
But then we eventually found the official big Royal Enfield garage,
Which was amazing.
which is good. There was a guy there who really knew his shit, and he was like, "Right, let's go." He jumps on the back of
At
my
this
bike.
point, you messaged me,
We messaged you because we finally had Wi-Fi.
We said-
and that was an hour later from when you left me.
Yeah. Yeah, I got on their Wi-Fi and I messaged and I said, we're at the 3rd Royal Enfield Service Centre.
But I obviously didn't have any data or any
No.
signal.
We knew you
or-
wouldn't.
It was
yeah.
just
Didn't
stab
have
in the
anything.
dark.
So I
Yeah.
then ride this fucking guy half an hour to go and find Isaac. We get there and Isaac's not there, and I look like a fucking idiot. We're just like, oh, I guess we'll go back then. So we go back. Another hour's gone. We still can't contact Isaac because he has no signal. And we're just like, fuck. I guess we're gonna go back home.
At
Like,
this
we
point-
don't know where the fuck he's gone.
Yeah, we were trying to do a Sherlock Holmes. You were like, right, if we were Isaac, I think what I was saying is, I think what's happened is he's been sat
Jumped
there
in
by
the
Soda
water,
River.
jumped in the
Yeah.
river.
Yeah, he's gone to join the guy with the digger that's just raking the riverbed for no reason. Now I was like, I think what's happened is he's just bored. He's been flicking the thing and he started the engine and he's been like, shit, it starts. I need to capitalise on this and taking it back to the hotel.
Or the Royal Enfield garage,
Or
the first one,
we
which
were
is
like,
a patch of
you
grass.
tried to go to the Royal Enfield garage, you've started navigating this slum, and at which point, like, there's no way we're ever going to find you. So we were like, well, we can't go looking for him there, so let's assume he managed to get it started and went back to the hotel while he could.
We go back to the hotel, you're not there.
So we go back to the hotel, and I'm like, have you seen our friend? He's like, no. We're like, shit.
That guy was a dick. I don't know why, but he's like,
He was a bit
He's like a bit of a-
slimy, wasn't he?
yeah, he's a bit like
Yeah.
a good example of Indian dick.
Oh, I forgot as well, the guy that, when we went to find you, he then insisted on riding back himself. And he was like, oh, I need your helmet, or the police will stop us. Then he took my helmet.
Yeah. He
Well,
said to you,
no
like,
gear
these
on.
are my roads, let me ride,
Yeah.
right?
And he wanted to diagnose my bike.
Which you should have listened to.
Yeah, he said
Which
to you,
is
oh, this
good
chain
to
is
see.
loose, didn't he,
He
Charlie?
did, yeah.
And the handlebars. He told me as well. That's how bad it
The
was.
handlebars.
He
weren't bad,
he was a
though.
proper Royal Enfield nerd. He was the most qualified.
But then
person.
I was fucking flying down the roads at like 100 kilometres an hour with no helmet, no jacket, no gloves.
clinging
on the back
to this
of this
4'6" guy.
It's this scrambler bike, so I'm like upright, fucking miles in the air. It's like, oh my god, this is petrifying.
Oh my god, that's where I saw someone just ride straight into the back of
Straight
the cow
into
as
the cow,
well.
yeah.
Like full speed.
Yeah, like back into the hind legs, proper smushed his like face into the cow. It was a proper crash, and there was no
What did everyone else do?
No
Did they,
one
like-
really did anything. I was expecting this big uproar that someone had hit a holy cow. Like somebody like called out like, "Hey!" and then the guy just like got on his bike again and
You'd think
rode
there'd
off.
be like some mob.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Mob.
Montana.
Well, I'd read on the Gov
Not
website, on
mentality,
the Gov
mob.
UK website, if you hit a cow, get on your bike and flee the scene before the locals find you. It was like the official advice, but nothing happened anyway.
Mob justice.
But when we got back to the hotel, anyway, we finally got a message from you saying you were out with the Royal Enfield, and you'd actually found the second shop,
Yeah, which we couldn't find.
which we couldn't find, which was some like little
Yeah, was
Lucky's
that what it was?
Mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just it was on the main road.
It just said Royal
So-
Enfield on it, but it wasn't a Royal Enfield garage.
Yeah. So from my side of that story is, I was like, oh sick, this is a great opportunity to read my book. Sat reading my book for an hour. There was a guy selling fruit. It smelled amazing. I watched the guy dig some river for a bit. Having a great time. And then it got to like 50 minutes and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's been a whole hour. Like, I bet these guys are just sat drinking tea with these fucking Royal Enfield guys and they've left me out here in the sun. Like, surely if you've gone 5 minutes, you can just come 5 minutes back and tell me what you're up to. So I'm like, fuck these guys. I'm fucking pushing my bike to the Royal Enfield garage. Which was one of the ideas that we like briefly spoken about. So I start pushing my bike. Obviously, there's like some other guy going the wrong way around the fucking road. So I'm pushing it and he's like, oh, get out of the way. Turns his bike around, comes back and he's like, are you okay? Why are you pushing your bike? I'm like, Royal Enfield garage, 1 minute away, push me there. No, I don't say push me there, but he's like, oh, fine, I'll take you there. He starts pushing me. We go past the right turning to go to the Royal Enfield garage that's closest, and I thought was 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
I'm like, right turn, go. And he's like, no, this way.
Thankfully.
So we go to the second Royal Enfield garage that you guys couldn't find. Turn up there, you're not there. And I'm like, oh, fuck's sake, this guy's pushed me past the Royal Enfield garage to this fake Royal Enfield garage, like trying to get money for his friend. And I'm like, well, I'm here now, can you fix my bike? Explain to him everything that's happened. It's already had a fuel pump motor change. Can you work out what's wrong with it? He's like, yeah, of course, fine, we'll sort it. And I'm like, but my friends are looking for me. I'm going to go find them. I'm going to go to the Royal Enfield garage. Be right back. He's like, what? Yeah, sure, go find them. So I walked to where the grass patch is.
Oh, did you?
Of not Royal Enfieldness. And obviously realised that it's not a Royal Enfield garage. At which point I'm like, shit, they're not drinking tea with some Royal Enfield guys just like with their feet up. I'm like, fuck knows where they are. So I walk back to where my bike is, tell him that my friends aren't there. I have no fucking idea where I'm going. Got to go find my friends. Walk back to where I was sat on the bridge. Walk up to it and there's like a group of like 20 Indians all sat around where I was sat. I'm like, have you seen any guys that look like me? And they're like, what? No, go away. Spend like 10 seconds there. I'm like, well, they're obviously not here. Let's fucking leave. Go back to the Royal Enfield garage I was at. And there's just some random guy whose bike is in pieces because he's gone out
Just
in the
hit
rain.
a cow.
He's he's gone out in the rain and slipped off it and his bike has hit into something. He's got all these scratches all over his body. He's like,
Oh, jeez.
I've come 200 kilometres to get here. This guy's really great. I'm like, okay, fine. Wait around for my bike to be fixed. He does the whole lap of the village on my bike to show that it's working. Stops my bike. My bike starts up fine again. Charlie's
Texting.
yeah, okay. The guy who had his bike broken by the rain gave me internet. I asked him for internet. That was when I messaged you. And then you were like, okay, go to this garage.
Yeah, go to the real
They
garage.
know.
Yeah.
So I took my bike to the real garage. And when I got to the real garage, went to start it again. And of course, it didn't start. Spoke to the guy for like 2 hours. He fixed it. Needed a fuel pump
Again.
thing again for the third, fourth time. I was like, yeah, fine, just put the whole thing in, and that worked perfectly. But of course, cost 90 quid. But they wouldn't replace it. It was in warranty, but they wouldn't do it for free because I'd been to the bullshit garage. And they said, oh, part numbers aren't going to match and all that shit. So they made up some excuse that meant we had to pay 90 quid for that. It fucking sucks.
It was sat in that Royal Enfield garage that I was like, I am never in my life sitting in another Royal Enfield garage. This is the last time.
Yeah, it was fucking shit. But he fixed it and that bike runs like new again.
Yeah, that guy knew his stuff.
Um,
In the meantime, Charlie was like, we'd wanted to do yoga the whole time because we were in Rishikesh. And Charlie was like,
Birth of yoga.
we need to do some yoga. I need to calm down.
Gonna give it the last
Oh yeah, go get our last Kingfisher. Extra strong.
extra strong.
5 or 8%. TBD.
Definitely 8% because I'm feeling. Well, I've had 2 weeks of not drinking beer. The whole time being teased for being an alcoholic.
You have drunk beer, just not at the alcoholic level that you usually do.
Okay, right, fine. I've had max 1 beer a day.
It's actually not true because you had 6 beers one night at the very fancy hotel because it was buy two get one free.
Okay, yeah, fine.
Which I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I'm pretty sure I just paid for 6 beers, but
Yeah, but they were like 330,
yeah, it was cheap.
330 mil. I mean, they were like
Yeah.
small bottles.
Anyway, so Charlie and I did some yoga on the roof terrace of the Blue Jay Smart Stay.
Yeah,
Did our mountain pose with a mountain view.
That's nice.
To be honest, my overall impression of Rishikesh was like, it was very westernized. It was lots of
I
shops
don't
trying
think it
to
was
sell
very
you.
westernised.
I think
It was
There's
a
lots of
bit westernised.
shops trying to sell you whitewater rafting. There was a sign saying
Yeah, I
like
think-
Sharon does
yeah.
yoga.
It was the most like tourist place that we've been.
By comparison, definitely, but I think it wasn't that much.
I think Kunjapuri Temple was amazing, but otherwise I'm not sure there was actually enough to do in Rishikesh that I would recommend people
Yeah,
go there.
Kanjapuri Temple, the best thing that we've done, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, well, the ride there really was the best thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but with that, like, if you'd got teleported to the top with those views,
Yeah,
it
it
would have
was-
been
it
the
was
best
cool.
thing that we did.
Yeah. Anyway, that night after yoga and after your bike was fixed, we went to that purple bar that didn't have the seats. You had the booths, but it was you sit cross-legged on
It
a.
was booths that were so close together that there wasn't room to put your feet down. You had to sit across the leg.
It was made like that. There was just.
I know it was made like that,
Yeah.
but it was like fucking stupid.
Yeah.
We
It was
drank-
really hard to find a bar.
Drank
Actually.
some
wasn't it?
Elephant Carlsberg. Yeah, we had to walk for kilometres to get there.
Yeah. I trod in the most cow shit of any place when I was in Rishikesh.
Yeah.
Oh, the floor in our room was just filthy with like shit
Yeah.
and dust and dirt and mud.
But yeah, the mountains of Rishikesh. I mean, this is where it gets the next day as we had breakfast at the same place again, right?
This
Yeah.
was when you guys had paratas. I
Yeah.
went and got some bananas because I was on a mission. I was like, we got to go. So I was like, right, I'm gonna go sort everything. I'll get money out of the ATM. I'll get some water for everyone, and then we can go.
Yeah, because we've been umming and ahhing about what to do, about how far north to go. We couldn't really find hotels. And then we settled on Ukimath,
Which
We-
was very far north. We
which
were
was
very
like
ambitious.
5-hour drive.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it wasn't like,
it was doable.
it wasn't a 5-hour ambitious 5-hour
No,
drive.
yeah, it was
a
doable.
5-hour drive.
Yeah.
But it was like Himalayan driving. It was like,
Yeah, through the foothills.
Yeah,
was like
when we left, we
adventure
immediately
driving.
realised that the roads weren't actually any good.
Landslide.
Fucking-
Every 100
Every-
metre there was a massive landslide that just
Yeah.
wrecked the road. Some bits of the road, like the left-hand lane was there, the right-hand lane was not. It had fallen off the road.
that only happened once where the road had actually fallen away.
And they just put a few pebbles around the edge to make sure you
Yeah.
could see
What
it.
was more likely is that the left-hand lane had gone from a landslide because
Yeah,
it was
that's
just
true.
rubble everywhere. So
Yeah.
everyone had to go through this tiny little part.
yeah.
And then there were some crazy places where there was traffic for fucking miles because the landslide had gone over the entire road,
yeah.
and then they'd like forged a path through
Over the
landslide.
top of the rubble.
Yeah,
But, but the rubble was super loose, so like
Yeah.
no heavy vehicles could get over. Every other vehicle was a heavy vehicle,
yeah.
but they couldn't make it over because
so
they were just
dodgy.
like wheel spinning and
So dodgy.
had to get people to like hang off the side to like
Yeah.
get traction and shit.
Yeah. So we finally get through the worst of it.
It was only looking at the footage after that I realised that in driving over the like rubble of the landslide to our direct left was just a immediate like 90-degree drop.
Yeah. Proper
Into the
far
Ganges.
down. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm glad I hadn't looked at the time because I would have
Yeah, no.
pooped my pants.
Yeah.
So about hour and a half in, I was at the back of the three of us, and then I lose all power, and I'm revving, and the bike's revving, and I'm slowing down. Like, what the fuck is happening? And I quickly realised that my chain has fallen off, which should not have been a big surprise.
When the expert riding it was
Yesterday,
like, your chain is
your
loose.
yeah,
That
your
means
chain
tighten
is
it.
loose. So, oh, fuck's sake. Isaac and I had lost comms, so I just waited. Because I
We
didn't-
lost comms literally straight away. That was really
Yeah, I think it's
bad
because we
for
kept
us.
going around corners. I think it was just
maybe.
like there was no way for the signal to work. So we lost comms. I just waited because I was like, Matt's pretty good at spotting when people are lost.
Yeah.
So I waited 5
Yeah,
minutes
came
and
found you.
Matt turned up, and I was like, we're not fucking making it there today. Matt-
Actually, previous night we had been really umming and ahhing about whether we should go north.
Yeah, it was a
south,
gamble. It was a
Yeah.
gamble if we were going to make it.
Parallel.
I
do
think
like
I wanted to go to
something-
Srinagar, which was 3 hours away.
Yeah.
We were
I
like, if
wanted
we're
to
going to do that, we'll go
something
all the way.
further to 5 hours.
Because we wanted to see
And then-
snow-capped
but there was
mountains.
Yeah, I
Also,
think your,
like-
your words were, this plan is boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
And there were also plans to just go south.
Yeah,
And
but we
like-
chose the far north one. We were like, we got a day.
I do think we chose the best option, but then my bike
Yeah.
fucking was
Yeah.
shit. So it was finally my bike. Matt then went back to go and tell Isaac what was going on, and someone pulled over and helped, and the two of us put the chain back on. So I then could move, but we needed to get the chain tightened. And we kept pulling over, asking locals, where's the closest mechanic?
Yeah,
And everyone would be like, oh, just down this road. But
kilometres down the
they'd all say a
road.
kilometre down the road, 5 kilometres down the road, 10 kilometres down the road.
40 kilometres.
40
Some people were saying
kilometres
Srinagar, which was
Hours
Further
away.
3 hours away from Rishikesh, and we've done about an hour
We
maybe.
just
of
kept
driving.
going and stopping and looking for garages and
Well,
asking.
What solidified it for me was I pulled over at some quarry entrance, and the security guard came out and he spoke quite good English. And I said, "Where's the nearest mechanic?" And he said, 32 kilometres. And I misheard him and went 34, and he went, "No, 32." And I was like, "Oh, so it
Yeah.
really is like far
Yeah.
away."
And then at this point, we were like, well, fuck it, I'm moving, we'll keep going.
Yeah,
And
we're
then,
like half an hour into our 5-hour drive at this point.
no, we'd gone quite far. But then
Not
my
that far.
my chain then started slipping. So then my power was on, off, on, off, on, off. So I was having to ride the clutch, and it was fucking impossible to drive at that point. And we made the unfortunate decision that we were like, we have to go back. There's 0% chance of us making this,
Yeah.
which was a shame. That was the only time we gave up in the whole trip.
Yeah. Not even that we gave up, it was the only time that we hadn't been like the most. Well, we haven't really talking about Amritsar at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
But other than Amritsar, it was the only time that we went like fully. We can do whatever the fuck we want. Like we had chosen this stupid route to get all the way 5 hours into the Himalayas.
We were always ambitious and
Yeah, it
did
was
it.
very
And then
ambitious. But
when
doable.
It
As long as everyone's
doable.
bike worked.
Yeah, and that was the first time that like we actually like couldn't do
The bike
couldn't
really
do
let us
something
down.
stupid.
Yeah.
We couldn't like just power through.
Yeah.
You'll notice
So-
at this point I've had zero problems with the Yamaha FX25.
Apart from when
That's
you
what I did.
dropped it, of
That
course,
was-
and you had to go get that fixed.
I dropped
Yeah.
it.
But that wasn't the bike
That
fault.
wasn't
That
that
was
hadn't
your fault.
happened yet. That hadn't
I
happened yet.
bent the gear changer, and he literally got a spanner. No, not one word was spoken. He walked over with a spanner, bent it back 3 times, and it works better than it ever had before.
Yeah.
And I drove away at no cost.
No cost.
No,
Really?
he spent all of 10
Bent it, I
seconds
could've done
bending
it
it.
with-
Yeah.
Something at all.
So we stopped at. Oh, I forgot to mention we had that lovely Maggie up at the top of the temple.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, we stopped at that roadside restaurant, had a bit of a mountain view lunch, and then we rode back to Rishikesh. But I think
Which was
we'd all
really good lunch
decided
as well.
Yeah, it was. We'd all decided at this point we didn't want to stay another night in Rishikesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
then
we'd overstayed our welcome in Rishikesh.
you missed this bit. So Isaac and I went back to the hotel to get Wi-Fi. I think while you went
That's
to
when
the
you
bike,
dropped your
to the
bike.
garage.
that's when I dropped my bike.
Yeah.
And Isaac got on the phone to try and cancel
Oh
this
my
hotel.
God.
It was the funniest thing.
That was
It was
the worst phone call of my. I don't think I ever spoke to get a flight on the phone, but this is what get a flight would have been like over the phone. It was I was getting so irate. with this
I
man.
think you'd run
For no
you'd run the
reason.
hotel. This was the hotel we booked in the
Yeah.
town 5 hours away, which we
Mm.
weren't getting to. No cancellation option online.
Mm.
So he'd run the hotel. They said ring booking.com. So he rung booking.com, and this man did not speak English.
No, I run booking.com first, and I was like, hello. And she was like, hello. I said, we're not making it to our hotel. Can you get us a refund or something? Or maybe something less like, how are you or something. And she hung up on me. She like fully was like, I don't speak English. This is not going to work. Hung up on me. So I rang the hotel. Like, can you
like put something on the account or something to say give them a refund. And they said no, we have no idea what you're talking about. Talk to Make a Trip. So I rang them back and someone else picked up and they actually like sort of could speak English.
They tried.
But the line was fucking terrible. It was just like I don't know if it was the line or the guy was mumbling or I wasn't understanding
It was.
or I was super tired and stressed or what. But
In the end, Isaac just went, I have no idea what he's saying. You try, and handed the phone to me.
like it was either scream at him like what the fuck are you saying or give it to Matt and Matt would deal with it. And Matt instantly understood every word that he said. I was like, this is
I was like, yeah, you can put me on hold. He was like, okay, thank you, sir. And he put me on hold for ages. But it was still hard. It was like, he'd say something 6 times, and on the 6th time, I'd be like, oh, yes, I want it refunded to the original card. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we eventually got a refund.
I was on the hold, and then he said something like, and he said, do you want it put onto your app or do you want to put it on the card?
Yeah.
And I was like, I have no idea what you're saying.
Oh, it's making me
I
giggle,
made him
right?
repeat 3 times, and I was like, Matt, please help. So
We
it
did it,
didn't
yeah.
say anything, just pass it to you.
And then we
Like,
found-
fuck's sake.
Yeah, we got there. We found the hotel in Ruaki as well at that time.
Yeah.
So we started heading to Ruaki because we kind of skipped that town on the way up.
Yeah.
But someone had told us it was a big town, so we stopped there.
Yeah, I seen a road trip.
Nice enough hotel as well, wasn't it? One of the fancier ones.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called, but it had the big like belly at the front.
Yeah, glass.
And that was where we went into
Dome.
Neptune's bar and drank our first bottle of Suma Indian white wine.
Which is fantastic.
So
It was
good.
quite nice.
They gave
And
us,
then we
like,
ate
half
at the
frozen
restaurant because we
cheese.
couldn't be asked because we were in the middle of nowhere and there was nothing nearby. And the
Yeah.
food there was shit. Actually, that was one of the few terrible meals of our trip.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
that was bad. It was just, again, that was like,
And it was such a fancy hotel, so
Was
we
that
didn't
the place
expect
where we
that.
had
that
the
was like,
glass partition between the living room and the bedroom?
Yes.
yeah.
So what were you going to say? The food?
The food there was like, we're super rich. We're not super rich,
Yeah.
but we're gonna make it super rich food by just putting a ton of cream in it or a ton of butter or whatever, and so everything just tasted like cream or it just
Yeah.
tasted like
It was just
Yeah.
a bit naff, wasn't it?
butter.
The dough was good, but that was it.
But I thoroughly enjoyed sitting there having a glass of wine,
Yeah, the wine was great.
chatting in the bar.
We had
Good
2
night.
bottles of wine. Fantastic.
Yeah. That was about it for that night. Went back to our glass partitioned room.
Yeah, glass belly.
None of the TVs worked because they just, again, like the ATMs in the airport are for show.
Yeah.
That's when we and then we watched An Idiot Abroad, India,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was funny.
which was very funny.
Yeah.
Next day,
Day 12, the 13th of September. Their breakfast was actually quite, aside from the plastic in the muffins, their breakfast was quite good.
yeah, we had lots of banana
I had
pancakes.
4 servings of breakfast.
You did.
I think
One
that's
of
the
which was
best I've
3
done.
donuts.
One of them was 3 donuts.
Yeah.
But is that, have you got a problem with me eating 3 donuts?
No,
on one
I
serving?
don't.
of course not.
I think I had an omelette. There was omelette station man.
Yeah, omelette was great.
There was omelette at all the places with buffet breakfast.
That was the
Okay.
first time I had it.
First time, yeah.
They also had that really good aloo matar. They
Yeah,
had the potatoes and peas and the curry.
that
sauce.
was really good with the puri.
Yeah. That was a good breakfast. That was surprisingly good breakfast given the dinner the night before.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
that's it. It was surprisingly good considering. But
Yeah.
also, it was served to everyone else. There was Indian. Well, most of the other people were Indian. So I feel like maybe
I'd say
actually
everyone.
there was definitely one white guy.
Was that? Didn't see him.
Anyway,
Anyway,
it was good.
This
Then-
was the day we decided to head. It was raining in the morning, so we had some time to plan.
and we were like, right, going to Delhi then, I guess.
Yeah, we decided to head back.
Because we
to
realised there's actually fucking loads to do in Delhi, even though everyone had told us to leave Delhi immediately.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, let's actually go to Delhi, the capital of India, and have a look. What happened that day? What
On
did you
the
write
road
down?
again. We stopped at that poor Muslim town.
Oh, my
yeah,
god!
right. You guys talk about that because I didn't see it.
This was 10 minutes of stopping, but maybe the most affecting 10 minutes of
Yeah.
my India trip.
We pulled in and paid for parking, and immediately realised we had to.
I previously gone wrong,
Yeah.
and it was like we turned into the car park, but I'd gone past the car park, went around the block,
Yeah.
and everyone there was like really staring at me and like it was
Kids
very
begging
obvious
for
I shouldn't
money.
have been there. And like,
Yeah.
well, not that I shouldn't have been there. It was like
It was very,
very
rude for us
obvious
to be
that
there.
like
Tourists don't go there.
we
Yeah.
we were there by mistake.
But also just very poor, like people hanging their washing on barbed wire fences.
Yeah, in the car park, the
In the
whole
car park.
middle rail was full of people's washing.
But we parked and we paid like 20 rupees and we started walking
Bought
towards.
some water.
We put all our stuff on our backs
Yeah,
in
because
the midday sun.
we did not want to risk leaving our stuff there because there were so many like poor children
Yeah.
begging immediately.
Carried our jackets.
Yeah.
Jackets,
stuff.
helmets, gloves, bags, everything.
And went through a gate into like a market and then up towards the mosque.
There was there was like a weird bazaar,
Yeah,
but the bazaar seemed alright.
yeah.
I feel like all the shops felt kind of clean. It was sort of like a little bit of a square.
Lots
It wasn't
of homeless
like-
people around though.
Yeah,
begging.
there were people. Yeah, the kids were begging the second we got off the bikes.
There was
We
a-
went. There was like sort of cement structure. They were playing like football or something in.
I didn't see
Do you
that.
remember like straight across from the car park?
I remember this went.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a covered concrete slab.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we walked up
Weird.
to the mosque and we realised that we obviously had to take our shoes off, and we decided we didn't want to do that because we had all our stuff already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they
it was
wouldn't
already
sell
there.
We
Yeah.
all
walked
the bags
past the
and that.
mosque, and that's where we
That
saw.
was you. I washed my hands clean of this incident. You were like, let's walk around the mosque
Yeah.
instead of going into the mosque. Like, what's
I mean, the
point?
mosque just looked like a very ordinary mosque.
It was multicoloured. It was cool.
It was-
I
it
wanted
was-
to see
It was very ordinary.
Was it like recommended on Google Maps or something? Why
It was.
would
It
we
was
be there?
a. It was a coloured circle on Google Maps.
Which
Like,
means
cool.
nothing. Like
When I zoomed
Bloody-
out, but then I clicked on it and it was a multicoloured mosque, and I was like, "That looks pretty. We'll go see that."
But like Shivani's nail bar is a multicoloured circle on Google Maps. It's not.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we walked past his mosque, didn't we? And then
It
that
did
was
look cool on Google
where we
Maps.
got to the
I'm
like.
trying to
I don't know if it was a temple or a city hall, but it had that under the building.
Yeah,
There was
on-
like a 2-3 foot high space, like a crawl space, and there was
On the right, yeah.
like 30 homeless people
Living
sleeping
there,
under this
yeah.
crawl space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we kept walking.
And then
we
on
thought
the
we'd
left
walk
was
around the
like-
mosque.
Another cement building that was just like a block of cement.
And that's where we saw the guy with.
Yeah, there was a guy washing his feet on the corner of the building
Yeah.
with this hose that was just like non-stop.
hose in the building.
And then as we walked past him, I noticed that he was cleaning his feet, but one of his feet had a shackle on it, and the chain came off of the shackle, and it went all the way up to his neck. And this guy was just like in a chain from his neck to his feet. And he was washing his feet, but it's because it was like a hose that was always on. So he just like, that was his daily bath, I guess. Someone said to go down that road. I don't
Well,
know
we
who it
kind of
was.
decided we could complete the square and walk back to the car park.
Yeah, so that was the first left.
Yeah, and that's where we saw the blankets that were knitted together from like Capri Sun packets.
Yeah.
And then at the end,
And while you were looking at the Capri Sun blankets, I was talking to Charlie saying, "Oh my god, did you see that guy on the corner there? He was in chains. Is he like a slave or is he like a prisoner? What the fuck's going on?" And then we carried on past the Capri Sun blankets, and
Jesus.
as we were walking down, everyone was looking at us. There was like only 3 or 4 people, but they were like really staring at
Mm.
us.
We were
And
not
then
supposed to be there.
I noticed on the corner of this building must have been a square that was maybe 70 meters square. So we must have been like 20 meters down, and then 50 meters at the end. On the corner of the next building was a man fully like stretched into the path that we were supposed to be walking down. but he was stood up, stretched into the path, and both of his hands were chained to a chain that was attached to the corner of the building. So he had his like feet out as far as they would go into the path, whilst his hands were like above his head, like sort of stretched horizontally out into the road. At which point I was like,
We have to turn around.
guys, let's not talk about it now. Let's turn around right now. Like, guys,
I didn't
we are
see-
really
I
in the
didn't
wrong
see
place. Let's
anything.
turn around.
Yeah, I just followed instructions. Like, okay,
Turn around. We're in
Let's
the wrong
go.
place. Let's go. So we all turn around and we sort of pick up the pace. We walk out of that corner and everyone's looking at us like,
the gut feeling
Why
at
the
this point
fuck
is
are
like,
they
we need to
just
get
walk
out of
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Everyone is. It's like
Yeah.
a computer game or something. Everyone's
Yeah.
fucking looking at you.
Yeah,
So we sort of just speed walk. I don't really remember what happened.
I'm starting to do analyses like,
I don't. At this point, I'm like, now tunnel vision.
yeah,
We are
Yeah.
walking as fast as we can naturally walk to the
Yeah.
bikes.
yeah,
We're walking. Like on the way in, people are asking us if we want to go to their food stores and all that shit. No one asks us on the way out. They don't really know
they've
that
seen
we are
some shit
like,
we're not supposed to have seen. Yeah,
yeah.
We're shook.
At this point, doing analyses of like, how extreme is this place? And I'm like, okay, I can see women walking around. Like, how covered are they? There's kids running around. And I was starting to realise that like we had just walked too far into the
yeah,
neighbourhood, and that
absolutely.
the
For
front
sure.
bit was meant to be for visitors.
Yeah,
I
and we were
think.
way too far in.
Yeah.
But it was just the whole place was very poor. It got the feeling of like there's people begging, but none of the people around are rich enough to give any money. It's just all like extreme poverty.
Yeah. But even so, maybe also one of the reasons we didn't go into the temple was on the way up to the temple. There's like a red carpet, and each side of the red carpet was filled with 5-6 beggars on both sides, and that's fine. But like, it just
Everything just
gives a
felt
bad
wrong.
vibe
Yeah.
when you're going
Yeah.
into a temple and there's beggars on both sides of the alley.
Because I don't think me
People.
me or Matt had a good reason why we didn't want to go to the temple. We'd come all the way to see the temple, but our gut was just like, something is wrong.
Yeah.
We should not be doing this. And then we saw that shit and we were like, fuck, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just very impoverished.
Yeah,
For sure.
we're not supposed to
And
be.
I don't know what explains the men in chains.
It was an
and the man
accident basically
stretched.
that made us go there.
How do you explain this? Like, do you understand how I'm describing
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
It was fully like,
It was almost
He
like he'd
stood
been
up, but
chained
like
to the
this.
building and then pulled across the path.
yeah.
Yeah. Did you say he was
It's very-
screaming as well?
No.
No.
Oh,
Not that I could tell, but he was. I think he was too far probably to even hear that, but
but yeah, we just.
He was
walked
very
over
noticeable
along
to
there.
me because he was fully in the way of the path.
So we got out of there pretty quick. Some people wanted pictures, and I was like, no.
No, we're
But I
good.
think you took a few pictures.
Yeah, you did. You were good, but Charlie was good. But
Yeah, and then we jumped on those bikes and got the hell out of there.
Yeah, I was only comfortable doing it as well because we were putting our stuff on the bike as it was happening. I
yeah,
was like, we're in an okay place now. Like,
I don't know. Until I was on that bike back on the main road, I didn't feel.
it was dodgy as fuck.
Yeah. Because also we'd packed all our stuff out. Like I'd strapped my coat in, I'd taken everything off.
Yeah,
So I was like putting everything back on, trying to get ready to just jump on the bike again.
yeah, that's fucking crazy. And then we were on the road again
On the road again.
to Delhi.
to Delhi.
Yeah.
Did anything exciting happen?
I
No.
don't think
We
we
stopped
The
did.
at
bikes,
that
were,
little
the bikes
roadside.
were pretty fucking perfect at that point.
Yeah. We saw that little roadside hall that had the yellow plates. Had some food there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was a great. That was
That was very good.
again like Costa Rica. It was just like a really packed out food hall
Yeah,
Yeah.
inside the road.
Little windows into the kitchen.
Yeah, like good food because lots of people.
Yeah.
that was delicious. And then
We headed to
Shit.
Delhi on all the motorways that had the no motorbike signs.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
But they were quick.
Yeah, we had to pull off of the no motorbike motorway to get petrol. At which point we went back onto the motorway and almost got tackled by a policeman.
Yeah. You
Going
really
back
don't want-
onto the.
But on comms to Isaac, I was like, fucking ignore him. Go,
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, he was waving us down, and then
Yeah.
we drove past. He had his hands up, like, "Why?
Yeah.
Why are you like this?"
Yeah.
That was the closest to a scary police running we've had.
I don't know. Afterwards, I kept saying, Isaac, like, I'm so glad we broke the law. This is way
Yeah.
better.
And I was like, Matt was really confused by it. Just didn't
There's so
stop
many
for
signs saying
that, man.
no bikes, and we just fucking blasted through all of them.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing when you're having a conversation and you realise actually the guy in between doesn't actually understand that you just said, like, let's just
Yeah,
blow through this
Yeah.
barrier.
yeah. It's a weird sense of like zen and trust when you're in the
Yeah.
middle.
I loved
Yeah.
being in the middle, though. It was great.
The comms were game changing. Though, being able to talk to someone,
For sure.
confirm directions, and
Yeah.
especially when Google was so useless.
Yeah.
And then we rode through Delhi.
Yeah.
Bit of a fucking nightmare. Not
At
the
least-
worst.
at least
but it was a bit
Google-
of a fucking nightmare.
Google was actually
She was helping.
useful
Yeah.
and good in Delhi.
But we had like massive
Maybe we got
fucking
used to her
roundabouts.
thing, yeah.
Those roundabouts were huge. Some of them were like a
Oh.
mile long.
So it wasn't a roundabout at that point. It was like
One-way circle.
A
Massive
circle.
one-way circle.
And we
Yeah.
Getting
But
on
sh-
and off of that circle.
but that was
so
fine
hard.
because
It was fine for you because you were at the
Google
front.
realised that it's not. She didn't say, "Oh, I'll take the 7th
Yeah,
exit."
yeah. She said
She
bear
said-
left, and then we're on it, and then she was like
Yeah,
bear left to get on.
take the next left.
Yeah.
And there were road signs and stuff like that. So I was pretty confident when we got into Delhi.
Then we pulled onto this street, which is like the Strand of New Delhi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hotel Central.
And is it the last one? What did we walk up today?
Main Bazaar Road.
Yeah, that one was even more
Mental.
crazy than this
Yeah.
one. But yeah, we pulled onto this road.
Then we went to find a bar.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We dumped our stuff
And
here.
the closest bar was the seediest fucking place.
Yeah, opaque door, and they opened it, and it
Fucking
was
stunk.
dingy. It stunk.
Everyone
Yeah.
seemed wasted as well in there. And it was like,
Everyone
oh,
was shouting at
Jesus.
each other.
Yeah.
It stank.
It's like had this
It
weird
was
red and
so
blue lighting.
dingy. Yeah.
We sat down, we looked at the menu, and we were like, "Do anyone want to be here?" I'm like, no.
I made us leave.
That bar felt exactly like the bar we went to in Costa Rica, where we were like sat out the front and everyone else was inside, and they were all shouting at each other, and there was those 2 girls in the whole place.
Does it remember?
I don't remember sitting outside. What was that?
Jaipur or something? No,
Don't
obviously
fall.
not Jaipur. Hako.
Oh, Yepo. Oh, we sat out on the terracey bit.
Yeah.
And the
And then
prostitute came.
inside,
Yeah.
all those. That's what it felt like, but Indian.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, we left that one, and we went and found one that was 10% less sleazy.
Yeah. I agreed to stay because they had the wine we really liked.
Yeah.
The Sumer, yeah. And then we ate in that like little restaurant district where everyone was desperate for your business.
Oh, it was awful.
That was the first time that people have actually stood in front of me and like purposely blocked my path,
Yeah,
so
like,
I tried to walk.
Grabbing you with their arm and stuff as well. Like, come in here. It's like, fuck
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, and they had their chicken hanging on a stick, which we walked past today and it was
Yeah.
the same chicken.
Ugh.
But we ate in a veg place with the AC upstairs. That was alright.
Quote unquote AC, yeah.
Yeah.
It was fine. The portions were small. And it tasted okay. That was my opinion.
I thought it tasted good there.
It was alright.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, but we've eaten a lot better.
I think the food in Delhi has actually been some of the
It's all been very mediocre. to
yeah,
me.
like and the dodgiest, like we just kind of just eating whatever's
Whereas
there.
we've had some
Yeah.
fucking amazing food on this trip.
That's true.
Yeah.
What are you having for lunch today? Spoilers.
Spoilers. What did we do today? We went back to the restaurant district and we ate paratha.
Yeah, breakfast.
Yeah.
And then we went to return the bikes, but Mr. Parita, whatever his name was,
Yeah, boss man wasn't there.
hadn't turned up to work yet.
So we fucking rode through
At
nightmare
11
traffic for
o'clock
ages.
in the morning, he hadn't turned up.
Rode through nightmare traffic to try and find something touristy. We weren't allowed to fucking park.
I really
That
enjoyed that.
really annoyed me.
Yeah.
It was very
That was
annoying.
good traffic.
I
Turned
enjoyed
up.
I actually quite enjoyed driving in Delhi.
I think it's so much without
I liked
comms
it,
because we
yeah.
didn't have comms. Being at the back is so hard. I kept like you guys would go because like you
Yeah,
understandably go through a small gap because it's how it works.
you
And then the
have
gap
to
closes,
stick together. Yeah.
and it's like I'm then way behind. Yeah, it was a bit of a nightmare. And then on the way back, my bike started acting up again. I was like, oh my god, get me off this fucking bike.
Yeah.
We eventually made it back to the bike place.
Before that we got shouted at and
We did.
I got very annoyed with some fucking Indians.
Well, we were trying to get to like a little park temple, and there was a gap in the fence and a bike parked up on the side of the road. So we went and parked there.
Tried to move their bike.
Came
'cause it was
over and started
parked
shouting
stupidly.
at us.
Yeah,
Fuck
they
off.
started having a go.
One of them was a security guard with a stick, so I don't know if he was park security or.
Dickhead.
But you went. You just wandered down the road.
So then he was,
Well, they
he
said-
was then properly yelling at us, like, move, move. And we were like, well, we got to wait for our friend. We got to just go.
Well, they were like, oh yeah, there's a fucking car park over there. And I was like, well, I'm going to go look at the car park
Yeah,
then,
no,
aren't
it
I?
wasn't. Surprise,
There,
surprise.
yeah,
Of course there wasn't a
just trying to
fucking car
send us
park,
down
yeah.
the road.
They just didn't want to deal with us anymore.
So we got told off for that bit. Then
But we drove
back-
past it and it wasn't that good anyway,
Yeah.
so it's fine.
Drove back to the bike district. That was some hairy traffic.
It was very jumpy.
There was that red light where I just went.
You did.
You
shot
just
off.
went through a red light.
Yeah.
It was green by the time I arrived on the other side.
Yeah.
6 lanes of traffic over. Two
Fucking
buses
buses.
dodged.
Yeah.
There were two massive buses that weren't stopping.
But did I die? No.
And then on the way back, we saw a liquor store, which is where we bought our Kingfishers from.
Kingfisher, strong.
And then finally dropped the bike off.
Got a tuk-tuk to Lodi Gardens.
No,
Yeah.
Lodi Gardens, really good.
We were
Yeah.
starving though, so we didn't go in. We
Yeah, we
done
walked to that
wandered somewhere
We
else
got
to get
there
some food.
and then- were
Weird
like,
bougie
"Yeah."
strip mall place.
It was very poshest place we've probably been in
Cardmore.
India.
Had like Keels and a body shop and a Starbucks.
Starbucks.
It was nice though. It
A
just felt like
Lockdown.
Spain.
Yeah.
And then
Nice
we
tea
had,
shop that I bought some tea from.
went to a kebab
Yeah.
shop.
Really shout out to that tea shop because if you need a souvenir, that is where you should get a souvenir from.
Yeah, it's like tinned masala chai for £4.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Perfect.
But yeah, we went to, as far as they were concerned, the inventors of kebabs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had meat for the third time on the holiday.
Mutton.
I had some mutton.
Third time, chicken.
I had chicken nuggets at McDonald's. And then I had chicken
Yeah,
at the
so
Fern
that's
Hotel. And then I had mutton.
Because that
today.
restaurant was quite posh.
Yeah. It was quite posh.
So
I
we
felt
got
safe.
Spicy potato and the spicy char.
Yeah.
Uh,
Tried some mutton. A little bit. Matt is not vegan. Disgusting.
I know.
and
Hate them animals.
went back to the park.
Yeah,
It was very nice. We were very sweaty and hot.
Oh,
There was kids
it
everywhere.
was 34 degrees, but felt like 44 degrees.
And that's official. That's not just Isaac saying that.
That is
That
like
is what the website said.
in fucking insane.
Yeah.
Um,
School trip with 100 school children.
Yeah.
all screaming at us, going, "Hello, what's your name? What's your name? Hello."
But also screaming inside the tombs because they echoed.
Yeah.
But amazing structures in just a park.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
these
we
old
saw some
tombs.
Awesome shit.
Yeah.
And then what? And where did we go? Where's something else?
We went to.
Then we got the tuk-tuk
The
to Humayun's tomb complex, which we paid to get into, but it was massive.
It was massive. It was the precursor to the Taj Mahal, it said, right?
I think so.
70 years. 70 years beforehand. And it was pretty similar, really. It was just made out of
Yeah.
redstone
Yeah. Really nice temple.
without the four
That whole area
corner
just-
pillars.
Yeah, that whole area just had like beautiful tombs, and in the middle of roundabout there was this beautiful blue and green tomb.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah, we walked around there for a bit.
And then where did we go? Got another tuk-tuk.
To Aksharden.
Oh, yeah. Where they said we weren't allowed to have our phones, which fucking sucked.
Well, yeah, we stopped for coffee before to sit in the AC for a bit.
Oh
So you're
yeah.
being a bit
Oh,
lightheaded.
yeah, right.
Chaz was falling asleep in the.
I needed water.
tuk-tuk.
Desperate. I needed water and to cool down. I
We
was
got
not
water.
okay. Yeah, we got some water. The tuk-tuk then had some air, so that was good. And then we went to the AC.
Yeah, so we had that coffee.
That was a good tuk-tuk. That was maybe the most picturesque tuk-tuk we've had. The most expensive tuk-tuk,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but most picturesque because we went over above the tomb that we'd just been to. Whatever it's called.
It was nice.
Yeah.
Humiliums.
It was expensive because he haggled with us in pounds. He was like, "It's £3, guys." And we're like, "Yeah, you're not meant to know that."
What do you mean? It's 300.
yeah.
Um,
And then we got to the Aksharden walls, right? What were you gonna say?
yeah, it was just like super. Even if Charlie was like eyes closed and trying not to die, like zombie in the back, it was like really beautiful. Going over the flyover and like having the full view
Yeah.
of that complex.
It was so easy to shut my eyes. It was the calmest tuk-tuk ride we've had.
Sunset.
Because we were on a motorway the whole time, basically.
Yeah.
It was nice.
So then going to Aksharden, my first impression was this looks like a prison
Yeah.
because the walls were like
outside walls.
12 foot high
yeah.
with double barbed wire spikes, and we had to walk down.
Crazy.
Yeah, we had
The
to walk
most
down.
Well, where's the
insane
coffee
security ever. Yeah, we talked about the coffee
Full
place.
off.
Yeah. Most insane security ever. So
Yeah.
much so that we weren't allowed our phones, weren't allowed SD cards, weren't
From the
allowed
start,
cameras.
there was all these tannoys saying you may not bring your phone or a camera in.
I didn't realise anyone was actually going to do that. I was just going to take my phone.
But
And then,
no,
and
they
then
proper.
Matt and Isaac were like, no, we're actually leaving our phones here. And then we put all of our phones in Isaac's bag and
Yeah,
checked the bag in.
but not our money. We had to keep our passport, our money, our bum bags.
Yeah.
The reason they did that, I realised later, is because actually I don't know about passports, but money was so that you could pay for things inside
Yeah,
the place.
Yeah,
Passports because they didn't trust their own system, which made me very nervous about
Yeah.
leaving my phone with them.
and then we got to the security gate and realised that we were all in shorts, and we were meant to
Oh,
have our knees covered, and we were like, "Oh no!"
And this whole fucking trip, we've been wearing we've been wearing trousers, basically.
Well, I haven't because I left mine at home.
yeah.
We were wearing jeans otherwise. And then this fucking day, we were just like, oh, we're in Delhi now, we can chill. Fucking
No.
wear shorts. And it's like, oh, shorts are a problem.
That's not true. I only wore jeans if we were going on the bike.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like Taj Mahal as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were wearing jeans for the Taj Mahal.
I wasn't wearing jeans.
But anyway, we got wrapped in a shawl thing, didn't we?
Yeah.
For 100 rupees each.
And then we went in, and it was night time, and all the lights came on, and it was fucking spectacular.
That's the coolest. Oh. Well, Taj Mahal was cooler, I think.
I don't know, Matt and I was speaking earlier, I reckon this is the best thing I've seen in India, this place.
If I had to recommend somebody saw one thing in India, I would send them to this over the Taj Mahal
Really?
immediately.
It was so cool. So intricate.
I mean, the building itself was cooler, but the whole magnificence and like grandioseness of the Taj Mahal was better for me.
I don't know. This was pretty grandiose.
Yeah, I think
It was. I agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. But it still had like tacky things put onto the wall, and like shit paintings and drawings, and like placards saying, "This is what
enjoyed
happened."
Placards.
I enjoyed the placards,
Yeah, we
but
learned
it
a
wasn't
lot.
like a magnificent. It's not like this wall is reserved for something intricate and elegant to
fair
be
enough.
put
But
on.
that's because every single other inch of that temple was.
For sure, but it was ruined by the fact that they had these informative, knowledgeable things. But the whole point of the whole complex was to be Hindu and inform you about Hinduism. And the guy's whole shtick was that he was a great informer and teacher and knowledgeable man. And that's why it was put. But for me, to have something so sacred to not have bullshit plaques all over it.
Fair enough. I get you.
Makes it more pure.
I think it was spectacular though.
I agree.
I
it was
loved
amazing.
it. So cool.
Even walking up to it was like we walked through archways that had the most intricate carvings.
That's true. The
I've
ground.
never seen-
It was definitely the best
the grounds
ground.
was so insane.
And then we left our shoes and we walked up to the actual temple, which was surrounded by carved elephants, like not human size, life-size elephants. And then inside that temple, I think there was total 3 square meters of non-carved
That's true.
stone.
That's true.
Every single, like, looking up into the, like, 50-meter ceilings,
So beautiful.
multi-layered ceilings, every single inch was carved with some
And I was
intricate
so annoyed I
pattern.
couldn't take photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, the elephants around the bottom. There was a stat that was like over 150 of those elephants that were like 6 foot by 6 foot.
It said the weight
At
of all the
least.
elephants were over 3,000 tons.
Yeah, fucking insane.
Yeah. I think going into that temple, it was huge. The ceilings are huge. We walked through whole
Yeah,
side rooms.
those
that were
ceilings
just-
were like actually like the most prettiest thing I've seen
yeah.
for sure.
I think that
100%.
temple is the most awe-inspiring building I've ever been in.
Yeah,
Like looking up on all the tiny carvings, and like even in the, like, they had 12 doors to the whole building, and on the back of one of the side doors are these golden feet and all these golden intricate
do you
patterns.
see on the foot that you go out, or on the door that you go out, had the same feet, but the gold had been like worn off where everyone was like touching them.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you like walk around this temple and there's all these side rooms, and then the paintings start and they're telling the story of this Bhagwan Swaramani or someone who was basically
Yeah.
the Jesus of Hinduism. And one of the plaques said he was 10 when he
Left
announced
his family.
left his family and publicly announced his philosophy and started touring India barefoot.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah,
Crazy.
very like almost word for word Jesus. Like
Yeah.
was so holy that he left home at whatever. We
Yeah.
don't know anything about Jesus for 10 years because he was just
Mm.
exploring his life or whatever, like
Yeah.
finding himself.
And very like born it said
very biblical.
yeah, and born to like Brahman, which I assume means like Brahma worshipping, like normal people.
Yeah.
Yeah, then toured around, collected disciples together,
Yeah.
wrote this book of his
4
commandments.
commandments,
Yeah, with
yeah.
these 5 moral principles. But also very similar to like the Siddhartha Buddha story.
Yeah.
When
Sorry,
they teach
I'm coming at it from someone who's brought up as Catholic. It was just
Yeah.
very religious in a cliche way. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it was a very similar story.
Yeah.
And then the room at the back, do you see it had his sandals, it had his nails and hairs in a box.
Yeah.
Because it was only 300 years ago or something, this
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
But again, like-
1800s.
Yeah, you're moving through these rooms and you can't describe like you're moving through what is effectively like a side hallway, and it's this huge chamber where every inch floor to ceiling is carved with intricate little people and animals and patterns all the way up to the very point of the ceiling. So you
Yeah.
could stand in any of those rooms for ages and just stare. And then in the middle they had this huge gold statue.
Yeah. Gold statues.
Yeah.
Multiple statues.
And the most bejeweled room I've ever seen.
So the main statue was him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then the 4 other statues were his reincarnations,
Oh, were they?
I think.
Not his like main disciples.
I think they were his main disciples that he did the 4 or 5 commandments to were like 25, or like there was like a lot of teachers. Right, I feel like there was never a point where he like had a few, like 4 people that he spoke to. I think it was like a lot of people. I don't know.
Right.
But there was like
a handful of statues in that bit. I think it was the reincarnations of him. Is it called reincarnations? I don't know.
Yeah. But his main one was huge.
And the
Again,
ceiling
just
in
like-
that place was crazy. And it
Just
was
gold and jewels.
jewels.
And,
And,
again, like the most awe-inspiring building I've ever been
yeah, he had a dinner plate of ruby on his forehead. It was like crazy. It was fucking
Yeah.
nuts.
And then we had a fucking water show.
Yeah, you go through to one of the to the west wing,
We paid 90p to see that water show.
and we saw a whole light show where they lit up the temple. Well, first of all, it started with a guy that was playing with fire.
Well, no, first of all, you need to go for a piss, and we needed to
Oh, yeah.
find a seat. And that was like a very Indian experience of they'd put this step well of stairs down to this water show, and a million people
crammed with
sat
people
on
sat
these
on them.
stairs
Yeah.
that were like, they weren't like, it wasn't like an amphitheatre where it was all very regular, like semicircle of seats. It was like fully a weird pagoda of like Delhi streets weaving into in and
Yeah.
out of each other, and you had to sort of
You
like
just had to find a
go
corner to
perch on the
yeah.
corner of a statuette plinth.
But even there, like we were sat on the like third step down of some random corner, and the corner that was next to us had little men carved into it, holding it up. It was
Yeah.
just
So detailed.
the most insane.
Yeah,
detail.
for
This is
sure.
massive
This is in
square
like the
as well.
side wing where there's a small statue of him.
Yeah.
But then the light show started.
It was very cool.
Very cool. They projected onto the temple.
Well, it started with mist as well, which I thought was so clever
That
because
was
then they
the
could just
coolest bit.
project, and it was like clouds and shit. And it was incredible.
Yeah.
I loved it.
They had lasers.
Yeah, the lasers was sort of like beaming through the mist. Have you guys seen the Vegas water show that's like supposed to be
No.
amazing?
Yeah, that was cool.
I've seen videos of that. It sort of like reminded me of that in that it was a water show, but
And then they had the fountains. They had all these fountains that shot 50 foot into the air.
yeah, I was going to say you guys have been to Switzerland, right? Well, Charlie's been to Switzerland,
Oh yeah.
and you've got that. The whole point you go to that lake is to see
The fountain.
the fountain. Was it anywhere near as high?
No, but it was pretty cool when they lit it all up. And they had these 4 boys dancing around the edge. The whole time.
So weird. So weird.
Yeah, like prancing to the music. Oh, because they had a whole story was being told, but it was in Hindi, so we had no idea what was going on. So projected onto the temple behind this other gold statue was
Yeah.
various gods, like a water god, a fire god, an air god, and a space god. And they
There was a gold. Yeah, gold god was space god, maybe?
space god was at the end.
Was the gold god, right?
There were 5 gods total.
No, one of them wasn't a god, one of them was just like human.
Yeah, that was the 5th one. But the other 4 were each. There was something about the boy,
Fire, water, space was space and gold was one of them.
and then
The other
air.
one was blue.
Yeah, he was air. He caused like a tornado. So every one of them had the 4 like human actor boys were like taunting the projected gods.
That's what we seemed like. They were all laughing and like
Yeah,
the 4 boys were laughing and joking at the gods or whatever.
and then the gods would cause some fountain water show, and the fire god actually had actual fire like blowing
Yeah,
up
that was cool.
next
That
to the
was cool.
fountains.
But it was like it felt very Bollywood is how I
Yeah.
So
describe it.
Indian.
But like
The air.
even Christianity, you wouldn't have like shows of you wouldn't turn up at a show and it'd be like supposed. Well, I don't know, maybe you would.
It was so
what I'm trying to
cartoony,
say
though.
is it was so cartoony and it was so dumbing down what God is.
Yeah. You wouldn't have God
But that- I
in
mean, that was the whole
Christianity
point
being
of
like,
it.
"Whoa, you're making me grumpy."
Yeah, exactly. But we don't really know what was being said,
No.
so I don't really know. But you do have like, do you remember in like year 6 we went to that play rendition of
Oh, you have like Jesus Christ
Jesus,
Superstar,
yeah, Jesus turned up and
God's
he gave
will.
people fish and bread in.
Yeah.
Like, you do have like a similar thing,
Yeah.
What I found so weird though
but
is
it's
like
not as fun.
adult women in front of us were like clapping along,
Yeah.
like being like little kids. It's
They
like, oh
were
my god!
praying at each
Yeah.
point.
Well, some of the especially at the start, the ceremony was like a religious thing because there was some bits where
The
they
prayers and
responded.
shit.
It was a bit like being
Yeah.
in a mass.
It was.
Like I said, this guy was like throwing this fire about. But yeah, then we had all the gods that stirred up the fountains and the fire and the lasers, and then the show ended. It was a cool show.
It was a cool show.
Like again, I would recommend people go and see this and go at night, so you see it all lit up and you see the light show. Also, we paid 90p,
Yeah.
and then we joined the Stampede Out
I wonder if there's like a daytime
version.
water
I
show.
doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it.
I think we timed it pretty well.
Yeah,
By
pure
accident.
chance. Yeah,
Right, let's wrap it up. This is a fucking Joe Rogan length podcast now.
yeah. Well, what did we wrap it up with? We
What do we do after that?
got our
Got the
bags,
metro back.
got the metro
Look,
back.
Metro back. Had dinner.
Had
Found all the
Gobi,
food
momos,
Be outside
amazing
the Metro.
like churros like things covered
Oh,
in
yeah, they were
sugar.
good,
Oh,
and
they were
yeah.
just
water.
pure syrup. Yeah.
There's
this
like
is
bright
amazing.
orange
Yeah.
fried things.
They're amazing.
Came back here.
Drank 5 Kingfisher.
Yeah, we've had 5 kingfishers during the course of this podcast.
The king of good times.
They're fucking massive as well. They're not
Yeah.
like little fish.
No, they're 650 mil.
Yeah.
We've had what, like 6 pints
Yeah.
between 3 of us.
Mildly chilled in the sink. In a
Warm.
bag full of ice.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got one more day left in India. We will not be telling you about this. This is
I
the
think we're going to
podcast.
try and do. We might do Red Fort. We might do Lotus Temple.
We're definitely doing Lotus Temple. That's
Yeah,
the one
definitely
thing
doing
we'll do.
Lotus. Yeah.
And yeah.
But we wake up tomorrow and then we fly at 2 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah, which is why we stayed up so late tonight to try and get used to it.
Yeah. But this has been a great trip. What's been your best experience and your best piece of food?
Yeah, we need some
you put in your
rounding up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also want your worst experience and your worst food.
Let's
Okay,
do
let's
worst
start
first
with that.
then, so we end on a positive.
Yeah.
Go on, you go.
We need time. We need some time. to
I
do
can
that.
start with my worst because it's
Yeah.
not very hard. My worst was having food poisoning, getting up in the night to poop 10 times, having weird fever dreams where I felt like my body was being detached and each bit had like a loading bar and it was just weird. But I got through it. The worst food was whatever gave me that. I think it was the cold dal at the crappy tourist restaurant my hammer took us to, but I guess I'll never know.
That's cheap. You can't have both the same.
I think given what I went through, I can.
Right.
What about you?
Worst food.
Worst food is so easy for me because it's the really fancy hotel we were talking about earlier.
Where we
With
tried the
terrible
wine.
fucking food.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wine was great, and then the food was shit. That was the worst food for me.
Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, that was pretty. That was like the plainest food we've had.
It was just such a letdown.
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair, probably the worst food is the first couple of days where we were having really spicy chickpeas with bread. And it was just like that was everything I didn't want.
Yeah. Worst food. What? Okay. At no risk of sounding like a dickhead, because I'm a dickhead. The worst food for me was Mohammed.
Yeah.
Taking us to that restaurant.
Yeah.
And I walked in and I was like, I hate every second of it. For no reason. Like, he could have taken us to a nice place, but
It was very
I
touristy.
fully like made my mind up that was a bad place and I was never going to enjoy anything that we did in there. So that's my worst food.
I think we'd also realised by that point that he was taking us to whichever places he got commission at,
Yeah, exactly.
which is why we ended up at the textile market.
My worst thing that we did.
Worst
Got to be
experience.
bike related, surely.
I
Yeah.
loved the biking.
My worst experience was being in Lucky's shop and having to be like, thank you so much for fixing my bike, but I know you've just fixed the same thing that I'm just had fixed yesterday. And I've told you that I just had it fixed. And you're a fucking stubborn cunt of an Indian that isn't going to fix it like the proper way because it's going to work for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, because it always works immediately after it
Yeah.
stops,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, that like really sums up all of the bad parts of India, like in a not horrible way, not racist way, because that is actually how it has been. Trying to defend myself, maybe it's a little bit racist, but I felt fully like angry at the culture because he'd just done the same thing that I'd had done before.
I told him.
I told him that it was done and I had to go and get someone else to fix it, and then had to waste 25 quid to be like, you're a fucking idiot, and then shout at him. And a couple of hours later and he was like, oh, I'm so innocent, fuck off.
Mm. Yeah, the afternoon of that day was my worst day as well, definitely. But let's do positives.
I
Matt?
just got to add to this that sat in that third Royal Enfield shop.
Yeah,
It was when I was like, I'm sick of sitting in Royal Enfield shops
yeah,
on this holiday.
okay.
I was so done with those bikes being absolute pieces of shit.
Previously in the day, Matt has asked us what your biggest piece of. Let's finish with your biggest piece of Indian.
Okay, well, let's do
Um,
best experience and best food.
Yeah, and then we'll do
Advice.
best advice for
Yeah.
people going to India, because I've changed mine.
Okay.
So, Matt, best food, best experience.
My best food has got to be the first aloo tikki in Agra when you were in bed with Oreos, but me and Isaac went out and we went to that crowded stall.
Yeah.
And we had that aloo tikki, and it was
In
like
a clay pot.
a clay pot, deep fried potato,
surrounded by
covered in
like 20
chickpeas,
20 Indians. Yeah.
and it was just so good, like sweet and deep fried, and that was for me when I was like, oh my god, I get the street food thing. Like when everyone says go abroad and they're like, oh, I eat the street food, I always think of like fried crickets in Vietnam.
Dying of
But that,
dysentery.
yeah, that was like I understood the street food because that was some of the best stuff I've ever put in my mouth.
Yeah. That's great.
But also the tandoori chaat is a close second.
Best experience?
Come back to me. Do your food. I need to think about this experience.
Have you got yours lined up?
No.
My best food is your shout out, the tandoori chaat in Palasa Hotel. After being asked like 10 questions and this guy coming out with like
So good, wasn't
Exactly.
a
what you wanted.
recommendation,
Yeah.
and it was like exactly what I had in my head,
it? Mm.
and it was like amazing, and like he'd like really listened to everything we'd said and then like found something on the menu that was like amazing and he'd given it to us, was like just so fucking good.
Yeah, that's true. That was amazing. That whole meal was amazing.
And it was like just so eye-opening. But again, I've got to have a. If Matt's allowed a close second, my close second is the first aloo tikki we had in that
When you were hangry.
in the first hotel we stayed.
In the
First day,
theatre.
I said, "This is the best thing I put in my mouth," and I was so overly hungry. I was so just tired, full stop. That like. That was honestly a godsend. It was like it could have been shit and I would have enjoyed it, but it was like amazing, and it was the first time I've had that, and it was like just like a million factors added to that being a fucking great meal. Could eat that forever.
What's your best food?
I think my first aloo tikki was my best meal, but then again, close runner-up was what Isaac's first place was, which is the whole meal at that fancy restaurant. It
Yeah.
was amazing.
What did you have at that restaurant?
I had dal, I think, but it was so fucking good.
Yeah.
The service there was just
Yeah,
unbelievable.
for sure. Your first aloo tikki was
When Matt was ill.
yeah,
That was me and
under
Yeah,
under
the,
the bridge.
subway.
Just
and-
after almost being hit by a
Jaipur.
bus.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Best experience. I mean, generally, like, I've really enjoyed the biking. My relationship with biking has changed a lot since Vietnam. I'm much less afraid of it. I had
Good.
much more fun on it. I went very fast.
You did. You had
But
an
that was
interest
kind of
in-
just, general. I think if I had to pinpoint an experience, it's got to be tonight's temple. I've never been so speechless, like looking at a building. It was a real
So,
piece of art,
mm,
and just like an overwhelming amount of beauty in one condensed space.
definitely.
Yeah. My favourite experience was the. This is gonna sound super cliche. Like my favourite experience we've had was sat looking at the Hawa Mahal.
Really? I had to convince you to go into that
That
cafe as
facade.
well.
Yeah, but like the whole. Just be maybe part of it was being convinced to be in a horrible touristy place, but the whole I don't know what it was, but it was so foreign to me that this was amazing, but the fact that it also was so amazing and like so universally amazing, like I don't know what it was. That was the first time in India that I was like, oh fuck, this is
just amazing.
this is foreign, but it's like really amazing, and we're all really enjoying this all together.
Mm.
And it's like we've been to the Taj Mahal, but everyone knows the Taj Mahal, and it's like universally amazing. But we just turned
This
up
was
at
just
this
some
place,
facade,
and it was just
yeah.
like this really fucking cool building,
Yeah.
and it was so out of the blue for me,
Mm.
for all of us, but also like. You see on posters everywhere in India, and it's like there's a reason it's super
Yeah.
cool, and it's just like I don't know, I don't know how to put it in words, but it was like the coolest, like overall experience for me.
I think it was partly that, like you said, like it caught us off guard. We were literally walking down looking for an
Yeah.
ATM,
Mm-hmm.
and then we looked up and we're next to this insane piece of architecture. And the more you looked
For
at it,
sure.
the more it like unfolded.
Yeah, for sure, that's exactly it, and like it's sort of like the architecture itself reminded me of like Barcelona, where you're in like very Gaudi, the Ramblas or Park Güell or Sagrada Familia or whatever. It was like very cartoonistic, but in a very like beautiful
Yeah.
architectural way.
It was supposed to look like Vishnu's crown as well, wasn't it? That was the whole idea of it.
Yeah. Highly recommend.
Yeah. Jaipur was great.
Sure.
Yeah, the whole Pink City, even that museum. Like I'm not big on museums, but seeing the like original chests and
Yeah.
doing all the
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Like it did feel like a museum where we were shepherded around all the
Yeah.
parts.
What was your best experience, Charles?
Well, probably what you said, Matt, but I will give a runners up or a notable thing for the Taj Mahal. It was just fucking insane. It was well fought for as well. Like we'd had a tough couple days,
Yeah.
and then when we walked
Yeah.
through that arch, and the actual Taj Mahal was there. It was like fuck, we're in India. Like we've done
Yeah.
it. Look at this.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
fucking incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking hobbling around on my foot.
Yeah. And you take all these like shit selfies
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
the sun's in your eyes,
Yeah.
actually just walking around it.
It was just spectacular. Yeah, it was just so cool.
Yeah,
it was
you
like,
can't
oh
describe
wow,
it.
we've finally done it. We're here. We're in India. That's the Taj Mahal. That was a big moment for me, I think. After when we were expecting to see it, like even if it was just glancing it, we were expecting to see it on
Yeah.
day one,
That's so true.
and then we'd stopped by police, like you said. We'd been stopped by police. We'd been in an accident. Our fucking bikes hadn't worked. Like everything had gone
Yeah.
wrong already, and then we saw it, and we'd done it, and we were like, oh my god, this is amazing.
one of my favourite photos I've taken all trip is, well, two of them there. Like one of them, just you two sat on the step at the side moss looking at it, and the other one, the picture of your face is where it's in your sunglass reflection.
Yeah. Yeah, Taj Mahal is the most. It was the thing that I had most built up in my head, and then actually like
Met.
surpassed
Yeah.
expectations. It was like
Yeah, it was
it's just like you can
So
understand
cool.
why it's so. See on a postcard, it's not going to do it justice.
No. Yeah, actually seeing it was fuck. This is incredible.
So, what's your piece of advice for somebody visiting India?
Well, you said mine was too negative, so you can skip my one. What's yours too?
My previously was something boring like don't get the shittest hotel. Don't get the shittest accommodation. But I've changed it in this conversation
Yeah.
to be the just your key word in India needs to be reliability. You can. Who cares if you're paying someone fucking £1 an hour to shepherd you around? Doesn't matter. Their reliability. If they're going to actually shepherd you around to do what you say, then it's worth it. If you're going to go to a restaurant and you know it's going to be good, it's worth it what you pay. If you're going to buy fucking bikes and
Don't get a Royal Enfield.
they aren't going to be breaking down on the fucking side of the motorway, it's fine. Just fucking pay whatever the fuck you're doing. Reliability is the key word here. Like, you're not going to have people pick up the pieces for you.
No, it is on
So you just have to be
Yeah.
you have to be taking the reliable choices. So my key takeaway is reliability, like just as a word.
I think that was a bit of a side theme that like people here are helpless but useless.
Yeah.
No,
Helpful.
they're helpful,
Helpful
but useless.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they want to help.
They
but don't
really
know what
want to
they're
help, but they don't actually. But the attitude is nice. Like I feel like you don't feel very alone in India at all. Like people are very
for
willing
sure.
to try with the English. They're very willing to help you. They'll kind of work with you until they have an answer.
doing.
But yeah, when it came to things like the bikes,
Yeah. Yeah, my key piece of advice is do everything reliable.
yeah.
What was your advice?
A bit of a cop out, but
I think my advice is eat the street food that has the crowd.
No, we said you can't do that because anyone that comes to India knows that already.
Do you think?
It's the stuff that they don't know that it was the advice was for.
I was iffy about the street thing. That's okay. I had another one. I can't remember what it was.
It was bring a pillowcase. That's what you said.
Oh, bring a pillowcase because every pillow has hairs on it.
fuck that.
But again, that's a bit of a cop out piece of advice. Oh, I had a really good one that I was going to suggest you claim. What was your one?
My one was don't ride bikes in India.
Yeah.
It's a fucking stupid means of transport.
It does free you a lot.
It does. I reckon if we did the proper north, that's the place to ride them. But you should get to the north, then get bikes.
That's it. Do you want to talk about bikes now before you guys talk about your advice? Or do you want to do advice then talk about bikes?
I would like to go to sleep.
We need a
That's what
section
I'd
about
like to
bikes.
do. Okay.
We need a section about bikes.
Talk about bikes. I can't remember what my piece of advice was.
What do you want to say?
Oh, I remember what it was. It was do Delhi.
Yeah, do
Like,
Delhi.
Like
definitely.
Delhi needs 2 days min. There is so much cool stuff
Yeah,
in Delhi.
absolutely.
Like I said, I would recommend people go and see this Akshardham.
Mm.
Number 1 on my list. Like, do Delhi. Don't rush out of Delhi.
Lotus Temple looks cool. We haven't been there.
Yeah.
Fort looks cool. We haven't been there. Couple of gardens.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't fall into this advice trap we got of rushing out the capital.
And rushing out of Agra.
Yeah.
The cities have so much to offer.
For sure.
Yeah. What do you want to say about
Well,
bike? Oh, sorry, go on.
Also, like, I'm sure there are things to not do in the cities. Like, it depends what you're looking for, but if you're looking for touristy, like, temples and shit, do them in the city. There's no point going to a temple in Haridwar or whatever.
Or you'll see someone fucking chained up.
Exactly, and it's
Yeah.
like, shit anyways, what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
Bikes, I don't know, I thought we just should have a whole discussion on they're good because you can go wherever you want, you can do the cities however time you want, you can do, it's
Yeah.
fun to ride bikes.
Yeah.
I think my negativity is I already ride bikes, so I already know how fun they are. So then for me, it was just like a pain to ride it here. Whereas for Matt, who doesn't ride bikes, you got to experience the bikes are fucking fun phase.
I was just love the unadulterated chaos.
Yeah.
That first day when we
Yeah,
were
it's
riding
very
through
different
Delhi,
Ride
Yeah.
them, right?
I was like, these are my people. I just love it. It's lawless. You can go anywhere you want. That really suits me because I'm bad at the highway code. I was like, I absolutely love the lawlessness.
That's
and
it,
actually,
I'm also the same, like, I've never actually driven or
yeah.
ridden.
And people fearmonger
In
you
England.
because it is busy and it's different to England. But if you can do clutch control and
Yeah.
you're confident with that, doing the Delhi riding is actually not that bad. It's just about a lot of slow moving traffic and it's about being
Yeah.
confident. You're saying, I'm going here, I'm going to toot my horn, and people then move out of the way.
Yeah. it's
If
fine.
you're hesitant and iffy about it, that's when people crash into you.
What you need is an app that can have checkpoints, like 10 checkpoints along your 10-hour route or whatever, and you just always, like, everyone has navigation there,
Yeah.
and you can all get there, and you can, like, you just need to, like, plan, like, a lot, to be fair, but, like, plan a couple of routes, a couple of points on the route, everyone has navigation to those points, everyone has communication
Yeah.
along the way.
Oh, yeah, download
It'd
the
be so
offline
fucking
maps.
easy. It'd be so fun. It'd be so easy if you all
Yeah.
had communication. You all had checkpoints. You all had.
I think we did bloody well though. With our comms,
Time.
at least two people could talk.
Yeah, the comms
Yeah,
really useful.
for sure.
At least two people had navigation at all times.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We got good pretty quick. It's just the first few days were chaotic.
I think after we lost each other, making a contingency plan and being like, okay, we'll meet here if we go wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah,
exactly.
everyone downloading the offline Google Maps.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then bikes. I
Also,
paid,
not being afraid to stop and ask people.
yeah.
Sorry.
Depends
not
what you're
being
asking.
asking people to point you to a place, not pointing you to
A
like
garage.
a shop or
Yeah.
a garage or a place to get
Just
something.
fucking everyone
or-
just make something up. Yeah,
Like-
yeah, just keep going. You'll find one.
a landmark
Thanks.
that people can understand
Yeah.
needs to be.
Yeah, if it's
your
got a well-known
checkpoint.
name, you're good. Yeah.
Our bikes were, yours were 1,200 rupees, £12 a day. Mine was 1,000, so
think
£10
so.
a day.
Yeah.
And we paid what, 300 deposit total?
Yeah,
£300.
I'm not sure I should recommend any other form of transport other than bikes in
Well,
Delhi, in
We didn't
India
do any
even.
trains, yeah.
We
Trains
didn't
might
do
have
any
worked,
trains.
Planes might have worked.
We didn't
Yeah.
make it up to Amritsar, which could have been a train.
We don't know. Amritsar could have been amazing, but if you were if it was the choice between anything on the roads, I couldn't recommend anything other than bikes.
Once you got out of the city, bikes were amazing. Like you could speed to the
Yeah.
next city. Helmets, I think we should have gone more. We paid £12.
Bring your own
for a
helmet. Bring your own helmet. It doesn't matter how fucking much it costs. Your head is worth more than any price
Oh yeah.
that you can put on a fucking helmet.
We missed that we were sitting in the Royal Enfield shop and some of the helmets in the Royal Enfield shop came with head protection technology.
Yeah, exactly.
So
like-
what do ours have?
Yeah, ours did not have head
Bring
protection.
your fucking
technology.
helmet that actually protects your head, because your head is you.
Yeah.
You are your head, so don't fucking let it get crushed.
Dash on the side.
Yeah.
I'm so amazed none of us had a proper accident.
Yeah.
Wow, that's debatable.
I had the most serious of accidents, but it wasn't like a big accident.
Yeah. I actually think it was not that. I have this weird theory that you're actually cooler wearing the jeans and the jacket in the sun than you are in your shorts and t-shirt. I don't know if it's because it's not on your skin or you're sweating so much, but
You know,
Today proves that wrong because
it was way
you
cooler.
were like,
yeah.
"Oh my god, I'm gonna die."
we were
While
pretty
we were
okay.
sat at the junction, I was like,
Yeah,
"This
it's fine.
junction's fine. Come on,
Yeah.
come on, Matt."
I think most of the time it was all right.
And you ran red light. You're a horrible person.
Yeah.
Did
Right.
did you do your positive things? What was it? Your
I think another bit of just general advice is
general advice.
It's
My
only
general
the three
advice
of
was
us that are gonna
liability.
listen
yeah,
to this.
but general
What's your
advice
general
for
advice?
future self is book the accommodation as you go, because
Which we did.
yeah, we did. But a lot of people, you tell them like we booked the first night of 14 days and they have a heart attack.
I'm
on
so
your
glad we
behalf.
did though, because
But this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. They will domino. Like, can you imagine if we had to, we didn't make it to Agra that first night. Could you imagine if we had had to adjust 14 days worth of hotels?
yeah.
God.
It would have been a nightmare. And instead, we got great deals as we went because everywhere was on half price the night before.
Mm.
And we just planned it as we went. We changed our plans. We moved hotels around. It's such the way to do it.
It'd be yeah. It's not always the way to do it, but in India
For
definitely.
India, definitely.
Book and
This
dock.
type
season.
of holiday, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Any more generic advice for the future self?
Really.
No.
Reliability.
Well, that's
And
it, folks.
upgrade your hotel.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for listening.
No bed bugs.
No, yeah,
I've-
that's true. I don't know if I said that.
I've been Charlie.
I've been mad.
I've been Isaac.
This has been
Brought to
India.
you by Kingfisher.
Brought to you by Kingfish. This has been India 2023.
It's
What the
been a
fuck?
great trip.
What the fuck did we sign up to?
Goodbye,
Goodbye, everybody.
everybody.